This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
AFL. On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Welcome to Saturday Night Footy under the roof of Docklands. The Kangaroos might have their best chance to beat the Magpies in the last 6 years with a couple of late outs for the black and white. There'll be no Bobby Hill tonight and there'll be no Scott Pendlebury. So all of a sudden the opportunities for Kangaroos fans making their way along to the footy tonight. Olif Markov, who wasn't one of the emergencies, comes in, and also Will Parker makes his way into the selected side. Markov will be the sub, as will Fisher for North Melbourne. Matt Clincher called the action for you alongside Lauren Borden tonight. Welcome to you, Loz.
Thanks, Clinchy. It's great to be here. The second of the doubleheader here at Docklands. So they've shipped everyone out and then shipped the fans back in for tonight's game. But you're right, it's so exciting. I feel like North Melbourne have been close to Collingwood in these last encounters and just falling short. But last year's was an incredible match. There were so many highlights between marks and that 54-point comeback. So hopefully we get something like that tonight as well again.
Absolutely. It was 14 goals to 2 in the first half, and as you may mention, the Kangas got out by 54 points, but Collingwood kicked 8 of the last 9 goals of the match to prevail by a point. It's always a good night when you have the AFL Games record holder Brent Harvey in attendance. Welcome to you, Boomer.
Good evening, guys, and looking forward to watching my old mob against a pretty fit and healthy outfit, because the Kangas have been all right the last couple of weeks. Had a draw against Brisbane, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, and then the win against the Tigers. So up and about the Kangas. Can they do it again against a very, very good outfit? It
is certainly a good challenge to see where they sit against the table-topping Magpies. Daniel Harford is with us once more. Coach, of course, of the year with the Blues in the AFLW. Welcome to you, Half. Great to see you.
Good on you, Clinchy. Loz, great to be with you. Can't wait to work with Boom. I'll tell you, there's moments in your life you remember forever. and one of them was when I walked in. Well, when Boomer walked in, we were already here. He's like, we were here, and he walked in, and the chest was out, and the shoulders were back, and the chin was high. And I said, "What's happened, Boomer? Why are you so good?" He goes, "Because Pendles is out." He's out, and the record's safe for another week. He's sitting on that record hard as our man. Pendles is coming.
Daniel's son.
Outside of that, should be a good game.
I wasn't late. I was actually outside having something to eat.
I know
you might have been a little bit late.
No,
sorry.
I was coffeeing with Clinchy.
Okay.
So no Scott Pendlebury tonight, and no Bobby Hill, which is a great shame. But North Melbourne get Paul Curtis back, who served his 3-match suspension for that rundown tackle, which was deemed dangerous on Josh Sin of Port Adelaide. And the Kangaroos, as Boomer may mention, winners last week over at North Melbourne, and they had the draw the week before against the Brisbane Lions in Tasmania. As it's become the tradition of Sir Doug Nicholls Round, the players gather in front of us on the broadcast wing here, and we're about to have the official welcome to country, which Auntie Joy Pedersen is out there in the middle, and the players are gathering on either side of each other in interlocked. And this is very much a strong message being sent to the broader AFL community and to those about the contribution in which our First Nations players have made to this great game in which we love. So the big floodlights have been turned off, and we're all in readiness for the official ceremony to get underway. The Kangaroos sitting in 17th spot, 2 wins, 7 losses and a draw, while the Magpies are on top of the table with 8 wins and 2 losses, a chance to record a 3rd straight win for the Magpies. Let's head down to the ceremony.
For an official welcome to country.
Thanks very much, Courtney. It's great to be here at Marvel tonight on yet another special occasion for our First Nations round. I'm very honoured and very proud and feel very privileged when I'm here with our families that have come here for years, but more importantly our players, all of our players that are present here tonight, and you've gladly welcomed them as we've walked in. And I do want to thank the current players who are playing for us and continuing that legacy of their older brothers. It is just a fantastic night. I do want to start by acknowledging that I am the senior elder of the Wurundjeri people, and Marvel is a part of my father's country. I pay my respects to him, to all ancestors, elders and communities across this great nation and neighbouring islands. I also want to acknowledge that it is the 10 years of Sir Douglas Nicholls Round, and to say that as a man that I knew when I was a very little girl, such a gentleman, but also had that way of inspiring people to try and have us come together, and this is part of what he was. I also want to acknowledge ancestors, communities and fields are families across everything that we work with, no matter where they are, no matter where they come from. Keep reminding yourselves that you are unique. You have a place on this country and together with us. Also want to acknowledge that we have some young people with us tonight. This is a legacy driven by so many people, and because it's a North Melbourne game, I want to thank North Melbourne for putting this such a wonderful performance together. I feel very, very honoured. I feel very, very proud. And the most important thing is for you to enjoy what all of our players have to offer. I've been, been around a long time, and I don't think I can ever wipe the smile from my face or tears from my eyes. And that's what Aussie rules means to me. My language is the Woy Wurrung, Womenjakar Wurrunju Balak, Yemen, Kundi Beg, and you are most welcome to the traditional lands of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people. Enjoy.
Thank you, Annie Joy, for that beautiful welcome to country. My deepest respects to you and your lands. I now would like to invite past, present and academy players from both North Melbourne and Collingwood Football Club to complete the gift exchange.
So Jai Simpkin, the North Melbourne captain, makes his way out, and Nick Dacos, who's captaining the Magpies for a second time. Exchanging
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the game.
And we do have some of the past champions for North Melbourne, Daniel Wells and Byron Pickett, as a part of the ceremony. And Wally Lovett out there for the Magpies, and the NGA players that have been involved in the academy for Collingwood and North Melbourne as well. It's Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. North Melbourne taking on Collingwood. Just repeating those late changes. If you've just flicked on the radio, Bobby Hill is out due to personal reasons, and Scott Pendlebury is out through illness, meaning that Olaf Markov, who wasn't initially named as one of the emergencies, has been given permission to come into the Collingwood lineup. And also Will Parker, the former Victorian leg spinner, comes in for an opportunity to play for the black and white. It is just his sixth game and his first game of the season. Matt Glitch and Lauren Borden to call the action. Brent Harvey and Daniel Harford, your experts tonight. So on paper, Collingwood have been pretty strong so far this season, just the 2 losses. Those absentees, how much does it swing the possibilities as to what we might see tonight?
Well, you'd think, obviously, the Magpies come into this favourite boomer on the back of what they've done for the year, as Clinchy said, 8 wins, 2 losses. But the last month of footy, we have seen a much improved North Melbourne Football Club. And even just the last 2 weeks, you go down to Hobart and they play the Brisbane Lions. They come up a draw against the reigning premiers. Now, it's for familiar territory for them down there and not so much for Brisbane. So that's a factor, but they still play really well. Probably should have won that game. Last week, they hang on and they defeat the Tigers. The MCG get another win for the year. In the last month, Boomer, they're number 1 the clearance team in the competition, number 2 for contested possessions. So things have flipped. They've been able to get their hands on the footy around the contest, and that's given them a chance to get some territory, some forward half opportunities, and they've been able to go to work. Paul Curtis coming back into this team is a huge in, without a doubt. Like, he's had such a good year before that 3-week suspension, which is probably a little bit arduous anyway at the best of times. But anyway, we won't get bogged into that. So their source pressure has been really good. So they've adjusted something there. They've got a few different players rolling through. Harry Sheasel's playing forward of the ball more now, which I like, I must admit, playing as that sort of high half forward, comes up to the ball and gets back to goal as that deliverer, which you were the best at. And the Magpies are just the most ruthlessly efficient team in footy, and always have been. And this is the way they play.
There's no doubt that North Melbourne's last 3 to 4 weeks have been much better. They need that. They need to show that consistently.
Yep.
I look at the Pies. I think Bobby Hill is a big out. His speed back towards goal, and that's the way Collingwood play, with speed on ball from half back. He starts at the middle of the ground. You see him running into open goals so many times. So I think he's going to be sorely missed tonight. Does North Melbourne do anything with the Dacos boys? And I say Dacos boys now because Josh deserves to be recognised as well. Nick's a sensational player. We all know that. But Josh just does what he wants out in the wing. He sits back as a quarterback, handball back. He ends up with 30 every single week. So it'll be interesting to see if North can do anything with the Dacos boys.
Averaging 27.1 disposals, Josh Dacos, so far this season. The final member of our team is sitting in the front row tonight. Lex Pesher is with you once more. Welcome, Lex.
Hello, guys. What a fantastic night for football it is down here. This is the biggest crowd I've seen at Docklands in weeks, I reckon. So it's getting really excited. The atmosphere's already building. We haven't even started. And sitting in front of me is Laura Kane. So what an evening to be at the footy.
Absolutely, Lex. Keep a close eye on her as she watches proceedings so far tonight. So Collingwood don't play at Docklands all that often. North Melbourne get the chance to play here regularly. So can North Melbourne upset the ladder leading Magpies? We'll find out on Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Here's Lauren Borden to get us underway.
1v17 coming into this round. North Melbourne and the Pies, and the umpire bounces the ball in the centre of the turf. Cameron just gets a touch to it, hand passed along, and it will be a free kick in the centre of the ground in the ruck contest to Tristan Sherry.
Great battle that, Cameron and Sherry, two real informed rucks. Sherry's probably the informed ruck of the comp.
Sherry hand passes it back towards Hardiman, puts the ball inside 50 for North Melbourne off the hands of Larkey. Here's Curtis, return game, hand pass across to Wardlaw, tackled the moment that he got the ball from Allen. And he stops Wardlaw running into an open goal. It's just rushed through for a behind for North Melbourne to start the match. They lead by that 1 point, just a minute or so through this first term. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Nick Dacos starts at half forward on Caleb Daniel. Walks straight up to the midfield like you mentioned. Harry Sheasel should do so. No one going near him right now. He'll have a ton of it tonight.
Collingwood transition from half back. Howe works it through McCreary up to half forward. And Jamie Elliott took the mark, and Toby Pink was happy to make a bit of body contact there. And Elliott is slow to rise. He's grabbing at his hip. And now on all fours. So can look on the replay as to whether it was the body contact or an awkward landing.
Pink's a big unit, and he did land flush on him. It's been all right, Toby Pink, since he's come back into the team. Played well last week. Charlie Coleman's been good for them as a key post defender.
Elliott tries to put it towards the dangerous hot spot for the Magpies, but Paul Curtis flying across the defender, the forward come defender, who's helping out there in the back six, takes the intercepting mark, kicks out to Aidan Corr, who takes the mark in the right back pocket, and back across the face of goal to Stevens. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. He looks out of defence to Pink, in from the side. Elliott tries to spoil it down. Ed Allen can't gather it. McDonald can. Hand pass to North inboard to Simpkin. From half back, kicks looking for Larkey. He rises on top of Howe. Can't take the mark. Feeds the hand pass out to Sheasel. And back now to Wardlaw on the wing. One way then the other. He drives it up towards the 50. Jack Darling on a long lead. And Frampton reaches over the top and spoils it out of play. Left half forward for North Melbourne. The Kangas leading by a point. 2 minutes gone. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
There's the growth for Sheasel, I reckon, Boomer. Fed that ball back to Wardlaw and instantly retreated to get to the next possession. He goes forward. He draws another defender out. Wardlaw's got more time to make a better decision going forward.
Sherry meets the footy. Perfect tap down to Simpkin. Just pops the ball right into the hot spot. Goes past Frampton. Allows Darling in. Gathers it with one hand. He's brought to ground, though. And he's tackled to the turf by Howe. And the ball will be locked right there for a ball up right in front of North Melbourne's goal. They're kicking towards the Lockett end in this opening term where the North Melbourne cheer squad is. The umpire tosses it up. Sherry just pulls it out of the ruck. Hand passes it backwards towards Stevens. He's met by Nick Dacos, who shovels the hand pass out. Taken by Zerha in the end, and he's tackled to the turf by Long. So it'll be another ball up just inside the forward pocket for North Melbourne, leading by just that one behind earlier on in the quarter. A couple of minutes played in this first term.
13 disposals to 6. The way of the Kangas is on the move as Paul Curtis, and he fends off Nick Dacos, but lost the footy in the end. Spills out towards Davey Uniacke and Allen, and off hands it goes out of play. A throw in the left forward pocket for North Melbourne.
He's a threat early, isn't he, Curtis?
He is, yeah. Very strong. You see, he goes always for the fend off. And North Melbourne set up really well behind the ball. Aidan called the +1. They'll just be looking for repeat inside 50s.
Kangas have it inside 50 once more. As it's thrown back in, a shallow throw in which Sherry tries to slap it to the back. Quaynor gathers to Collingwood. Hand pass to Maynard. Kicks off the bottom of the boot. Up to Elliott at half back. Fires a hand pass out to McCreary and Collingwood away. Takes a bounce as he runs the wing. Tries to go a barrel up towards half forward. Awkwardly bounces in front of Pink and Myercheck. Pink takes it. Myercheck takes him. Throws him to the turf and the umpire says he'll pull it up. It's in the right forward pocket for Collingwood.
Interesting kick, wasn't it?
Yeah, with the barrel.
There's a barrel that didn't turn out to be a barrel and rolled a couple of times, but
worked out all right.
Well, no, that's where Bobby Hill would have been on the end of that one.
Yep, good point.
So Membry taps it out, Long as front position. He's driven down into the turf by Wardlaw. Ball spills out, McKercher grabs it. Hand pass comes out to Davies Uniacke. Dispossessed of the footy, back to Wardlaw. It will be called holding the ball. Will be pinned for it. Incorrect disposal. It'll be a free kick for the Pies right at the top of their 50.
Had Stevens running boundary side to LDU there before he got caught. Just feed that ball. Georgie Wardlaw's going to come off. Lex in front of you with the blood schnoz.
Yes, but also Jamie Elliott's come off getting some treatment, and Braden Maynard went straight down to the rooms hobbling. So a bit happening on the bench at the moment.
Already had a few issues tonight. Pendlebury out with illness, Bobby Hill out for personal reasons, and some early injury concerns as well for Collingwood. As Long comes in to take his kick close to the boundary line, steps past the pain of 50. It's offline. No mark can be taken on the line. It's punched over twice, and Corr puts it through for the decisive one, just for a behind. So scores tied at 1 point apiece, 4.5 minutes played. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
If you want to join us on the SMS, 0437 774 774 throughout the night. Caleb Daniel into Hardiman. Great searching kick up to the wing where Larkey takes the mark and Curtis is working hard. Chips it out in front of him at right half forward. Houston couldn't keep up. Curtis looks up. Zerha's on the lead. It doesn't get to him in the end. It's chopped off as Houston works his way back. Darcy Cameron gets the hand pass out to Lipinski at left half back for Collingwood up towards the wing. Parker couldn't get a fly at it, and the intercepting mark taken by Hardiman. Comes in more to Simpkin. Couldn't take it with one hand. Great gather by McKercher. Drives it towards the teeth of goal. Quaynor was waiting. He's in front of Sheasel and he picks it up for Collingwood. 1-2 with Allen. At right half back, Quaynor doesn't have a lot of options, so has to just kick a high ball as far as he can. McDonald's told to stay at it. Toby Pink says, I have it covered.
That's great communication between McDonald and Pink. Knew exactly what was required there, both players. Good leadership from McDonald, but also Pink to call it.
Pink retreats to Core, who then moves it to Davies Uniacke.
Pink retreats. He retreated by 40 metres.
That was odd.
And then it was just a chip kick to Davies Uniacke, who's still defensive side of the centre square, and he goes back to Core in the defensive 50. This time he chips it forward towards Daniel, who marks. It's not 15, though, so he has to play on to Davies Uniacke. They're forced to move it quickly through the centre. Davies Uniacke kick is smothered by Nick Dacos, so the Pies will have it through the middle now. It's a kick inside 50 from Membry. He might just go all the way in himself, and he does.
Oh, hit the post.
Oh, it hit the post. It's just skimmed the right post after Membry went from long range. And just another behind for the Pies. They lead by 1 point.
LDU will be wiping the sweat off his brow there. That was a bad error, kicking into Nick Dacos in the middle of the field.
Well, that's twice they've done it too. Paul Curtis did it going inside.
Make it three
times now.
Core into Hardiman. Kick is smothered. Hoskin Elliott got it down and Nick Dacos over the top to Long. Feeds the hand pass away. O'Sullivan kicks to the top of the goal. And Membry this time will finish in the goal line. Up to the third tier for the first goal of the match. And the Magpies make the Roos pay the full toll with the turnover on half forward. Collingwood by 7 points, 1-8 to the Kangas, one behind. Daniel Hufford and Brent Harvey with you. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, just as we're calling it there, we spoke about the Paul Curtis one going inside 50 that got touched. The Luke Davies Uniacke, Nick Dacos smother. We're calling it, and another one happens.
Yep.
So it's the ball use from the Kangaroos just not being composed with the football and just getting to their, taking a little bit of pride and a bit of care into it. Fantastic hands here by Long, who puts the Collingwood player into some space, and unselfish. Membry walks into goal and kicks a very, very, very easy one.
Even then, I reckon Pink has to go to the receiver that Long fed the ball off. He's always going to feed that.
Yep.
So go to the receiver and cut that out and make Long do something special, turn back into goal and make it happen from 35 around the corner. At least make it more difficult. They've coughed a few up here, the Kangas, but they're in it up to their eyeballs at the moment.
It's Cox and Sherry in the ruck. McCreary overruns the tap out. Davies Uniacke picks it up, feeds it off to Parker, hand pass across to Simpkin, and he'll move it to Powell, who put the North Melbourne right directly inside 50. Big mark, up goes Zerha. It was Maley in the end. It wasn't paid.
How's it not paid?
So he came down, slipped out, and it wasn't paid. It's probably paid more often than not, but Josh Dacos takes the footy, kicks it down the wing, and it's Comben who'll take it now for North Melbourne. Steals it back, hand pass to Sullivan, who's wants to go left then right, and then just kicks it straight towards Davies Uniacke. And again, he'll go slightly backwards where he finds Stevens right half back for the Roos.
Wants to come through the corridor, kicks to Sheasel, who takes the mark in front of Nick Dacos. He switches out to the broadcast side. Hardiman had to wait for a while. In the end, takes the mark in front of O'Sullivan and works it out to left half forward. Luke Parker marks. And has Simpson working up from half forward. In the end, just had to hold his ground, but he wins the battle against Ed Allen and breaks away. Chips it inside the attacking 50, and Lucky sliding down low on his knees is able to take the mark.
North Melbourne reluctant to go forward a lot half. They're going sideways a lot. And it might be a game plan where they want to try to make the Collingwood defenders, because they set up so well behind the ball, not kick it into them and let them, the Howes of the world intercept mark. So just a little ploy to watch and see if there's a trend for the rest of the quarter.
Particularly through that defensive mid-area behind centre before the arc for the Kangaroos.
Nick Larkey's hit a goal in every match. Out to the left, he fires on goal. It's off to the right. Doesn't quite have the journey, and offhands it goes through for a minor score. Collingwood by 6 points. 1-8 to North Melbourne. 2 behind. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
So they're the things that they do have to get right tonight, the Kangaroos. Set shot opportunities, particularly from good kicks. They've got to make the most of them. Collingwood are ruthlessly efficient.
Now chips it to Quaynor, removes the footy all the way right to centre wing. Players drop at in the packet, falls to ground. It'll be almost all wrapped up as Hardeman's taken in the tackle by Elliott and is in the end. The umpire will come and ball it up right in front of our broadcast position, dock side of the stadium. The second game at Dockland Stadium today. LDU pulls it out, fires off a hand pass towards Sullivan. He's got some pace and can pick it up cleanly, and he flares it out wide to Stevens. Again standing right half back for North Melbourne.
I don't mind the theory, Boomer, of trying to make the Collingwood defence shift.
But you've got to execute at half, and I'm not sure they're up to this execution game.
Well, that's the challenge.
Chips it across to Comben, who then just moves it forward to Davies-Uniacke, who's had plenty of the footy along that half-back line so far. He chips it to Sullivan, who marks on his hands and knees, and he's still defensive side of the centre circles. Looking around, and we'll find Hardeman kicking it laterally, so it doesn't gain any ground forward.
Clear ploy to try and drag out the Collingwood defensive structure.
And Hardeman will go long now here, kicking it right to left half forward, plays around the footy, it drops to the ground. Frampton, clever tap towards Josh Dacos, who was taken high and knew he was, so the free will go to Josh Dacos with Collingwood leading by a goal.
I think there's another kick from that one there, half. You centre wing and you're kicking the ball that's landing right on the top of the 50.
Yep.
That's the rebounding zone for Collingwood. That's where they score launch from everything. There's got to be one more short kick, 20 metres, so the next ball goes into 30, 25 out.
Great call.
Brent Harvey and Daniel Harford with you for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Josh Dacos off 29 disposals last week against the Adelaide Crows. Short to Quainer. Sends it up the wing in the direction of Cameron. It clears he and Sherry. Not officiating umpires blowing his whistle. Free kick going the way of the Kangaroos. Charlie Coleman is going to take it. Lex Peshier on the boundary.
Good news for Pies fans. Braden Maynard has made his way back from the rooms. He looks okay. He wasn't a bit of discomfort, but he's at the front of the bench, so good signs.
Thanks, Lex. Coleman kicks the Kangas up towards half forward. Darling has a good set. He rises on top of Billy Frampton in a 2-on-1 and takes the mark for North Melbourne at left half forward. 2 kicks out from goal though. Darling's thinking he might poke it into the pocket. He sets it in the direction of Larkey, and Finbar Maley in the end. Neither can get a fly at it.
It was too slow. Nick Larkey had the one-on-one that he wanted. All he had to do was put it to his advantage. He waits 3, 4, 5 seconds, goes in, the ruckman gets down, marks.
Collingwood by 6 points as Cox kicks out towards half back. Hoskin Elliott had to sit underneath it. And in the end, Darling and Luke McDonald make the spoil. A throw in at left half forward for Collingwood. The Magpies with the only goal of the match through Tim Membry. They're 1-2-8 to North Melbourne, 2 behind.
So it looks as though at this stage, Boom, I reckon, if it's not really fast transition, they're going to hold the ball up after centre, close to goal, and wait for numbers to get them represent, so that at least they can try and lock it in and reset.
Davies-Uniacke with the clearance straight inside 50 for North Melbourne. Left forward pocket. Quaynor picks it up and he's taken in a tackle by Curtis and Darling, and there'll be a ball up about 30 metres out from the Kangaroos' goal.
I reckon that Darling kick is the highlight of that. That really does signify it.
So Cox and Sherry tangle right down to Luke Parker. Fends off Allen, then hand passes blindly behind him. Perryman takes it for the Pies. His hand pass is dispossessed. McKercher takes it this time. Shoves it on his boot to get some distance towards goal. Howe punches it over the line. And it'll be a boundary throwing now, about 10 metres around from the left behind post. North Melbourne still yet to score a goal so far in this opening term. We've played 13 minutes. Collingwood ahead by 6 points. Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
We talk about opportunities. 8 inside 50 to the Roos now, to 4 to the Pies. Got to score here now.
Only had the one tackle as well, Boomer. The Kangas is thrown back in. Sherry takes out of the ruck. Tries to go himself. A left-footed snap. Clears the goal line over Isaac Quaynor and Jack Darling. Tristan Sherry trying to make a statement early here. And he gives the Kangas a chance to draw level here. 1-2-8 apiece. An imposing start from the Kangaroos ruckman. Brent Harvey and Daniel Harford, your experts on Saturday Night Footy.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen all night. I'd be surprised if that was the formula they're after. Ruckman out of the ruck, in forward 50, left foot snap around the corner. That's a beauty from Sherry, and he's had some sort of season to date. But what they did do was keep it in their forward half, Boomer. So I reckon that's a real plan for the Kangaroos tonight, to hold the ball up. If they can't get quick flow ball into their forward 50 to one-on-ones or players getting back to goal, then I reckon they're keen to hold it up, get numbers in, lock it in, and let Sherry go to work. That's not a bad plan.
It's not a bad plan if he can do that on his left foot all night. And he kicks a couple like that. It's fantastic. And the positive of keeping the ball inside forward 50, they can set their defence. We see, I called it earlier, Aiden Core sitting out as the +1.
Yep.
If the ball rebounds, hopefully he marks and kicks it straight back in and puts pressure on the Pies that way. So, good start by the Kangas.
Problem is Sherry's on the bench now.
So scores locked as Cox taps it out. Wardlaw picks it up, hand pass to Parker, who's driven down in a strong tackle by Long. It's long going in after it for the Pies. Darling picks it up. He's wrapped up and we'll have a ball up. So we head down to Lex Pesher on the boundary.
How good was the atmosphere when Tristan Sherry kicked that goal? They're up and about. And great song. Half can sing it for you if you want.
They, Jersey boys? No. Frankie Valley. Sherry Baby as it goes.
Oh,
It's like 50. We're not up to that point of the game just yet.
I bet you we are.
McKercher picks up the footy, defensive 50 for North and flares it out wide to Constanti. Takes the mark and just chips it to Daniel. Might have been just 15, so he's paid the mark. He'll kick right down the wing towards Luke Parker. That
hang on.
should have been paid a mark as well.
The free kick.
Don't worry about the mark. The free kick was there every single day of the week.
And you can hear that from the North Melbourne supporters as well as the kick comes out to Parker. Centre wing, they're still going. It's a good crowd in tonight as well. But it's the Pies that'll have an inside 50 off the boot of Parker. Comes down towards Myercheck. He brings it to ground. Lipinski has a go at it and will be dribbled over the boundary line for a throw in inside the forward 50 for Collingwood.
Bizarre, Daniel.
No, that was unusual. Most unusual.
Was not looking at the ball. Made contact.
Yep. It's a free kick every day of the week.
Yep.
It's amazing with 4 umpires sometimes. 1-2-8 apiece through the opening 15 minutes here at Docklands. Saturday night footy. Tumbling over. Again was Myercheck and the ball is stuck underneath him. He and Darling are having a run in the ruck.
So Cox runs back as the spare for the Pies in this situation. Forward 50 stoppage for them.
Darling
Their ruck stays out.
wins down the tap, knocked on by Lipinski towards Hoskin Elliott. Can't take possession. Pinballs around. O'Sullivan for North Melbourne can't gather. Lipinski over around the footy. Elliott just taps it out to Hoskin Elliott to Nick Dacos. Stole some candy around Pink. Couldn't get past Caleb Daniel. Hand pass forward to Myercheck to the goal line. It bounces through for a minor score. Going to take the lead by that behind. 9 plays 8. On the SMS 0437 774 774. Cheer to Jan. Great call. Go North. Been playing well and keep going forward and believing in yourself. Of course, no coverage on free-to-air on a Saturday night, so great to have you listening to us if you don't have access to the TV coverage.
Well, Daniel with a short chip towards Finn O'Sullivan, who shoves it on his boot, gets plenty of distance on the kick. Outer side of the ground, ball to the back where Darling is, can just manage to get it on his boot, but it'll be met by Long of the Magpies. Hand passes back to Houston, who goes back to Long, and he'll flick it to Allen, who moves it across to Quaynor. Centre of the ground, he darts the kick across to McCreary, who'll mark centre half forward for the Pies. Gets plenty of distance on this kick. He's looking for Elliott, who rose over Pink, couldn't take the mark, falls down. Myercheck right next to the boundary line, tries to squeeze it through, but it's to the near side. And just a minor score, or we'll have a score review.
Review.
To potentially see if it grazed the right behind post, maybe?
I imagine that's the only thing.
Can you please check to see if it hit the behind post?
There we go.
Review underway.
Spot on, Loz.
McCreary's kick inside 50 again, going to Jamie Elliott. 2v1. A great option to the pocket. Probably didn't have much on other than that, but you got 2 tall forwards in Myercheck and Membry sitting up there.
Well, Collingwood emptied out really quickly from defending that kick in. They got all their players outside their forward 50. I imagine waiting for the Kangaroos to maintain possession with that second kick, but they didn't. They got the ball back.
Looking at these angles, there is insufficient evidence to determine if the ball hits the behind post or not. Decision on the scoreboard.
So we'll have a behind.
That'll be a behind. Caleb Daniel's already standing there ready to take it. It'll just be one behind then for the Pies. Their lead moves out to 2 points. 1-4-10 Collingwood playing North Melbourne. 1-2-8 Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Caleb Daniel brings the Kangas back into play. The kick in clears Combin, and in the end Zerha takes it out of play. Curator Rick from Mentone, who's listening on 0437 774 774. Listening with the Collingwood family in the car. Go Pies. And hello from Joanna, who's walking the Camino in northern Spain. Shout out to Mum and Dad. Go Pies, love the call. So the ABC Listen app, boom, working right around the world.
I'm going to do that. I need Joanne to just keep us up to date with what's going on there, because I want to do that.
Sherry takes it out of the ruck, worked Mason Cox underneath it, kicks up towards Zerha, couldn't take the mark, lays the tackle on Houston North, take it back through Stevens, hand pass to Costanti, works it to Wardlaw, who's streaming forward, kicks up towards Davies Uniac, got hands to it, couldn't take the mark. Costanti tried to knock it forward, but Collingwood have the numbers. Quaynor got it to Howe, hand pass now to Maynard at half back, kicks up to the wing, where Hoskin Elliott takes the mark.
Oh, give it.
He almost ran off with it and then went back, and then he almost went again, but he's gone back to his spot in the end, and he's just gone with a little chip kick down the line.
Not too many players around Nick Dacos there, Daniel. A little bit of space.
In fairness, it was a 14-centimetre kick.
So it was Nick Dacos the mark, kicked it down towards a pack though. Sheasel with the footy, hand passes to McDonald. He hand passes backwards to McKercher. will now be able to put the kick right down the wing, looking for Davies-Uniacke. Crampton got there, punched it away from him. And Allen picks it up for the Pies as well. He kicks towards McCreery, just can't mark it, but can run onto it. He's got a little bit of space to move right inside the 50, pulls the kick, has Cox at the front if he can take it, drops the mark. Sherry will pick it up for North Melbourne. Hand pass to Cora, and Cora will exit defensive 50 for North Melbourne.
He's kicked out to space where Stevens will get there, but Houston lays the tackle. It was over the shoulder. And the Collingwood fans aren't happy with that call.
Unbelievable effort by Frampton. Out on the wing. He left Nick Larkey and went to Davies-Uniacke. I reckon he made up 30 to 40 metres. Sensational play.
Although you had no idea he was there.
Brent Harvey.
Stuck up on him like a librarian, Dennis.
Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport. The kick up towards half forward. Maley gets the hand pass away to Larkey on the wing. He kicks out looking for Parker. It's over his head. He runs onto it against the boundary line. Just kicks a high ball into the pocket. It's Curtis and Allen getting back. Simpkin with the flight. Couldn't take it. Curtis off the ground. He volleys it through from minor score to the left-hand side. He is looking dangerous, Paul Curtis.
He's just got so many ways of scoring. He's so strong. He probably benches the most at the North Melbourne Football Club, so he can mark one-on-one. He can hit it on the ground like he just did then. He can get forward of the ball. He can lead up at it. He's a great size to be a mid-small, tall player.
He's kicked 4 goals 3 times this year and 3 goals 2 times this year. That's how he's got his 18 goals for the season. So it's a pretty good record for him. He's back in the side and looking lively in the first quarter. The kick comes out to right half back for the Pies, where there'll be a ball up. Cox is running off now defensively and fixing up his goggles as well. McCreery going after the footy. It'll be a holding free kick. It'll be going the Pies' way and to Perryman. So Perryman will have the footy at left half back.
Tom Powell only to one touch. He's a very good player, Tom Powell, very fit, uses the ball well. Need to get the ball in his hands a little bit more, the Roos.
Perryman with a long kick down the line. Cox flew, then fell over the top of Sherry as he dropped the mark. O'Sullivan able to gather it for the Kangaroos. Hand pass across to Parker, and he'll put the kick out wide, centre wing, outer side of the ground.
Well done.
Mark taken there by Zerha. Looked like a good grab, unless it touched the turf as he went to mark it, and Claymore wrapped him up.
Good call.
So it'll be a ball up now, outer side of the ground.
He would have liked that one. Zerha hasn't touched the ball yet. Would have liked that little cheap one. Well, not really cheap one. Would have been a good marking yet.
Doing that one.
He was damaging last week with 4 goals from the stoppage. Here's a chance of the Magpies as Long forces his way through. Squeeze the kick up towards half forward. Mycheck's caught behind. That's an easy mark for Toby Pinkett right up back for the Kangaroos.
Assertive positioning from Toby Pink there. Gee, they're well set up behind the ball, Boomer. Collingwood haven't been able to penetrate with any great authority here in this first quarter.
Back to Caleb Daniel, back inside the defensive 50 for Luke McDonald, and now to Colby McKercher, a true centre half back. He kicks out to Comben. He marks at left half back. Lex Pesher on the boundary.
Braden Maynard has come off in clear discomfort again. You know he's just going to try and fight through because that's the kind of player he is, but he looks really uncomfortable at the moment.
There's the acting captain for Collingwood last week. Lex, thanks so much for that. Kicks up towards half forward. And Frampton makes the ball from behind for Collingwood. Spills out to Costanti. Little toe poke forward, but only as far as Josh Dacos at Collingwood. Hand pass to brother Nick. One way, then the other away from Costanti. Back to Cameron. Back to Nick Dacos. The captain tonight with no Darcy Moore. Up towards Mason Cox in a one-on-one. Comben brought it down. A little toe poke from Powell. Got it back to Daniel. Hand pass to Hardiman. Kicks up towards half forward. Marley! Big fly again on the back of Darcy Cameron. Couldn't hang on. It spills down to Simpkin. A centering ball looking for Zerha. Up with one arm. Fended off Quainer. Couldn't tame the mark. Curtis front and centre. Kicks towards the goal square. Great defending. Billy Frampton got back once more. And denies Nick Larkey at the top of the goal square for Collingwood as he kicks out to Josh Dacos in the back pocket.
Billy's having some moments. He's having some very important moments for the Pies in his first term.
Josh Dacos with a bounce before he kicks it out to centre wing. Daniel can run onto it, just tries to tap it behind him. Myercheck's there for the Pies though. Hand pass to Will Hoskin-Elliott close to the boundary line. Lipinski gets the footy, hand passes it over the top back to Myercheck. Hand pass to Sullivan, left half forward for the Pies. He should be holding the ball and it will be free kick North Melbourne.
Great tackle.
Sullivan wrapped up and gives us a chance just to check in with Lex Pesher down on the boundary.
Yeah, that's it for Braden Maynard. He is done for the day at the back of the bench with the warm-up jumper on, so Oleg Markov comes on as the sub.
Rightio. It's a blow for the Pies.
Where the ball is worked up to half forward and Cam Zerha takes the mark. So North Melbourne kicks up towards Simpkin. Juggling mark taken by Darcy Cameron at left half back. So no Bobby Hill, who was out tonight through personal reasons. Scott Pendlebury was a laid out as well through illness, and now Braden Maynard is off injured in the first quarter. The Pies had a few challenges here. There's Josh Dacos in the back pocket, receives it, works it up to half forward, where Ned Long marks into the middle of the ground. Houston had to wait a long time, and challenging the other way was O'Sullivan. He was able to take the mark. Down pass of the run of Jeremy Howe. Kicks up towards Mason Cox. Was he dragged down by Coleman? He was. Collingwood take the advantage. Jamie Elliott kicks to the teeth of goal. Myercheck up. Can't take the mark. Pick desperately defending, and the umpire says it's a behind.
There's the even upper.
Oh, sure you can do that.
What's going on here?
Has the rule changed midweek?
It might have from last night, maybe.
Is there a memo that I didn't see?
Tony Vickers crashed face on into Brodie Myercheck, who was going up for the ball.
And
a
did
minor
not
score.
look.
Collingwood by 2.
Blanchie did not look at the ball once. Unbelievable. Front on contact.
Even Stevens, I suppose.
Just another issue the umpires are having this year. As Hardiman kicks it from left half back right down to Larkey, who marks the footy and is tackled a little by Frampton afterwards. But Larkey has it just in front of the North Melbourne interchange bench. He'll choose to go backwards and not take the slow approach.
Sorry, Loz. It's kind of had a heap of numbers back inside defensive 50 really quickly, so there was nothing they could really do to try and find any space in that forward line.
So McDonald had the footy and then chipped it out towards Powell.
So what they don't want to do now is go long to the top of the arc, like Boom was talking about.
There's one more kick. There's one more kick.
So what does Powell choose to do? He will go long to the pack that's forming right at the top of the 50 for North Melbourne. Mainly got a tap down, but it's taken though by Cameron of the Pies. Hand pass to Josh Dacos, then got it back. Hand pass across to Houston. He's kicked and bumped as he's kicked it away. It gets down to right half back for the Pies. And it's just pushed over the boundary line by Perryman, and we'll have a throw in.
So that's the growth opportunity for the coach's box, I reckon, at quarter time. When they're held up just behind centre wing, don't go long, find another one. Get to the corner of the square, just behind that, and then get it inside 450 over all the numbers.
They need to launch from 70 to 80 out, not 80 to 90. And that's what they're doing at the minute, the Kangas.
Sherry front position, got a hand on it just to bring the footy to ground. It's anyone's ball. As Simpkin takes it, and he's then taken to the ground by 3 different Pies. And the ball will be locked up at left half forward for North Melbourne. We'll have a ball up. Pies ahead by 2.
Steak and egg, bacon and cheese, just traditional meat pie, 3 different pies.
Sherry wins down the tap. Quick kick by Sheasel. Curtis thought he had the mark. The umpire plays, or waves play on. The umpire will ball it up 45 metres out from North Melbourne's goal. Both sides happy to play a loose in defence. It's Josh Dacos for Collingwood. It's Caleb Daniel for the Rouge. Sherry wins down the tap. Serha trying to struck the footy. Can't do so. Wardlaw through 3. He can't find an avenue through. He is playing like a man possessed so far, George Wardlaw. As it's thrown up, Cameron and Sherry spills down the way of Quainer. Kick towards half-back. It's gathered by McKercher for North. Quick hand pass to Sheasel, to Powell. Now Wardlaw tackled, dispossessed. Ball spills out to Sheasel. Play on's the call. Hand pass to Hardiman. On the left drives North Melbourne into attack. Maley can't get a flight at it. Billy Frampton, another great mark.
He's been good.
Isn't his confidence continuing to rise? The Premiership Pie, who got called in to play on Harris Andrews, takes a good mark just millimetres out from his goal. Collingwood by 2.
Billy Pickin he is.
And Frampton, long kick out as well. He's got Cameron there, and in the end, flying at the back was Membry. Couldn't take the bounce, picked it up. Couldn't take the mark, picked it up on the bounce. Hand pass across to Allen, who hand passes it to Long. He weaves around his opponents and he kick towards the centre of the ground. At the back was Myercheck, who just punched it down. Gets the footy back. Hand passes to McCreary, who's running towards 50. He won't go all the way. He'll drop it towards Elliott, who marks directly in front of goals.
Beautiful ball use. The most important kick in football, Daniel, the inside 50 kick. McCreary had the fortunate to have a little bit more time than normal. I thought he was going to take a bounce, but Elliott reset back towards goal and just hit up. Easiest kick in football when you're on the run.
So Jamie Elliott, the small forward, will have a kick after the siren. There's only been a couple of goals in this quarter so far, 1 to either side. And with Collingwood leading by 2 points, it'll give them a nice buffer at quarter time. So he eases in from 35 metres out, puts it towards goals and puts it through. A nice one to end the quarter for Pies fans who have come out to Docklands tonight. And Collingwood's lead just pushed out to 8 points at this first break. 2-5-17 the Pies. The Kangaroos 1-3-9. The goal kickers so far, 2 for the Pies, have come by Elliott and Tim Membry as well, with the Kangaroos' only goal coming from their big ruck, Tristan Sherry.
So it was a bit of a tussle in that opening quarter until Collingwood were able to finish with that goal through Jamie Elliott to hold an 8-point advantage at quarter time. Earlier today, it was the Brisbane Lions who defeated Hawthorn by 33 points, 14-9-93 to the Hawks 8-12-60. It was the 200th game as Brisbane Lions coach for Chris Fagan, as his side booted 7 goals to 2 in the second quarter in front of 57,000 fans at the MCG. Kalashi booted 3 goals and Dane Zorko had the 33 disposals, while the Giants had a victory in Toby Green's 250th game, 17-8-110 to the Blues 12-10-82, with Jesse Hogan booting 4 goals. The milestone man Toby Green himself kicking 3 alongside Cal Brown as well, while Charlie Curnow booted 3 for the Blues as well. On the SMS 0437 774 774. A cheerio to Mike, who's listening on the road to Broken Hill in Outback, New South Wales. Loving the call. How bloody good is Jamie Elliott at the minute? Should be knighted. Well, that's the beauty of the ABC signal, getting you loud and clear there in the road to Broken Hill. Larry from Mount Beauty, thanks for the call, guys. Love what you bring to us on a Saturday night, and great to hear Boomer with you as well. And Joanna's been in touch as well. Half.
Oh, has she?
Tell Half the Camino is ace, and he really should give it a go. 900 kilometres in 38 days walking.
Wow.
Well, my wife and I, we've got a mission to do a few of these things. We did Machu Picchu a couple of years ago. We've got Mont Blanc coming up some stage. We'll do Kilimanjaro. Camino is going to be next.
Stop
well,
it.
It's not next. It's going to be on the list.
What a life. See how the other
that's
half
over
live?
that's the next 20 years.
We'll see how the other half live.
I've got 20 years to do this.
This is what happens when you're Daniel Harford.
That's used to that.
All the places in the world we can go. We're under the roof on a Saturday night. Great to have your company on ABC Sport.
ABC iView covers every angle. Insiders,
Who will govern Australia for the next 3 years?
swingers,
Swing voters are where all the action's at.
and Gruen Nation.
You can trust me.
ABC iView. Always free, always informative. This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Gore into Hardiman, kick is smothered. Hoskin Elliott got it down, and Nick Dacos over the top to Long. Feeds the hand pass away. O'Sullivan kicks to the top of the goal, and Membry this time will finish from the goal line. Up to the third tier for the first goal of the match. And the Magpies make the Roos pay the full toll with the turnover on half forward.
It's the ball use from the Kangaroos just not being composed with the football and just getting to their, taking a little bit of pride and a bit of care into it.
Thrown back in. Sherry takes out of the ruck. Tries to go himself. A left-footed snap. Clears the goal line over Isaac Quaynor and Jack Darling. Tristan Sherry trying to make a statement early here. And it gives the Kangas a chance to draw level here. 1-2-8 apiece.
That's it for Braden Maynard. He is done for the day at the back of the bench with the warm-up jumper on. So Oleg Markov comes on as the sub.
So Jamie Elliott, the small forward, will have a kick after the siren. He eases in from 35 metres out, puts it towards goals and puts it through. A nice one to end the quarter for Pies fans who have come out to Docklands tonight. And Collingwood's lead just pushed out to 8 points at this first break.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Saturday night footy under the roof of Docklands. The Magpies were a little banged up, but they lead by 8 points at quarter time over the Roos. 2-5-17 to North Melbourne at 1-3-9. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Lex Pesher is down on the boundary. The AFL Games record holder Brent Harvey alongside the AFLW Coach of the Year, Daniel Harford.
Well, Boom, it was a pretty impressive quarter from the Kangaroos, I reckon. They set up the ground really well, set the game up really well, didn't maximise their chances. And as we know, against the Magpies, you have to do that because they will. In the end, that last little goal gets them in front, gives them a nice lead at quarter time. But we've seen a real positive shift in the way the Kangaroos have played. Their contested possessions up, +6 for the quarter. Clearance is up as well, inside 50s 13-10. A clear plan to mark the ball and try and draw the Collingwood defence out. The problem with that, as you rightly said, is going to be able to execute that all night long against the pressure that the Magpies come forward with. They just can't constantly come forward towards the kicker, towards the runner, and make a decision. So that's going to be their challenge. They've been found wanting a little bit, but they've taken a lot of the strength and the power away from some of the key playmakers of the Magpies. You look at all the stats getters in that first quarter. They're all defenders from both teams. They're the ones that are owning the game at the moment.
Yeah, you're spot on. The other thing too, 7 scoring shots of the Pies to the 4 of the Kangas, but you mentioned the 13 inside 50s to 10 Pies way. Last week, the Pies went inside 50 34 times to 62 Fremantle and won the game.
Yep.
So they need to give the forwards more ball. 10 tonight. It's not a lot, but it's a start. So they need to give more. The other thing with the Kangas, and we talk about their launch where they're launching the ball from. They're going sideways, they're going backwards, but then they're kicking the ball from centre wing. The ball's landing 40 to 55 out. That's where Collingwood want the ball to land, so they can get all their score launches from back there. So North Melbourne have to find one more kick that goes, I think you might have mentioned, to the corner of the square thereabouts, then can go inside 15 to 30 out. That makes a huge difference. They are set up well behind the ball every time Collingwood look to kick it out. We mentioned Aidan Corrs set up there a couple of times, so doing a lot right, the Kangas. They would be very disappointed with that last goal by Jamie Elliott. It was just too easy. A beautiful contest by Myercheck, who probably deserves a pat on the back for that goal, but doing a lot right. Hopefully they can continue and hit the scoreboard a little bit more.
Brent Harvey and Daniel Harford with you for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Tony also on the SMS 0437 774 774. Driving through the French countryside listening to the game.
How about that from Tony?
Pies. I'm sure that's on your bucket list as well, Half.
That'll be next year.
I love that it gets to May, June, we get all the European texts coming in.
Yeah,
Everyone's headed over to Europe.
That's great.
Yep.
Good
John
luck to you,
in West Footscray asked, why is there a double header at Docklands tonight? Hey, yours guess is as good as ours, John.
Another one coming up in round 17, I think.
Yep.
They'll have a double header again at Marvel Stadium at Docklands.
Second quarter underway. It's the Pies who lead by 8 points. Cameron won down the stoppage, but a free kick going the way of Jai Simpkin alongside Nick Dacos at that start of the quarter. Hand pass to Luke McDonald. That's a spiralling ball inside the attacking 50. No mark claims. Sherry becomes the tackler with support from Costandi. And the footy is locked to the chest of Will Parker. The late inclusion for the Magpies. So he's playing his 6th game of his AFL career. We're also seeing William Hayes on debut, the Western Australian. Hand pass to North Melbourne comes out to Jai Simpkin. Feeds the hand pass back to Caleb Daniel. Inside 50, Lucky. In front takes the mark of Billy Frampton. Only about 20 to 35 metres out from goal, but directly in front.
I don't want to say it. He hasn't kicked well tonight, but he won't miss this, Big Larky. This is what he does.
No.
This is his bread and butter. I'm telling you, 35 metres out, he'll just kick it over the man on the mark, over the guy standing on the line. Won't go over the fence.
SMS machine's about to blow up again.
23 goals for the season for Nick Larkey to try and get the Kangaroos going in the second quarter. And he sends it straight through the middle. Just a minute into the second quarter. Collingwood's lead is cut from 8 to 2. Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, your experts. Saturday Night Footy on ABC.
No commentator's curse there. That's what he does. That's his bread and butter. 35 out, directly in front. Does not miss them once.
Well, what they've done, the Kangas, we talked about this at the start of the game, Boomer, with the last month and being the number 1 clearance team in the competition. They've shown a real strength in that area tonight. They've got field advantage many times on the back of it. Just centre clearances, they're 3-0 up for the game, so that suggests that they've got a pretty good system going on in there at the moment. If they can continue that, they'll get opportunities. That was just a quick kick forward in the end from Daniel, who they retreated the ball back to the back of the stoppage. At least he got himself in the right spot. Quick kick forward and put a bit of pressure on the Collingwood defence. Poor old Billy Frampton wasn't able to save that one.
So Nick Larkey extends his run of a goal every game this year. Last didn't kick a goal in round 25 of last season, as he kicks the most recent for North Melbourne and brings the margin back down to 2 points the Pies' way. As Long takes the footy, hand passes it to Josh Dacos. He'll flick it down towards Perryman. Luke Parker does well to stop him from picking it up, and he'll be pinned for it. So Minor got him low on the legs, and it'll be a free kick to Perryman of the Pies, who can just dab the kick towards Josh Dacos. Play on, wasn't 15. He spins around and will put the kick inside 50 for the Pies. It was on the chest of Hayes, spilled out straight to Sullivan. He'll have a shot at the goals and pops it home. So the turnaround from the free kick down to Sullivan, who scores the goal, and it's a very quick reply for the Pies to stick the margin back out to 8 points. 3-5-23 Collingwood, North Melbourne 2-3-15. We've played 3 minutes in this second term at Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
I absolutely love that you can do anything on the goal line. You can pick him up, put him over the fence. You can do whatever you want. We've got luxury of the replay up here, but just a little push on the North Melbourne player pushes him into tomorrow, pretty much. But we have seen 2 of them in general play tonight, so it doesn't matter. But just a bit of scramble play, bit of chaos ball there for the Pies. Short little kicks, and that's what put pressure. That's what puts the defence under pressure. Constant ball movement.
Nick Dacos was burnt by his brother and by Sullivan in the same passage of play, and was filthy till it went through.
Lachie Sullivan in his 6th game for the season. His 3rd goal As a hand pass comes forward from Jai Simpkin, who got it from the restart in the middle of the ground. Knocked out in the end by Parker to Sheasel. Inside 50, Lucky had a big piece of it. Not paid the mark as Frampton knocks it down. Allen has to fire a hand pass out to defensive halfback. It's picked up by McKercher for North. Hand pass away to Zurha. Kicks towards the teeth of goal. Darling used his body well, and it's going to bounce through. The most incredible goal.
Wow.
Have a look on the replay of this one. As I don't think anyone really thought that was going to bounce through the major opening, and it curved wickedly right, and Cam Zurha's in full of celebration. Even he can't believe that. North Melbourne closed the gap once more, back to 2 points. Collingwood 3-5-23 to North Melbourne 3-3-21. This footy, you never know which way it's going to bounce, and there was another classic example.
We had 3 goals in the first quarter. We've had 3 in 3 minutes here, so a great start to the second term, but talk about leg spin, off spin.
Will Parker's the only one that makes a spin like that around here.
Exactly right, Daniel. I was waiting for it. Thank you.
I was just thinking the same thing.
That was unbelievable by Zurha. Took a right turn twice.
Why did Jack Darling try and keep it in? What was he doing on the goal line? Some odd things happening here tonight. Odd things. But that was a ripper. That was a corker from Cam Zurha. He'll never kick another one like that.
It's 52 metres out or something like that.
Bounced 38 of them.
And he's worked it through amazing. So back to 2 points. Again, North Melbourne sticking with Collingwood. It's been tight in the last encounters between these two sides.
There's another centre bounce clearance slice. That's what it was. That got them territory and got them the chance.
So secondary stoppage in the centre of the field. Cameron palms it down, picked up by Davies. Uniacke is tackled, just gets the kick away. It'll be Powell will have to run onto this for North Melbourne. He does. Hand passes it to Pink. He'll just put the hand pass in front of O'Sullivan. Works to gather it. He's got his left arm being tackled, then shrugs off the tackler. Dodges forward, dodges back, and chips backwards towards Pink. It won't be 15. And again, North Melbourne will retreat as the hand pass comes to Powell, and he'll work it to his captain, Simpkin. Centre half back, hand pass across to Daniel. He'll flick it into the centre of Dockland Stadium where Parker takes it and then chips the kick just slightly forward to Davies Uniacke. North Melbourne looking to set themselves up here. He kicks out wide to McKercher.
Somebody get it to Darling, for goodness sake.
And they build inside 50. McKercher's kick dinks inside 50. And it'll be a mark to Constanti of North Melbourne. And they'll have a shot at goal, looking to put 2 in a row on the board for the first time tonight.
He's been important, Boomer. Luke Parker.
What's he had there?
Inserted himself into the contest in the midway through the first quarter. This quarter already he's been really prominent through the middle of the ground. A couple of clearances.
Yeah, he's had the 6 touches to date. 4 kicks, 2 handballs.
Impact.
Jacob Constanti has played every game this season from 48 metres out. Will not make the distance or the accuracy either, and in the end it's tapped through for a behind.
Just you got to know your distance. So he's kicked there from 48, I think you called, Liza, and it landed 5 or 6 metres before the goal line. You've got to know your distance. If you can't make the distance, that ball cannot land where it landed. Either drop your eyes and hit someone or put it at the top of the goal square.
Brent Harvey and Daniel Harford, your experts. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Lex Pesher is down on the boundary. Howe brings it into Allen. Kicks up towards half forward. Core tries to fly over the top of Myercheck. It spills off hands. In the end, Caleb Daniel is going to be penalised for insufficient intent.
All right, change the rule.
Been tackled.
Just change the rule. The last person to kick it or handle it out is opposition ball.
And Harneman forwarded the contest, which was trying to get it to, whilst being tackled. That's brutal.
And Will Hayes thought he was getting his first touch in AFL footy, and the umpire said, no, it's Ned Long's kick. So he has it in front of the 2 benches. 5 score involvements for him as he kicks up towards the 50. Myercheck and Cameron's there off hands. It's gathered by McDonald. He's tackled and brought down by Elliott. Great show. Spills out to Pink. Kicks a long ball to halfback. Big fly from Wardlaw, but behind Curtis. Takes the mark. So they have a couple of threats in the air. And now almost 50 against Josh Dacos, who'd stepped over the mark trying to hold Curtis up. Kicks looking for Stevens. That won't work. Mark off the sub is into the action. He spoils it down to Allen. His underground hand pass picked up by Caleb Daniel. Works it around the boundary line and then just shimmies the kick up towards Curtis. Not 15. Call to play on. Hand pass to Stevens. He has to win the tackle. Holding the ball.
No.
Pryor?
He got assaulted by 3 as he received the footy.
Also, for a kick that didn't go 15 metres, it's a hefty price to pay. And now he might get his first touch. Will Hayes on cue.
There is Will Hayes, and he gets the cheers as well. In his first game, the Western Australian out of Claremont will kick it right to the top of the 50 for the Pies. Elliott flew, couldn't take the mark. Sherry ends up battling with Davies Uniacke for the footy. Hand pass comes out to Simpkin. He kicks it, it goes past Markov. Perryman's there, Houston Rather's there to collect and put the Pies back inside 50. Long ball in there. Hoskin Elliott can't mark. McDonald's there to gather it for North Melbourne. Hand pass back to O'Sullivan. And the youngster moves the footy out of defence by finding Wardlaw. He chips the kick to centre wing, broadcast side of the ground, and Maley will mark for the Roos. They're trailing Collingwood by just 1 point. 8 minutes played in the second term.
Finbar Maley inboard to Caleb Daniel. Goes short to O'Sullivan. He's between the centre circles and centre half forward. He's going to switch into the middle of the ground where Toby Pinkus pushed forward. He feeds the hand pass away to Powell, who chips it over the top to Jack Darling. He's worked a long way up the ground at left half forward.
It looks like he's playing the open side forward role where he's just trying to drag out Collingwood's open side defender and creates more space for the narrow kick.
Darling puts it long towards Maley, Sherry, Larkey. Cameron was knocked down before the ball was in the vicinity. And we'll get a free kick. Darcy Cameron in the right back pocket for Collingwood.
Yeah, Paul Curtis just checked his run on the way through. So Darling needed to get that ball in there anyway, because Darcy Cameron was nearly probably going to take the mark if he had got to. He just needed to get the ball in. Stop wasting time and give Larkey the one-on-one that he needs. He's a bloody good player.
Collingwood by a point, 3-5-23 to the Kangaroos 3-4-22 as Darcy Cameron kicks out close towards the boundary line and off hands. It goes out of play.
Well, I reckon we've got a bit of a system issue, Boom, with the Kangas. If they're going narrow sides, the skinny side where the ball is and keeping it sort of on that line, then you can wait a little bit. But if you're going open sides, you've got to go faster. And I reckon the Kangaroos are overdoing the possessions when they're changing the shape of the play.
Sherry taps it down. Lipinski takes it though and can get the clearance for the Pies. Elliott running onto it. Just gets a hand to it. Membry has a go at it. In the end, it's Wardlaw that tries to control it. Can't. He goes past it. And then he goes after it. Can't gather it, but he's helped out by McDonald, his teammate. Hand passes behind him. Long goes in after it. Wardlaw's driving himself in again to gather the footy. He's tackled though and will be wrapped up. And we'll have a ball up on the outer side of the ground. So it's the Pies ahead by 1 point at the moment, as there's a blood rule as well. The umpire will send Wardlaw off. So
is it a surprise?
He had that issue in the first quarter too.
Yeah, blood nose again.
Running off towards Lex Pesha on the boundary.
He can't catch a break with that poor nose. It was so yuck, sorry, George Wardlaw, before when he came off, and he just keeps touching it, the poor thing.
Got the black boots on, runs off, the shirt tucked in as well.
Old-fashioned.
So good.
God love him.
You don't see enough black boots anymore, but Wardlaw just rocks them there, and it seems like it's just his personality. So he's off, and we'll get that tended to. As the umpire will toss the ball up again. Collingwood ahead by 1. Comes down to Simpkin. Hand passes it to Daniel. Flat, low kick. Will just find its way towards Curtis, close to the boundary line. Kept in by Lipinski, who did well. Hand pass to Nick Dacos. Goes back to Lipinski, who moves it on to Josh Dacos. Hand passes it to Crisp, who can just flick the ball back to Josh Dacos. Will now put the kick inside 50, almost to Membry, who taps it out. McCreary will pick it up. A long hand pass inside 50. It'll come across to Allen, who hand passes it to Elliott, who snaps towards goals and puts this one in. So it was Collingwood's lead 1 point, and then from the stoppage moved it quickly inside 50, and Elliott finishes off with a snap, as he so often does. It's the Pies 4-5-29, North Melbourne 3-4-22. 12 minutes played in this second term, and it's Collingwood ahead by 7. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
The Kangas didn't do nothing wrong there. They got beat 6 or 7 times. They were pressing hard, and it was a really good handball. I'm not sure who it was. Might have been Josh Dacos who got Hoskin Elliott, the really long one out, and that's the one that broke it open. But the Pies were fantastic. 5-6 handballs to create the goal, but North Melbourne were pressing, and they got beaten 5 or 6 times. And as a coach, they often say that if they're going to beat us, let them beat us 5-6 times, not once or twice.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I reckon their pressure's been all right. Collingwood really clever with the way they position themselves. Their spatial awareness and where they need to be in those scenarios is first rate. I reckon they're best in the business at getting forward by hand and knowing how to position themselves.
Tristan Sherry waited for Mason Cox to jump early and then takes the clearance, kicks inside 50. Curtis feeds it to Castandi, bounces it towards the goal mouth, and through it goes. North Melbourne answer immediately, straight back. And the former Swan, Jacob Castandi, puts through the Kangaroos' 4th goal. They've dominated the inside 50s, 20-14 the Kangaroos' way. And an important goal to cut Collingwood's lead back to a point. Daniel Hufford and Brett Harvey with you on ABC Sport.
Centre bounce, Daniel.
Centre bounce.
Another centre bounce goal.
So that's 5-1.
And it was great play by Sherry because he let Mason Cox jump very, very, very early. Took the ball out the ruck, punched it forward. A great contest by Darling, and Castandi was in a great spot. And again, Oh, very lucky bounce.
Oh.
There's 2 for the Kangas this quarter. Zurha, now Costanti. A little bit of luck, but that's all right. You need that every now and then.
Yeah, and you throw in the Sherry goal in the first quarter. They've had a little bit of luck, but I reckon they've earned the right to have a bit of that, the way they've played this game so far. Collingwood are a long way from their best here at the minute. I reckon the Kangaroos are taking a fair bit of their strength away.
Pies just hanging on to that 1-point lead as Sherry takes it out from the middle. Hand pass to McKercher. He's taken in a strong tackle by McCreary. Umpire calls play on. Hardiman takes it for the Roos. Hand passes into some space. Luke Parker runs onto it. Dispossessed of the footy. Allen grabs it for the Pies. He's tackled by McKercher. The umpire's blowing his whistle for a holding free kick. Going the way of the Pies. And going to Lockie Sullivan.
All the players I thought was the other way. They'd all gone...
The umpire actually called it the other way at the start. He called it the other way.
It's Lockie Sullivan who's kicked a goal tonight, who loads up on the kick and puts it inside 50 for the Pies. Punched away by Combin. Ball comes to ground. O'Sullivan gets a touch to it. Then Caw's got the footy for North Melbourne. He takes it under it. He's happy to take the tackle. And the umpire will finally cross his arms and will ball it up just inside that forward pocket. It's Collingwood ahead by 1 point, 14 minutes played in the second.
Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Spills down the way McKercher, who knocks it out to Davies Uniac. High ball towards halfback. It won't quite get to Finbar Maley, who came charging down. Lucky tries to knock it out. Tackled by Lipinski. Hand pass forward in the end for the Pies. It works out to Billy Frampton. Top of the centre square. Kicks along towards Myercheck. 2-on-1. Clears Jack Darling in the end. Trying to get back to help Toby Pinky. Failed to get a glove to it. And out of play for a boundary throw in the right forward pocket.
I thought that was the first time Jack Darling ever tried to spoil the ball in defence. The way he went about that.
Collingwood 4-5-29 to North Melbourne 4-4-28. The Pies lead by 8 points at quarter time. Jamie Elliott has a couple as it's thrown back in. Knocked away in the end by Jack Darling for North in the back pocket. McKercher might have given away a free kick. Sliding into the back he has here. And the free kick is going to go the way of Harry Perryman. Hard against the boundary in the right forward pocket, who just peels himself off the Docklands turf.
It happens 100 times a game these days. In the back isn't seemingly not a rule. But we'll put one out there.
The former Giant in the right forward pocket. With no Scott Pendlebury tonight. Bobby Hill missing for the Magpies, and Brandon Maynard subbed out in the first quarter with a foot injury. They need some of their senior players to stand up. Perryman in the right forward pocket looking to thread the needle. He misses to the right-hand side and a minor score. Collingwood doubled their lead. It's a 2-point advantage. 16 minutes gone, second quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
36,468 people here today for GWS v Carlton. What do you reckon? More tonight?
Yes.
So more tonight than today, you think, Boomer? We'll
Yes.
see in the last quarter. It does look pretty packed here for one of the few times Collingwood heads here. It is a North Melbourne home game. The ball's made its way out to the outer side of the ground. Will there be a stoppage? We'll head down to Lex Pesce on the boundary.
Plenty of work on George Wardlaw's nose, but he does look better now, and I feel kind of bad for saying it was yuck. Everything looks clean, and he's ready to come back on.
Thanks, Lex. So from the stoppage, Josh Dacos fires out a hand pass towards Lipinski, and he's wrapped up in a tackle by Luke Davies-Uniacke and stops the footy from going any further. Centre wing, outer side of the ground. Collingwood ahead by 2 points. Saturday night footy, ABC Sport.
Cameron and Darling. Darling did well, got rid of Darcy Cameron, but couldn't get boot to ball. He was tackled, holding the ball. So he did well initially, but couldn't follow up. It looks like he's found some good footy, Jack Darling, after transitioning from the West Coast Eagles to North Melbourne. Not so much on the scoreboard, but just in his general movement, up to 11 goals for the season. As the Pies take it through Lipinski. Goes short to Olive Markov, who was the late inclusion for Bobby Hill. Wasn't originally one of the emergencies. The GM of footy, Laura Kane, signed off on it and works it up to Nick Dacos inside 50. And Darcy Cameron all on his own. Some loose checking there as they looked for where Sherry was, and in the end they were expecting Charlie Coleman to pick him up, given that Sherry is on the bench.
So that's the first real time we've seen Nick Dacos with ball in hand in open play relatively. Had some time to work off the mark and make a quick decision on what he wanted to do with it by foot. He's had 3 kicks and 7 handballs. So the Kings have done well in sort of limiting his influence on the game by making him handball more often than not.
So Tristan Sherry kicked a goal in the opening quarter. While he's sitting on the bench watching, Darcy Cameron looks to respond from just inside 50. It's out to the left. It won't be a goal. It's through the hands of Myercheck and through for a minor score. Collingwood lead by 3 points. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. 18 minutes gone, second term.
Yeah, you're spot on, Half. No real influence on the game, is there? 10 possessions, going at 60%, so a little bit of pressure on the ball when he gets it. A lot of handballs, as you mentioned.
Power with the footy, just chips to Sheasel. He's at the top of the defensive 50. He'll go backwards towards McKercher. Cox does well to stop him from marking it. And we'll hold McKercher there. And it'll be a free kick towards McKercher. He might have got him high. So Colby gets away with that one. And he chips out to right half back where Comben goes to take the mark. And it was tapped out of his hands as well by Myercheck. So Comben with the footy chips back towards to McKercher. Moves it forward to Sheasel. And Sheasel marks right half back for the Roos. Goes on a little run before sending a dinky kick towards Luke Parker. Has front position. Taps it down smartly to Stevens. Hand passes towards McKercher. Spills over everyone's hands until Allen can grab it. Hand pass to Elliott. Hand pass across to...
Got him!
Debut is caught. He's caught by George Wardlaw.
I love George.
And George, coming on after his blood nose, wins the free kick against the player on debuting Will Hayes.
If the ball's within 10 to 12 metres, he ain't getting beaten or he's winning it. There's only two options.
Happy with you on ABC Sport as Wardlaw kicks up the wing. Finbar Maley leads up and takes the mark.
Moose.
He has been impressive overhead. It's his kicking which will be his area of improvement over the rest of his career. He kicks a flat ball up towards half forward. Sherry in front position, can't take the mark. Cameron spoils it away, running on to Parker. He's tackled and brought down by Howe. Got the hand pass out to Maley, trying to get it to Sherry, chopped off by Howe. Knocks it out to Hayes of the Magpies. Hand pass to Perryman, risky hand pass into the middle of the ground. Sullivan was clever, slapped it on looking for Houston, but chopping it off is power for North Melbourne. Hand pass away to Hardiman, kicks a long ball looking for Curtis, one-on-one with Quaynor. Quaynor went early, made the spoil. Curtis kept his feet, runs onto it. He looks short, trying to get it towards Larkey. It's chopped off by Frampton. He denies another entry inside 50. Zerha tries to knock it out to Larkey. Markov lays the tackle. The reinforcements arrive, and the ball is locked in the left forward pocket for North Melbourne. How did the Kangas not score there?
It's because he was too unselfish. He needed to take responsibility there, and he's a very unselfish player, Paul Curtis, but he's on his left side, perfect opportunity.
He's still got a chance here. Ball tossed out. It's pulled out by Sheasel. He just kicks towards goal. It's across the face, and that looked like it bounced out of bounds on the floor. It might have touched the line.
Still had two blokes in the corridor, though, Boomer. He was trying to get it to one of them, I think.
It was. I think he should have had a shot. That's in his kit bag, 100%. He's a very skillful player.
So the umpires come together. Jeremy Howe tells them it hit the post, makes the decision for them, and it will be out of bounds on the full and a free kick to Jeremy Howe.
Is he the one making the call?
Just walks over, taps the post and says, "It's my ball, boys."
How does that work?
Kicks out and gets it out of defensive 50, but O'Sullivan's again there to mop up and chips it towards Sheasel. Just marks outside of 50.
Having a good night, O'Sullivan.
Sheasel down low for Maley, takes the mark. Sliding on his knees, slightly right of centre. He'll kick from about 40 metres out.
Not sure it was meant to go there, just quietly.
Oh, I don't know.
Yes, didn't spin right. And he didn't look there. And there was nobody there.
My word, there was Big Finbar. The Moose was there. He was loving every minute of it.
So a chance to put North Melbourne in front. And they haven't really led since the opening couple of minutes of the match. Finbar Maley comes in, drags it to the left-hand side and slams into the left goalpost. And a poster, a minor score. The Magpies leading by a point.
There you go.
So ball comes out. It could be turned over here. It'll stay inside 50 as Maley takes the footy. Hand pass to Luke Parker. He'll have his shot at goal.
Couple of posters. Hit the post? No, just let it through.
Just glance to the right-hand side. But that margin comes back down to 1 point. Collingwood's advantage, 4-7 playing 4-6. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Again, had their opportunities, the Kangas. They probably should have kicked a couple now. 23 inside 50s to 17.
Josh Dacos with his 15th disposal into the back pocket for Houston. Kicks up towards the wing. Cameron can't take the mark. Pink sand pass. Davies Uniacke ducked out of one tackle and then a second. He did turn it over eventually though. Chris for Collingwood up towards half forward. Surely Compton was taken high. No whistle. Play on's the call. Membry fires a hand pass forward. Collingwood at left half forward. Myercheck long. Mason Cox one-on-one. Getting back Hardiman. Provided good support to Aidan Core. As Mason Cox is slow to rise and it's rushed through for a minor score. Collingwood by 2 points, Saturday night footy.
Charlie Commons copped one behind the right ear and one behind the left ear and play on the umpire reckons. It's bizarre tonight. It's big calls.
Really odd things.
Well, lack of calls, I should say.
North Melbourne working around the outer side of the ground. Hardiman kicks down towards Larkey. He was taken high. The umpire will stop it this time.
Hallelujah.
It was a late call, though.
It was. There was an extra second there.
It was an out-of-zone umpire that called it. Umpire Matty Nichols, who I went to school with, missed that one right in front of him.
There you go.
He was never liked at school. That's not true. I'll make that up. Mate.
Where was that? Parade College?
You betcha, the home of champions.
Oh, no.
He was a good fella. Still is.
You're backtracking now.
No, I was trying to be funny.
Kicks to McDonald and he flares it out to Stevens, who will put North Melbourne inside 50 as Jai Simpkin runs into some space in the right forward pocket. And Simpkin will tuck his mouthguard in and have a shot from here. It's a tight angle, about 35 metres out.
Part of the Diamond Creek brethren. Puma, you don't mess with those boys.
The old the Creekers. Down here today.
Don't mess with the Creekers,
A little bit of boxing down here today.
Who were you punching today?
Yeah, it's little Nick, the coach down there. He's punched me a couple of times too.
I'd love to do that.
So Jai Simpkin skips in, lets loose with the kick. It's a good-looking kick, and it is there. He gets mobbed by his teammates, and he puts North Melbourne back into the lead. They score back-to-back goals for the first time tonight, and North Melbourne are ahead by 4 points. 5-6-36, Collingwood 4-8-32, 24 minutes played. It's Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, Daniel Harford and Brendan Harvey.
And that one meant a bit to him too, Daniel. He'd done the love heart to the sky there. His grandmother passed away last week, so that's why the boys got around him clearly, and very emotional last week after the game, Jai. So that one meant a lot to him, you could tell. Worked super hard to get the football, by the way. Ran 30, 40 metres to make some space, and gee, it was a beautiful finish, wasn't it? Beautiful finish.
Laser through the middle of the ground, and one looks at the sky and says, there's one for you, Nan.
Second lead change of the match as North Melbourne take the lead. They've had a lot of inside 50s. 24-18, and finally they make it count on the scoreboard. Back in the middle of the ground. Cameron up against Sherry. Nick Dacos there with Powell for company. As it's tapped down by Sherry beautifully to Davies Uniacke, who runs away from Perryman. Cuts onto his right-hand side, kicks up towards Curtis, who gave up front position, and Quainer takes the mark for Collingwood. Left half back for the Magpies.
Cute Curtis there. Quainer access to the footy, but another centre bounce clearance. Territory battle's been won by the Kangas.
Quainer out to the broadcast wing towards Myercheck, who's nudged underneath it. A dangerous push in the end, and he has landed awkwardly on that knee.
Right in front of Lex.
And so the doctor has come straight out. Darcy Cameron's taking the footy, but Brody Myercheck costs a lot of physicality most weeks. And he's once more trying to hobble back down to the forward line. Now, the doctors might want to bring him off here, and he will eventually have to concede.
We have held the game up for this, just by the way, as a reference.
It's more a limp on the left knee than any concussion concern, but the Kangas leading by 4 points. He makes his way to the bench.
It's been pedantic, but he didn't come off through the gates then. There's about a foot outside the gates.
I like it.
Darcy Cameron kicks Collingwood up towards half forward, where his opposing ruck, Tristan Sherry, takes the intercepting mark at right half back. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Lex Pesce on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport. Back inside the defensive 50 as Hardiman looks to switch out to Luke McDonald, who marks at left half back.
Fantastic, Hardiman. Give us a real drive out of the half back line for the Kangas tonight.
It was up to 13 touches so far tonight. So McDonald chips it out towards Zerha, who's marked the footy left half back for North Melbourne. Long kick right down to centre wing. Frampton was at the back of the pack and able to get two hands to it and get a good grip on the mark.
He's been really good.
We're calling Raoul Dravid, I think, from here on in. He's the wall.
So Frampton will send it back the way it came, right to right half forward this time for the Pies. Plenty of hands on the footy, and it's made its way over the boundary line for a throw-in. So North Melbourne leading by 4 points. Let's head down to Lex Pesce on the boundary.
Brody Myercheck has just headed down to the rooms. He looked like he was walking better than when he came off, not quite through that interchange gate, as you guys so kindly pointed out. So hopefully that's okay, but into half-time I'll check on that.
Thanks, Lex. So Maynard already off with a foot injury, the sub made, and Oleg Markov on for Collingwood as the ball comes back in and Simpkin grabs it, hand pass to McDonald, and he flares the kick out wide just into plenty of space. It's Crisp that'll track it back. He's got Stevens closing on him, but Crisp has time to gather, collect, and just chip the pass to McCreary.
McCreary has it, centre wing. Collingwood trailing by 4 points. Sides against going to Nick Dacos, who's the acting captain tonight without Darcy Moore. Drives it long inside 50. Billy Elliott with a big fly. Can't take the mark. Harry Sheasel front and centre.
Dacos still winching.
He's doing the arms are out, aren't they? He's the captain. He's got to be a little bit careful of that.
I haven't seen that from Nick.
Coaches don't like that, Daniel, do they?
Not in front of the bench either, just by the way.
Just getting a little frustrated as Mason Cox and Tristan Sherry tangle. Sherry gets a hand pass out. It's pinched by Long, though. Hand pass to Hoskin Elliott, who jags it on the right boot and misses to the left-hand side. North Melbourne lead by 3 points. 28 minutes gone, second term. Just give you an update of the match between Walliup and Port Adelaide. The Artapolti taking place. It's the Dockers 3-3-21 to the Power 3 straight 18.
He normally gets tagged super heavy every week. He's got someone with their finger in his back and right next to him. Tonight he's getting nothing and he's not getting the football. They're not giving it to him. What are you laughing at, Daniel?
Nothing.
We'll keep a watch on it as Al gets the footy back for the second time in a couple of possessions, but still in the defensive 50 for North Melbourne.
Just glad his back came out then. I'm thankful for it.
It's back to Comben and he moves it to the right back pocket where Pink marks. Loads up on the kick, long kick towards Darling, marks it in front of a couple of pies.
Looks at the bench, they got the 1 minute sign up, so he's just saying, do you want me to hold it or go in? Sounds like they said, slow it down a little.
So defensive side of centre, Luke Parker takes it and gives it a fair bit on the kick to right half forward. Cameron got two hands to it, tried to juggle the mark, couldn't. Larky's there at the drop to pick it up. He chips it towards Paul Curtis, uses his body to mark. He's just a few metres out from goal, slight angle. But that's what North Melbourne fans want to see now. Paul Curtis is back in the side.
We talked about him being a big bench press man. I reckon last time we covered the Kangaroos at Docklands, we spoke to him or one of his teammates about his bench press. It was him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was Paul. Chad Wingard's a big fan.
Yeah, love the bench press.
So here comes Paul Curtis. Return game. Eases this one through the middle. And Paul Curtis puts North Melbourne out further to a game-high 9 points. So close to half-time. It's the Kangaroos 6-6-42, Collingwood 4-9-33, 30 minutes played in this second quarter.
Now, some would argue that Isaac Quainer is as strong as anyone in the competition.
Big rig.
And Paul Curtis just moved him out the way, picked him up and said, excuse me, little fella, I'm going to mark this one, I'm going to slot another goal. So he's just super strong. And as I mentioned, he's got so many avenues to goal. He's a great forward crummer. He's a great mark for his size, a beautiful kick. Very important player.
Welcome addition back into this team, no doubt about that.
Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport. 6 individual goal kickers for the Kangaroos, while Jamie Elliott has a couple for the Magpies. Closing in on half-time. The Kangas by 9 points with the last 3 goals of the match. Cameron wins down the tap for Collingwood. Sherry races after it, but Long knocks it on. In the end, he competes against Caleb Daniel as the ball spills back towards Darcy Cameron. He knocks it out to Perryman. He kicks inside 50. Intercepting mark taken by Luke McDonald. He looks out to the far wing where George Wardlaw's in space. He rises but can't complete the mark. Olaf Markov gathers for Collingwood. Hand pass to Perryman over the top, looking for Lipinski hard against the boundary. Is there time for one more goal? He kicks up towards Elliott, who marks in the right forward pocket. And this will be like quarter time after the siren here. As Jamie Elliott marks where the 50-metre arc is almost near the boundary line.
Just a little bit unsure why Luke McDonald need to go so quick and kick to a 50-50.
Yep. And the problem is there's no better player in the competition at this moment. 50 metres where the boundary line intersects the 50-metre line. There's no one better. Normally does it from the left-hand side.
So you're backing him?
Yep.
He moves the plastic chair out of the way. Jamie Elliott after the half-time siren from 50. It's an absolute shocker. He went for a torpedo, feeling like clearly 50 metres was beyond him. And it never spun correctly out of bounds on the full. So no change to the score. It's North Melbourne who lead by 9 points at the main break. 6-6-42 to the Pies, 4-9-33. If you've just flicked on the radio, there was a couple of late outs. Bobby Hill was out through personal reasons. And Scott Pendlebury was out through illness, meaning that Olaf Markov, who wasn't initially part of the selected squad, has come in. And also Will Parker, the former Victorian cricketer. It is the debut for William Hayes. didn't get a lot of the footy, had 2 touches in that first half, and the Kangaroos lead by 9 points at the main break. 6 individual goal kickers, Simpkin, Larkey, Curtis, Sherry, Costanti and Zurha, while for the Magpies, 2 goals to Jamie Elliott, individuals to Membry and to Sullivan. Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, your experts, the Kangas by 9.
Well, it's been a pretty well set up game from the Kangaroos from the start, Boomer. We were a bit taken aback with how they were choosing to move the football in the first quarter, the first 5-10 minutes of the first quarter, trying to work out what the system that was that they were going to implement tonight against the Magpies. And when you see it live here, you see it from an elevated position where we're lucky enough to watch the games with our broadcast. You can see what they're trying to do, trying to drag the Kangaroos out from sitting back in. Drag the Magpies out from sitting back in their defensive half.
Yep.
Because they're so quick on the counter-attack. They've got such good transition speed and ball movement when they get the ball back in their back half. That's where they are so efficient when they're scoring. You talked about their inside 50s last week, 32, and they still win the game against Adelaide. So that's how they can beat you in transition. So if you can own the ball and work it up to a position where they've got to come out and meet the ball carrier, be they in motion or a mark or a free kick, you can create more space, but you'll also get representation in your forward half to lock it in and create secondary opportunities. So there's no doubt it's a really clear plan from the Kangaroos tonight. They're executing it really well, and what they've added in that second term was a little bit of transition speed and getting the ball inside forward 50 really quickly when they get it to the open side. So that's the challenge for them to continue that. If I'm Craig McRae, I'm sitting going, okay, righto, all right. So we might have to restructure things a little bit here. We're good enough to change a few things, to flip a few magnets, to transition from our one-speed counter-attack game to a more full ground, stretch the ground, make them defend us all across the ground game, which I think is what they can do in the second half to get back into this and get back into the lead.
The Kangas have got the game on their terms.
Yep.
That quarter, if I'm right, 36-9 marks.
Yep.
So they're controlling the football in the back half like we've seen all night.
Yep.
But they've been able to do it up the ground a little bit more as well. So 36-9 marks in the second quarter alone, which is huge. The Pies have only had 21 inside 50s, 11 for that quarter. Again, just not giving their forwards enough opportunity to kick a big enough score. I really feel the Bobby Hill type player for Collingwood is missing that excitement, that speed.
Yep.
McCreary's been pretty good.
Spark.
He's been pretty good, but Bobby Hill is the one that can get goal side. So when McCreary's running with the football and taking a bounce, he can kick it over the back. I'm a little bit concerned just around the inside 50s for the Pies. It's a couple of weeks in a row now where it's been a little bit down. On the other hand, I thought the centre bounce work of the Kangaroos was exceptional that quarter. And Luke Davies-Uniacke, who has had the 7 for the quarter, it just felt like so much more. He was breaking and getting the ball into space. I thought he had an outstanding quarter. So they might have to look for something like that. And we mentioned Nick Dacos, Daniel, just having the Con Brits a little bit.
Yes.
With his teammates. He had the arms out a number of times saying, just give me the ball.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't blame him. You're a bloody good player, mate. Collingwood, he's won so many games for you. Just give him the football. He'll get around someone. He'll do something. He's one of the best kicks inside 50. He's got great decision-making. When he's on his own, give him the football.
3 disposals for the quarter. Nick Dacos, just the one kick. It was an inside 50 where Darcy Cameron had a shot on goal 45 metres out.
And nobody going near him. Like, he's not getting tagged here. Yep. It might be a team defence. They might have something around that, but there's not one player going to him.
Braden Maynard has been subbed out of the match with a foot injury in the first quarter. Olaf Markov came into the match, and it's the Kangas who lead by 9 points at half-time. Of course, Collingwood have won the last 5 between the two sides, and the Kangaroos have only won on 2 occasions against the Magpies in the last 11 years. So trying to upset the team on top of the ladder with 8 wins and 2 losses, or I should say the Brisbane Lions have just jumped above them with victory earlier today.
If we can go back to this time last year, 54 points the Kangas were up by at half-time. We had a premiership reunion here. I was sitting next to Big Mick Martin, and every guy will kick him, we'll cheersing, and then we got carried away with ourselves. 54 points down, they come up and won the Pies. So hopefully...
I reckon you're a bit stiff late in that game.
Yes, but hopefully the Kangas can hold on for a little bit longer than they did last year.
Yep, Collingwood kicked 8 of the last 9 goals of the match, come storming home to win by a point. Meanwhile, over in Perth, it's Wally up Fremantle, the Dockers, who lead 3-3-21 to Yatapolti Port Adelaide 3-1-19. Mitch Georgiadis has a couple of goals for the Power. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. We'll pause for the moment from Docklands and bring you the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Thanmaya Navada. New South Wales authorities say there's been a drop in flood rescues over the last 24 hours as conditions ease across the mid-north coast. More than 750 rescues have been carried out across the state since Monday, with the majority due to people driving through floodwaters. Emergency Services Minister Jihad Dib says efforts to assist residents are continuing, including using drones for medicine drops.
Move now into other forms of incidents where people may need support in terms of getting back into their home, in terms of assistance with the clean-up, but also in terms of assistance with other essential items.
Meanwhile, residents have begun to assess their homes for damage as floodwaters start to recede in some areas. Over 1,600 insurance claims have already been filed, a number expected to rise as up to 10,000 homes were impacted. Thousands are still without power or isolated, and a handful of emergency level warnings remain in place. This resident was able to go back home and counts himself lucky.
We've been here for 4 years. We started the renovation with the first flood in 2021 and it sat just under the floorboards, and it's basically done the same thing this time where it's come right up to the bottom, lost all the power, lost all the produce, and just a massive clean-up, but luckily enough it didn't enter inside, which is awesome.
Israel says scores of aid trucks have gone into Gaza in the past 24 hours, but the United Nations says nowhere near enough aid is getting to the Palestinian population there. The UN is calling for it to be allowed to send much more aid to the 2.1 million people cut off by the Israeli blockade. At the same time, a number of Palestinians have told the Associated Press news agency that Israeli troops are systematically forcing Palestinians to act as human shields, sending them into buildings and tunnels in Gaza to check for explosives or militants. The Israeli military says it strictly prohibits using civilians as shields, a practice it's long accused Hamas of using. A football club in Melbourne southeast has paid tribute to two former premiership players who died of methanol poisoning overseas last year by hosting a memorial match in their honour. The Beaumaris Sharks Football Club says it's created special Guernseys for the match, featuring the numbers of Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones, and will host a memorial round annually. The teenagers died in a hospital in Thailand last November after drinking cocktails tainted with methanol while holidaying in Laos. Bianca Jones's father, Mark Jones, says both families are incredibly grateful for the support they've received and are thankful to the football club.
Every day's hard, but work through it. We've been supported incredibly by our families, by close friends and by the community. I mean, you can see here all the communities come out to support the game, to support the girls, and both families have felt that.
WA Aboriginal Affairs Minister says all appropriate procedures were followed to hold a major surfing event in the state's southwest. Traditional custodians say WA's Department of Planning and Heritage allowed the World Surf League's Margaret River Pro to be held on a culturally significant site despite their objections. However, Don Punch says traditional owners from the local area were consulted by the World Surfing League, and full support was provided by local group, the Underlip Association. The event has been placed on hold over the weekend due to weather conditions and is expected to resume on Monday. 6 members of the Territory Response Group has been deployed to the remote Northern Territory community of Wadeye after a major disturbance in the town yesterday afternoon. Isabella Tolhurst reports.
Police received reports of a disturbance outside of a Wadeye childcare centre around 4:15 yesterday afternoon. As the 3 officers left the station to respond, they were approached by a group of 30 people, allegedly armed with bows and arrows, steel rebars and window louvers. 2 men allegedly threw the steel rods at the police car, piercing the windscreen and bonnet. The officers retreated back to the station and the group allegedly began rioting, throwing things at the building. The officers were unharmed. No arrests have been made yet, but 6 TRG members have been flown out to assist.
And in sport, men's tennis world number 3, Alexander Zverev has revealed his plane was struck by lightning while en route to the French Open. The 28-year-old says the plane, which was also boarded by Czech player Yuri Lehechka and American Brandon Nakashima, was forced to do an emergency landing back in the German city of Hamburg. Zverev says the lightning strike was largely uneventful, other than delaying their arrival into Paris. And you're up to date with the very latest on ABC News. For more news at any time, download the ABC Listen app.
The ABC Listen app has it all. The British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia, Wimbledon, the World Test Championship, and West Indies versus Australia. Oh, and did I mention we're doing the footy every weekend? ABC Sport on the ABC Listen app.
Storytelling is highly important because it really connects people.
I think it's nice to be inside the story.
To bring people to my eyes.
ABC Radio.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Feeds the hand pass back to Caleb Daniel. Inside 50, Lucky. In front takes the mark of Billy Frampton. Only about 20 to 35 metres out from goal, but directly in front.
I don't want to say it. He hasn't kicked well tonight, but he won't miss this, Big Larky. This is what he does.
No.
This is his bread and butter.
23 goals for the season for Nick Larky to try and get the Kangaroos going in the second quarter. And he sends it straight through the middle. Just a minute into the second quarter, Collingwood's lead is cut from 8 to 2. Allen has to fire a hand pass out to defensive half-back. It's picked up by McKercher for North. Hand pass away to Zurha. Kicks towards the teeth of goal. Darling uses his body well, and it's going to bounce through. The most incredible goal. Wow. Have a look on the replay of this one. As I don't think anyone really thought that was going to bounce through the major opening, and it curved wickedly right, and Cam Zurha is in full celebration.
Josh Dacos will now put the kick inside 50, almost to Membry, who taps it out. McCreary will pick it up, a long hand pass inside 50. It'll come across to Allen, who hand passes it to Elliott, who snaps towards goals and puts this one in.
Tristan Cherry waited for Mason Cox to jump early and then takes the clearance, kicks inside 50. Curtis feeds it to Costandi, bounces it towards the goal mouth, and through it goes. North Melbourne answer immediately, straight back.
So here comes Paul Curtis, return game. Eases this one through the middle. And Paul Curtis puts North Melbourne out further to a game-high 9 points, so close to half-time.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
And it is the Kangaroos who lead at half-time by 9 points, 6-6-42 to the Magpies 4-9-33. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Lex Peshare's down on the boundary. Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport. The Kangaroos trail by 8 points at quarter time. Jamie Elliott has a couple for the Magpies, while 6 individual goal kickers for the Kangaroos. Earlier today, it was the Giants who recorded a victory in Toby Green's 250th game. They prevailed by 28 points over the Blues, 17-8-110 to the Blues, 12-10-82. Jesse Hogan finished with 4 goals, Toby Green with 3, and Cal Brown with 3 as well. Charlie Curnow booted 3 for the Blues, while the Brisbane Lions had a 33-point victory over the Hawks in a top 4 shaper. The Lions back at the MCG after their premiership success, 14-9-93 to the Hawks, 8-12-60. There was 7 goals to 2 the way the Brisbane Lions in the second quarter, and then 3 goals to 1 goal 4 in the final term. Cal Archie booted 3, and Charlie Cameron kicked 3 as well. Dane Zorko had 33 disposals, and Cal Archie got the 3 votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year.
Did you know, Clinchy, can I just jump in? It's the first time in 21 years that the Brisbane Lions have beaten Hawthorn at the MCG. There you go. There's a stat for you.
There is a stat for you.
On a Saturday night.
So the Hawks have been pretty dominant at the home of footy.
When you walk in the Camino.
Yes, exactly right. I've got some more correspondence for you as well.
Good.
We'll bring you a bit of Chris Scott as well once our post-match comes to a feature. And Chris Scott, who was with the Saturday AFL team, Corbin Middlemass, Mick Molehouse and Luke Ball earlier today. So the coach of the Cats with his thoughts on their win over the Western Bulldogs and some of the antics of Bailey Smith over the last 24 hours. On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Kimberly in Yarraville doing the dishes in the kitchen with the radio on, TV on mute in the lounge room. Much prefer listening to you guys. Thanks, Kimberly, for your thoughts. Jan has also been in touch. She's a North Melbourne fan but has a soft spot for Jamie Elliott. Said he's a friend of hers and was his under-18's team manager. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
So good to hear that. Got a link there with the
Euroa, I think. He's a
Euroan, yeah.
Yeah. A Euroan?
Is that what they are?
Oh, sure.
Have to be close.
Just trying to get this mouse to work, which is giving me no joy at the moment. The little things in life that you kind of need to help you. Matt from Clifton Springs. If the North players want to continue pushing the Pliers players in the back going for marks, they should set him up and see how he likes it. So I'm not sure if that's to any particular player. There was a bit of pushing and shoving going on in the marking contest.
Who's that man from Birdsville that texted in earlier?
Yep, Mark from Upway is on the Kangaroos tonight. Cheerio to Christine and Coxie from Launceston in Tassie, loving the footy talk. And Joe has been in touch, driving around County Kerry, home of Gaelic footy and origin of one of our many Irish Aussie rules footballers, listening to the call. Go Pies. He's normally in Poowong North, of course, the home of Giant Newcombe, but he's in Ireland at the moment.
Well, the AFLW players have come out of County Kerry in recent years too. It's a very strong program.
He might be. Is it Mark O'Connor that's County Kerry? Is he?
I think so, yeah.
That's
Kerry yet?
Chriso's on the same train of thought as I am. 0437 774 774. Enjoying the call from under the lids. Certainly not walking the Camino in Spain tonight. I am jealous though, but I am walking the Kelpie. So
close enough.
Bellerive Beach under the shadows of the Bellerive Oval Ground. Go the Roos. Let us know where you're listening and taking in the call. 0437 774 774.
Just as you're reading out those texts, one of my favourite ever teammates is on the field and on the big screen, Byron Pickett.
Oh.
When I used to be getting tagged, Daniel, there was two players I used to love, him and Glenn Archer, for obvious reasons.
Yes.
I would stand on one side of the contest with my opponent, Byron would be on the other side, and I'd say, Choppy, I'm coming through. And he'd say, bring him past me. That's it. And then, you know what?
Past me.
9 out of 10 times, Byron wouldn't even worry about what I was doing or what my opponent was doing. But my opponent certainly was and would give me the meter that I needed. So, one of my all-time favourites, Byron. So it's great to see him out there.
Well, I saw a couple of weeks ago while we were on that topic, I saw Brendan Crummell for the first time.
Oh, yes.
In a long time. In about 20 years, I haven't seen Crummy. He looks great. His face is rearranged a couple of times from Byron, but he's fine. He's fine. So we're all Brendan Crummell fans.
Is that the biggest hit you've ever seen?
Oh, my goodness gracious me. By a mile.
I was on the bench, I think.
Oh, man.
And I heard it.
I wasn't that far off.
And Waverley was a big ground.
And I nearly collapsed. I didn't even get hit. I nearly collapsed through fear. My goodness. That was something.
But very, very hard play, but very good too. All Australian as a back pocket. Norm Smith medal as a forward pocket. Very, very good player.
Also on the SMS, BM says, as with Moz Jamie Elliott, given the fact that he started so promisingly. Josh from Kingsville says, hate the lack of footy coverage on free-to-air TV. I borrowed KO. It's on mute because they're awful. You guys are great. Thank you, Josh. So 0437 774 774 is the SMS number throughout the night. Matt Clutch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey with you. So I guess with the absence of Scott Pendlebury tonight, Bobby Hill, and now Braden Maynard out with that foot injury in the first quarter, the Magpies are looking to, you mentioned the frustration from Nick Dacos, the acting captain tonight, 10 disposals. He could probably do with a bit of Byron Pickett love to clear a bit of path for him, and Josh Dacos leading the way with 15. But the Kangaroos have been dominant, especially in the middle of the ground. When you look at their work around the clearances, they had 36 marks to 9, Boomer, as we may mention, throughout that second quarter, and they've scored 3 goals to 1 from stoppages. So very dominant around the work of Tristan Sherry in the middle of the ground and the ability to try and capitalise on that.
Remember, you mentioned the 36 and 9 marks. That was in the second quarter.
Yep.
It is 71 to 27 marks.
Yeah, it's 35-18 in the first.
Yeah, so just getting played on their own on their terms. So Collingwood need to do something different, and whether that's going down back and manning up so they can't chip around and go around you, they just got to try something different. But I'm thinking a big second half from the skipper, the Pie skipper right now.
Yep.
I think he'll go in, realise, rightio, I'm not even getting tagged, let's just do this. He'll run riot right now, and there's no one going with him. So Simpkin will be in the centre bounce with Uniac and Parker. It's not a hard tag, so he'll be looking to get it off the leash this half and give the Pies a little bit of drive.
Well, they're sweating on North Melbourne turning the ball over, and they're not doing it until they get deep in proceedings more often than not. The 41-26 contested in that second term in favour of the Kangaroos. So they're getting mauled at the contest as well. So they're waiting and sweating on the mistake. They might have to go and start winning it themselves this half to get back into this contest.
Good news for Pies fans. Brody Myercheck is out there for the third quarter after that heavy contact just before half-time. North Melbourne by 9 points as we get the second half underway. Here's Lauren Borden on ABC Sport.
So North Melbourne ahead, but it's all about whether they can hang on in this second half. Davies Uniac, hand pass back to Stevens, who hand passes across to his captain in Simpkin. Will put North Melbourne directly inside 50. Darling flew, couldn't take the mark. It comes out. Dacos tries to gather. He can't quite gather it. McKercher has a go. Josh Dacos will pick it up and hand pass it across to Long. He finds its way to Perryman and then will hand pass it to Markov. The late in for tonight. Hand passes it right to Nick Dacos in the centre of Docklands. He points to where he wants to put it, inside 50, and he goes that way towards
I got
one hand on it.
Probably the softest one tonight, Daniel. I'm going to call this as the soft. At least he looked at the ball.
Well, that one is the one I wouldn't have paid.
I'm with you.
That doesn't make any sense what's happened in that rule.
Maybe a bit of feedback at the main break?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly right there, Clinchy, I reckon.
I think you're on the money.
But Dacos through the middle of the ground all by himself.
And when you say by himself, we're talking 20 metres by himself.
So the free paid against Pink, and Myercheck puts this one towards goals and delivers one for Collingwood to start the second term. They bring that lead of North Melbourne's back down to 3 points, and we've only played a minute in this third term. It's Collingwood 5-9-39, North Melbourne 6-6-42. 3 points Kangaroos lead that they're holding on to. It's Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
That's what I didn't want to see from the Kangaroos. The team defence on Nick Dacos has been okay, but you don't let one of the best players in the competition have 20 metres. He literally walked into the forward 50 before he kicked it and put it in a fantastic area for Myercheck. And in the end, that free kick's a little bit bizarre because it's nowhere near as bad as the other ones.
No, I reckon that's a bit off, that one. But great for the Pies. They've had to find a way to put the pressure on this Kangaroo defence. They've been so well set up behind the ball, so they did it really quickly through the middle of the ground through Nick Dacos. Let's see if that becomes a pattern in this third term.
Kangas booted 5-2 in the second quarter. Collingwood strike first in the third. Sherry wins down the tap. Davies-Uniacke streaming through, but going defensively. Got a hand pass eventually to Parker. Hand pass away to Simpkin. To McDonald, who panicked, trying to give it back to Simpkin. Chopped off by Nick Dacos, who blazes out to the right forward pocket. And it bounces over the boundary line for a throw-in.
The difference between the Kangas and the Pies right now, and it's obviously a very good game of football, but the Pies put the handball into space and create depth, as you mentioned earlier in the first quarter half. Kangas are giving the ball just a metre away and putting their direct teammate in under fire from the Collingwood defenders.
Yep. Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport. Myercheck gets it down to Jamie Elliott in the right forward pocket. He curls it this time through for a goal. Couldn't finish after the half-time siren with a barrel from outside 50, but this is more his go. Right forward pocket, ever dangerous, and he puts the Pies back in front. Collingwood by 3 points, 6-9-45 to the Kangaroos 6-6-42. Jamie Elliott with his third goal of the match.
I don't want to harp on it, but Dacos was the one that put that ball inside 50 once again. Ball goes out of bounds and there's a stoppage, yes, but Elliott, that was a good finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, a ripper, absolute ripper, almost a bit of a check side on the run, facing the wrong direction. It was a very impressive finish. Just gets caught up. Parker misses the ball, fumbles the ball, and Elliott was at the back of the pack just waiting for someone to make a mistake. They're sweating on mistakes at the moment, the Pies.
Alexia Pesce on the boundary.
Guys, George Wardlaw's making it too easy. He's got his whole face strapped now.
He does too. The old Baltimore strapping right across the whole face, the whole nose and behind his head. Play brought back in the middle as Long takes it. He's taken in a tackle by Davies-Uniacke. Not a free kick towards the North Melbourne midfielder. Play on. Sherry goes in after it. He can't extract the footy. Allen can for the Pies. Hand passes it to Long, who puts a long hand pass inside 50, allowing Allen to keep running, have a kick at goal. Almost it dribbles towards Myercheck and it just dribbles through for a behind rush through and a minor score. Collingwood's lead is out to 4 points. 6-10 playing 6-6. 4 minutes played in the third quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Certainly a rejuvenated Pies coming out after half time.
Yes, you wonder what Craig McRae said as the mark is taken by Comben at half back. Kicks up towards the wing. Larkey can't take the mark against Billy Frampton. Running around the back is Josh Dacos. Another disposal for him. Hand pass down low to Crisp. He picked it up cleanly. Hand pass to Lipinski. Chips it up to half forward. Where the mark is taken by Hayes. On to Boo. He can link it over the top. Chris kept running. Of course he did. And he marks in the left forward pocket just inside the 50. As those have fallen down around him. Still side bottom wrestled this week. Bobby Hill, Scott Pendlebury, Jack Crisp just keeps running on.
I was in an SMS earlier. I was reading someone from Birdsville. Apologies, I forget the name. Asking Boomer, what does he do in the bye weeks? Does he go through withdrawals? Jack Crisp.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't get to play.
That's a fair call, actually.
I reckon he might sleep.
Just get the kids out and replicate a game.
Bit of backyard football, maybe.
His 248th consecutive game for Jack Crisp. He's out to the left. He'll have to produce his best here as he fires on goal. It's right to the goal line. In from the side, Tristan Sherry to the pack and scores it through for a minor score. All one-way traffic in this third quarter. Collingwood by 5 points. We've played 5 minutes on ABC Sport.
They looked to have a spare play all the way around the boundary then, but it was the North Melbourne defender that was the spare one, but he kept retreating backwards and not coming forward.
Riley Hardiman with a long kick out of defence over the top is Howe, who just flew over and punched it 20 metres out of bounds. And it'll be a throw-in left half back for North Melbourne. So the kick was almost going to Darling. Darling had to backtrack and it was punched over by Howe. So they do look like they've switched on Collingwood in this second half. Down by 9 points at half-time and now ahead by 5 points. Just early stages of the third quarter at Docklands. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Cameron and Sherry tussle in the ruck. Spills out to Simpkin, who can hand pass it towards McKercher. He's in a tangle with his own teammate Davies Uniacke, who picks it up in the end. Moves it across to Stevens, who kicks to the top of the 50 to left half forward, where Maley will mark for the Kangas. Maley just holds on to the footy to find the perfect kick that he wants to make inside 50. He'll kick to a pack in the end. Top of the goal square. Larkey, couple of hands to it. Couldn't mark. Lipinski takes it. He's tackled to ground by Curtis and holds on and pulls it under him. And the umpire will cross his arms and ball it up.
Larkey was getting held in that marking contest as well. Quite easily could have been a free kick. Quainer, who was undersized, had no option but to hold him.
North Melbourne with their second inside 50 of the quarter. Free kick in the ruck contest.
Which way?
It's going the way.
Oh, no way!
Darcy
It's
Cameron.
just a guessing game, isn't it?
I just watched a replay of that. I don't know how anyone pulled a free kick out of that.
Tristan Sherry was lying on his back when the decision was made. He got up with arms outstretched across the half-back line for Collingwood as Nick Dacos kicks out. And it's spoiled out of play by Hardiman by North Melbourne. A boundary throw-in at right half forward for the Roos. Collingwood leading by 5 points. 7 minutes gone in the third term. Meanwhile, over in Perth, it's the Dockers. Wally up leading 6-5-41 to the Power, 4-3-27. Thrown back in. Cameron wins down the tap. Sherry lost his footing. Wardlaw with that nose bandage kicks North Melbourne towards full forward. Maley was caught behind and the mark is taken by Isaac Quainer. Hard against the left behind post on the last line of defence. He can poke it over the top to Nick Dacos. Call to play on, it wasn't 15, so he has to kick into the middle of the ground. Crisp is the target, knocked down by McDonald, knocked forward by Long to Sullivan, it may work. Josh Dacos streaming through the middle of the ground, takes a bounce, looks up inside 50, they're on the break here. Elliott racing back to goal, great defending. Toby Pink made up ground desperately and gets a fist in there to spoil out of play.
Aiden Core, I think it was. Yeah, that's okay because he made up a lot of ground too. Jamie Elliott is very fast when it's an open space in front of him. That's the Bobby Hill kick I was talking about earlier in the game. That's Bobby Hill. It goes to a little bit more space and it's a ground ball. He can turn players inside out.
Did he make some ground there, Aiden Core?
Yeah, well done.
Brilliant.
Good punch over the line, forces the throw in as Sherry tries to tap it away against Membry towards Davies Uniacke. In the end, Elliott does the tackling and he pulls one leg of his opponent in Simpkin.
He was pulling his leg.
There will be another throw-up just inside 50 for the Pies. Sherry taps it down towards Davies Uniacke, tussling with Hoskin Elliott in the end. It spills out to Core, who just shoves it on his boot to get some distance on the kick. Maley had front position, went up to try and mark it, but he was in a pack, couldn't take it. And Quaynor does the tackling and wraps up Sheasel. And we'll have a ball up centre of Dockland Stadium.
Just love the way Maley jumps at the footy. It's a bit unconventional. It's a bit all over the shop, baby giraffe style at the minute, but gee, it's aggressive.
So Collingwood ahead by 5 points. Wardlaw comes in after it with his whole head struck after having a blood nose a couple of times. And the umpire will come in and throw the ball up again right in the centre of Docklands.
Wardlaw alongside Nick Dacos, one to watch as Dacos read the tap of Tristan Sherry and Nick sends it inside 50, looking for Membry, use his body against Comben. Getting back, O'Sullivan spoils it out of play. And a throw in 50 metres out from the Magpies goal. Collingwood by 5 points, 9 minutes gone. Third term, Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Nick Dacos, 5 possessions, 5 kicks. I think you might have to stamp him. Now, you've got to set someone, maybe not to go to him and fully tag, but just be super aware of him.
Colby McKercher alongside him at this stoppage. It's thrown back in. Cameron tried to bump his opponent. Sherry out of it, but Sherry gets the clearance. Kicks up to Maley. He's tackled. Can't get a hand pass away. Eventually he does as Markov laid the tackle. Out to Powell. Kicks out towards the broadcast wing and Harry Sheasel takes the mark.
And Sheasel stands by himself in front of that interchange gate. He looks at Finn O'Sullivan, who comes onto the bench and then loads up on the kick to try and get it just inside 50 for North Melbourne. Maley went up again, couldn't take the mark. Chris was there at the drop for the Pies. Hand pass to Josh Dacos, who hand passes to his brother Nick. Moves it into the centre of the ground towards Sullivan, who'll now kick to centre half forward. Pink at the front, got 2 hands to it, tips to his fingers, couldn't mark it. Myercheck runs onto it, has a shot at the goal and misses to the left-hand side.
Well, do you know what, Boom? I don't reckon you have to worry about Nick so much as Josh at the minute. He's the 7th defender, so they've released him as the spare behind the ball.
Yep.
And he's the one causing all sorts of trouble in transition from half-back for the Magpies. That's how Josh is getting freed up, because they're running and drawing the Kangaroos players through the middle of the ground. Nick gets on the end of it. It's Josh, I think, who's the architect of everything behind the ball.
Collingwood by 6 points. McDonald kicked up towards the wing. Cotman had a big piece of it. Cameron trying to break away, but he's tackled. And the umpire will ball it up. Magpies 6-12-48 to North Melbourne 6-6-42. Simpkin from the stoppage. Hand pass to Powell. Hand pass was over the head of Parker. He goes to gather. Allen lays the tackle, but he gets kicked down the line. Flying in the air was Costand. He couldn't take the mark. Now becomes the tackler. And the umpire will ball it up as Ed Allen was tackled immediately. And the umpire will toss it in the air once more. Cameron and Sherry. Cameron wins down the tap for Collingwood, but Simpkin for North. Hand pass away to Parker. Feeds it back to Wardlaw, to Powell. He got bumped by Crisp as he kicks up towards half forward. Maley just crashed the pack and gave away the free kick. In fact, he got a push.
He got it.
So he gets the free kick. So left Markov gave him a push from behind in the eyes of the umpire. And Finbar Maley has it, 55 metres out from home. He veers out to the right and sends it in the direction of Larkey. He flies in the pack and can't take the mark. The pack is crashed as Davies-Uniacke gets a hand pass out to Caleb Daniel. Stevens couldn't take it cleanly. Ned Long lays the tackle on him. Ball spills clear. North still a chance. It's socket forward by Costandi to Dan Houston, who's tackled immediately. And the umpire will ball it up 40 metres out from the Kangaroos' goal.
Pressure's been good from both teams. 9 tackles to Collingwood already this quarter. 5 to the Kangas.
So umpire tosses the ball up in North Melbourne's forward 50. It's Long that takes it for Collingwood, flicks it across to Lipinski, who just hand passes it straight back to Stevens of North Melbourne. Has a shot at goal and he just hits the post.
They just scraped the post on the inside too. So
it was a good-looking kick too.
It was.
North Melbourne fans went up, but it's just a behind. 5 points now, Collingwood's advantage.
Jeremy Howe looks to bring the Magpies back into play. Markov leads into space, a set play as he runs away from Sheasel and has it in the back pocket. Takes a bounce as he clears the defensive 50. Up to the wing, Sullivan in from the side. McDonald makes the spoil for North. Onto it Ed Allen for Collingwood. Hand pass to Crisp to Nick Dacos. Quick giveaway to Allen. He streams up the wing. Centering ball in the direction of Hoskin Elliott. Had to wait underneath it. Hardiman makes the spoil. Myercheck comes racing out. He lays the tackle on Hardiman. Ball spills clear. Stevens was desperate. He wins it back for North. He looks into the middle of the ground. Asked a lot of Darling. He couldn't get there.
A little bit more on that.
Houston takes the mark.
Just had to get that little bit of height. Give Melly a little bit of a run at it.
It's a bad option. I reckon all the Magpies were on that side of the ground. He had to find something on the open side or go long to the one-on-one with Frampton and Larkey. It was just a bad option, I reckon.
I think it was a bad option. It was bad execution as well. Just flat when he needed to go high.
Houston pops the kick over to left half forward to Lipinski, and he'll put it into the forward pocket for the Pies. Cox at the front, couldn't mark. Myercheck going in after it, so does Caleb Daniel. And it just bobbles over the boundary line for a throw-in, just a few metres around from that left behind post for the Pies. Kicking towards the Coventry end of Dockland Stadium tonight in this third quarter. They're leading by 5 points. Early stages of this third term. Sherry and Membry just hold on to each other and tussle in the ruck. And then Hoskin Elliott comes in to grab the footy. Luke Parker takes him down. And we'll have a ball up directly in front of goals for Collingwood. We've got a 5-point lead, 13 minutes played in this third term.
Collingwood have kicked the only 2 goals of this third quarter so far. Membry lays the tackle on Sherry and the umpire will ball it up. Both came in the opening 3 minutes though. So we've had 11 goalless minutes since then as this arm wrestle of a match continues. Membry wins down the tap against Sherry to Wardlaw. It ricochets off Hoskin Elliott out towards the boundary line. It stays in. Lipinski's hand pass to Elliott. He hand passes it to himself. He gathers and fires on goal. It's across the face. No! In it goes. Jamie Elliott with his 4th. The goal umpire went racing to the left, and he is proving the difference so far for the Magpies as they skip out to an 11-point lead. 3 unanswered goals so far in this third term. 7-12-54 to North Melbourne 6-7-43.
That's his second for the quarter, Elliott. He's 3 for the game. I think Elliott's got, is that right?
Yeah.
4. He's got 4.
4 for the game, yeah.
That's the difference, isn't he? You miss a Bobby Elliott and... a Bobby Hill. And then little Elliott pops up out of nowhere. He's had a fantastic year. He's probably the All-Australian.
So, look at the replay, Boom. He's facing away from goal. Jai Simpkin goes to cover Nick Dacos because he's been so dangerous, which means Elliott's got time to spill that ball, get back, and then turn around and kick a goal. So the Nick Dacos impact is real, not only for when he's got the ball, but when he hasn't got the ball, he's in the vicinity. So that's what happens. Jai Simpkins should have gone to Elliott on that occasion to defend that, but went to Dacos because he's hot.
The Pies now out to a game-high 11-point lead as Chris takes the footy and he gets tackled by Parker, and Parker wins the free. So Luke Parker has had a solid game tonight as well in his first season in the Kangaroos colours. Puts plenty on the kick to get it inside 50 for North Melbourne. A whole pack forming. Howe at the front just pushes it down, but he pushes it straight into the path of Powell of North Melbourne, who goals.
On his left foot.
He didn't have much time, took the footy when it was presented to him, and goals for North Melbourne. It's their first of the third quarter. They break a string of 3 straight Collingwood goals, and that margin comes to below a goal. 5 points, Collingwood's advantage. 7-12-54 are the Pies, leading the Kangaroos 7-7-49. 16 minutes played in this third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Out of the 14 goals, half, I would love to know, and I haven't got the stat in front of me, direct goal, not direct goals, but the team that's won the centre bounce before that, gone forward and be able to set up in defence before the ball comes back out and score. That was directly from a centre bounce, but it would be significant. It would be significant tonight, I would have thought.
Yeah, I reckon you're right. And you spoke about that young man at the start of the game, Boom.
Pally,
about how talented he is. He hadn't had a lot of the footy, but tell you what, if he can get his hands on it a bit more often with finishes like that, they'll be very pleased, the Kangaroos.
On the opposite side of his body was beautiful, wasn't it?
Centre bounce clearance is 9-4 the way of the Kangaroos as the umpire is calling for a free kick. Is it Nick Dacos' way? No, it's a North Melbourne free kick. And now you can hear the Collingwood fans who are irate. They thought it was going their way. It's Jack Darling who gets the free kick. He feeds it around the back to Caleb Daniel. Takes a bounce with the helmet on. Gets to the edge of the centre square. Kicks looking for Curtis. Quainer working way to the front.
1-all.
Experienced defender takes the mark.
1-all.
Didn't get in. See, he got off Curtis there, didn't he? He didn't want to engage in body contact. Smart play.
Collingwood by 5 points. Kicks to the back pocket for Frampton. He works it up to Hayes. Here's Will Hayes on debut. The Western Australian. 180 centimetres, lightly framed, getting his opportunity in the big time. He kicks long around the wing. Membry and Cox are the 2 in the pack for Collingwood. Jack Darling across the front. Spoils it out of play. Lex Pesh here on the boundary.
Did you know Will Hayes is the 5th West Australian to debut this year? After last year, they said that it was the worst WA crop they've seen in a while. So stick it, whoever said that.
Just remind us, where are you from,
Where are you from, Lex?
Western Australia.
Just checking.
Will Hayes out of Claremont. He's just turned 19, and there you go, another Western Australian debuting as back from the middle. Long takes it, hand passes it to Berryman, hand pass to Josh Dacos, and he kicks it across to Hayes, who marks it right half forward now.
He's not one of those horse trainer brothers, is he?
He's not.
For a second, I thought Will Hayes has gone to a third club, but no, it's not. It's not quite the Will Hayes that's joined his family in the horse trading business.
That kick's gone 8 metres to Nick Dacos.
It has.
To be paid a mark.
Barely gained any distance, and Nick Dacos now will pop it right into the hot spot inside 50. Cameron could put both hands up, couldn't mark. Perryman went in there, Hoskin Elliott as well. They trip over each other. Curtis is there for North Melbourne. Daniel as well. It's just spilling between players' hands. Long will have a go and dive on after it, and players will just jump on top of him to slow things down and cause a stoppage right at the top of forward 50 for Collingwood.
Bit of a rugby scum, wasn't it? There, just
scum.
Rugby scum.
There's been a few sporters who have been called scum over the years.
Rugby scrum. Rugby scrum.
Josh Dacos kicks inside 50 for Collingwood, and Luke McDonald takes the intercepting mark. Switches the ball for the Kangas out to right half-back. Stevens has it. He doesn't have a lot of options, so kicks around the boundary line in the direction of Jack Darling.
Had a good third term. Jack Darling's been important.
He's worked high up the ground. This is the moment. He looks inboard. Risky kick to O'Sullivan. He takes the mark. Finn O'Sullivan in his 10th game, yet to get a Rising Star nominee across half-back, works it to Toby Ping. Hand pass in the middle of the ground for Luke McDonald. Long kick for the Kangas, going to get out the back. Zerha flies and takes a superb mark.
Good mark.
Good hang.
Had eyes on the footy, had to reach over the top of Billy Frampton and was able to hang on to the footy.
So that's the kick there by Luke McDonald. He's still got it, but he was able to penetrate and get that ball. Now he's only kicking from probably 30 out half.
Yeah, 25, yeah.
Instead of landing 40 out. That's the difference. There's 10 to 15 metres that is absolutely huge in this game. If you can get the ball into there, you're a better chance of scoring and a less of a chance of the opposition rebounding the ball on you.
That's a really good jump.
190 centimetres. These are the times where he looks unstoppable. Cam Zerha for his second. He continues. The Kangas fight back as they take the lead. Collingwood booted the first 3 goals of this third quarter. All of a sudden, the Kangas are back in front by a point after the last 2. Cam Zerha with a superb mark. 8:7.55 to Collingwood 7 at 12.54. Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, they look to go a bit more direct this term, Boom, too. They've gone through the corridor a few times. They're not afraid to bring the ball back through, switch the angle up and then get the runner past. Caleb Daniels done it a few times. Luke McDonald on that occasion. That's how you break that line. That's how you don't get held up behind centre, kicking long to the top of the arc and the rebound zone, as you called it, really accurately at the start of the game in that first quarter. So if they can continue to do that, Magpies sitting back, folding back into the defensive half, not really coming up at the runner, then you're going to get looks deep inside forward 50. So we'll keep an eye on that, but that's not a bad mode to play against the Magpies from what we've seen tonight.
Fourth lead change of the game, and the Kangaroos are back in front after the last couple of goals. From the middle, though, it'll be McCreery in the black and white, who'll directly put a kick inside 50 towards Cox. He fell over at the end. Mychek takes it, though. Hand pass to Sullivan, just tries to dribble the ball towards goals. And it goes through for a minor score.
Caleb Daniel breathes a sigh of relief. He came off, didn't get anywhere near impacting that ball that came in. His opponent Sullivan just sat there in the good space. Should have kicked the goal there for the Pies.
Scores a level again. 7:13 plays North Melbourne 8-7.
Aiden Core into Caleb Daniel. His kick up towards O'Sullivan never got to him. And the intercepting mark has been taken by Will Parker. He was the late inclusion. Scott Pendlebury out. Olin Markov came in for Bobby Hill. Kicks into the pocket looking for Membry. Flies from behind against Core. Comes to the front where Stevens has tackled. And the umpire will ball it up in the left forward pocket for Collingwood.
One of the better games I've seen Core play for a while too, Boom. He's stood strong a couple of times in one-on-ones. He's in front of the contest by himself, knows he's going to get hammered. He stays the course.
Cox tried to take another ruck for Collingwood, couldn't do so effectively. Spills out the way of McCreery. High searching ball inside the attacking 50. Off the hands of Mychek. Ricocheted off Hardiman. Back to Mychek. Lost his footing. Hand pass out to Allen in the right forward pocket now. Feeds it back to Markov. Little dink kick to Long. Was that 15?
Oh, that
he got taken high and a show of strength. Simpkin got him high.
What's he doing, Simpkin? He didn't need to do that. He knew it was going to be a 10-metre kick.
Gives the hand pass off to Jeremy Howe on the runway. It's off to the left and it clears in the end. Tristan Sherry and Mason Coxon through for a minor score. Collingwood lead by that behind. 22 minutes gone. Third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
It was crashed, that roundhouse from Simpkin.
Yeah. Oh, we might... it wasn't amazing.
That will be under scrutiny.
No, nothing in it.
Scrutiny.
So Caleb Daniel moves it out to Core, who kicks it out to the wing. Zerha dives on top of his Pies opponent. The umpire will have to come and wraps his arms. And we'll ball this up. Frampton's down, on the other side of the ground. He's got a trainer coming to him.
He was the one trying to take the mark as the ball came out. I'm going to roll it on his shoulder a bit, I reckon, Billy.
Running off now to be a part of this stoppage. Sherry just taps it out towards Sullivan. Curls it around to the top of the 50 for the Pies. Cox at the front. Comben does well to stop him from marking. It'll spill inside. Hoskin Elliott goes after it. Surely a push in the back from O'Sullivan. No, umpire will say play on, and the ball will be moved outside of defensive 50 by North. And at right half back is Luke Davies-Uniacke, who'll mark for the Kangas.
LDU doesn't have a lot of movement down the wing, so he has to go short and works it over the top where Luke Parker takes the mark. Turns it, comes inboard to Powell. Ball spills out back to Davies-Uniacke. Switches play to left half back where Pink can run away. He looks up inside 50. Finbar Maley the target in a wrestle with Howe. It's spoiled away by Howe. Awkward bouncing ball for Hayes. Couldn't take it cleanly. Allen, was that over the shoulder? Umpire said no, and the ball up will take place at left half forward for North Melbourne. And Jacob Costanti will probably feel a little hard done by.
Free kicks not being paid tonight, Daniel.
But every time the Magpies get outside that channel of pressure from the Pies, they look really dangerous.
Kircher hand pass to Daniel, who hand passes to Hardiman, and he goes back inside 50 for the Kangaroos. It was Frampton that tried to take the mark, did enough just to get it to Howe, who can clear the kick to the left back pocket where Crisp will mark, and he can kick it out to the wing where Hoskin Elliott marks all by himself. Stops with the footy though and will chip towards Elliott, who marks centre wing, city side of Dockland Stadium, chips towards McCreery, and Collingwood are moving the ball quickly.
Barrel!
A huge taunt from McCreery all the way to the top of the goal square, but it's rushed through for a behind. And Nick Dacos is filthy that the ball didn't get kicked to him either.
It was a great build-up from the nearly intercept mark from Frampton down back to Hoskin Elliott working super, super hard, bringing the ball back in on the 45. Really good change of play by the Pies, and a little bit unorthodox by the big torpedo, but I didn't mind it.
But the Kangas had three in between the ball carrier and the pairs that were forward of them, goal side of them. So they had a lot of players in the area, so you had to clear it. I don't mind the play. It's actually a heads-up play from Bo McCreary.
Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Lex Pescier down on the boundaries. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. As the Kangas switch to the back pocket, down to Toby Pink and down to Lex Pescier.
I reckon, as you guys just called it, Nick Dacos was screaming from the moment he left the bench. So he's an angry captain tonight.
And he's getting the ball on cue here. Gets a hand pass away as he worked it away to Parker and back to Josh Dacos. Now the hand pass to Ned Long. Got it to Perryman in the middle of the ground. He dumps a kick inside 50. Awkward bouncing ball for O'Sullivan, who's tackled by Elliott when he doesn't have the footy. Where's the whistle? Hand pass to Cotman, who switches towards Caleb Daniel at halfback. Bouncing ball in front of he and Crisp. Now it comes over Hoskin Elliott. Crisp doesn't need him. Kicks into the pocket and finds Myercheck, who leads up and marks in the left forward pocket.
Yeah, fantastic craft there by Crisp. Just pushing Caleb Daniel off balance at the very, very right time. Just through the sort of the core area and had no chance to stand up, Caleb Daniel. Jack Crisp, well done.
Still trying to work out how they didn't get a free kick.
Yep, you and me both.
Holding the man.
Tackle when he didn't have the footy. Brody Myercheck from the left forward pocket for his second to extend Collingwood's lead. He does so by 1. It's a 3-point lead at the 27-minute mark of the third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Collingwood keep the last 4 behinds of the match, so they just lead by 3 points. As Stevens works it with Core to bring the footy out of defence, and it's a long kick from Core right to centre wing, out of side of the ground, and Zerha will mark.
He's going to have to hold up.
He does. He's just got to wait for all these teammates to move forward ahead of him, and instead just chips out wide towards Luke Davies-Uniacke, who marks and then will chip it backwards towards Daniel. A kick that's just 15 on the logo out of side of the ground. And again, he'll just go forward by 15 metres to Stevens.
That's that one that Boomer's been asking for, that extra one. They're in the corner of the square effectively now. And this long ball will get to 20 metres out. Well, it's off the side of the boot a bit.
Yeah, it didn't come off the boot well from Stevens. Inside 50, Allen pushes it down towards Houston, then gets the footy back, and Allen can hand pass to Long, who hand passes to Nick Dacos. Puts the footy above his head, takes a bounce, and hand passes out of defensive 50 to Markov, across to Quaynor. Hand pass into Long in the centre of Dockland Stadium. He'll put it on his boot now and get right inside 50 towards Membry in a battle of Pink. Pink does well to win out, take the footy, then he's taken to the turf.
Well done.
Well done, Toby Pink.
Big win.
Huge win.
Wrapped up, he stopped a quick run from Collingwood, and it means we'll have a ball up inside 50 for Collingwood, who are leading by 3 points late stages of the third term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
That's what happens if you don't get that ball deep enough. It's going to come back at speed.
Ned Long doing the ruck work against Tristan Sherry, who tries to spin out of traffic. Hand pass towards the boundary line where Wardlaw is knocked over. And Bo McCreary using his body well there against George, who's got the headband around the nose, continuing to toil away despite the blood streaming down from his nose earlier in the match. Collingwood 7-16, 58 to North Melbourne 8-7, 55. Pies missing a number of senior players, but managing to soldier on as Sherry wins down the tap. Got it to Powell, risky kick in the middle of the ground. Houston takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. He dinks the kick back into the middle of the ground for Quaynor. It opens up the ground. He streams towards Larkey, trying to draw a couple of opponents. He's gone. Never saw Stevens, who got him holding the footy.
Kangas have to get going here. They've got the chance to really break it.
Dylan Stevens moves his feet left and right and sprays the kick into space on the outer side of the ground. There was no one around. It's taken Lipinski this long, the Collingwood midfielder, to pick up the footy. And Stevens wastes the possession. Lipinski with the footy just puts it up high. Nick Dacos at the drop can dart the kick inside 50 to Membry, who is all alone, got a lead on Toby Pink. And it's Membry who's marked the footy for Collingwood inside 50.
Toby Pink's not allowed to have a phone during the game, but I guess you get to the bench, get a phone, and text, who was it, Stevens, and say, get stuffed.
Dylan Stevens. What? Where did he kick it?
Well,
it went sideways.
You can't defend that ball coming back in. So that's the problem from a defensive perspective. But what was he doing, Boomer?
We didn't get off the mark quick enough, number one. And he had the open side out here, and he elected not to take the easy kick.
The turnover gifts Tim Membry a shot at goal. He puts it towards the goal face. It's just off to the left-hand side. So Stevens might be sighing a sigh of relief at the moment that he's only cost his team 1 point. Collingwood's lead now out to 4 points. 29 minutes played in this third term.
24 scoring shots to 15. Pies way.
Yeah, Collingwood 3-7 in this third quarter. Brent Harvey and Daniel Harford, your experts on ABC Sport. Powell works it to Hardiman at left half back.
Dacos had 3 kicks to half time. He's had 7 in this quarter. He's had 11 for the quarter, 7 kicks, and he's dangerous.
Hardiman up the wing, free kick for over the shoulder before the ball got there, and Paul Curtis is going to take the free kick. He's tangling with Jeremy Howe. He's had the job on Nick Larkey at times, and Nick Larkey, as Neil and Coburg makes the point on the SMS, is struggling to get in the game. Kicks up towards half forward. Awkward bouncing ball for Jack Crisp, and Luke Davies-Uniacke is tackled on the ball up at left half forward.
Will Parker had the ball in his hand. It was Paul Curtis's free kick, and he dropped the ball on the ground.
And that once upon a time was a 50-metre penalty.
Should be all upon a time.
Not tonight, as Sherry wins down the tap, but it's locked up.
Happily ever after it should be for that one.
How can they get Nick Larkey more into the game?
Well, I think they're going to separate their bigs when they get forward. They're waiting for all the numbers to get in and reinforce the chance to lock it in, but you can't get separation when you do that. So
Simpkin tried to knock it forward. He was being held. He didn't have the footy. And the North Melbourne captain has it in the left forward pocket and will now have a shot on goal.
The other way is to get a little bit more flow on the ball. Yeah. Stevens had the opportunity to put flow on the ball and bring it out here.
He was the obvious target too.
This is going to be after the three-quarter time siren, with Collingwood leading by 4 points. A chance to put North Melbourne in front heading into the final term.
This is about the spot he put the finger up for the shush last week or 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
I think it was. Jai Simpkin looking to try and strike some damage here. Collingwood inaccurate in front of goal. Simpkin's kick is out to the left and just scrapes in for a behind. So Collingwood's lead is 3 points at three-quarter time. The Magpies have been wasteful in front of goals. 7 goals, 17-59 to North Melbourne, 8-56. In that quarter, Collingwood kicked 3 goals, 8 to North Melbourne's 2 goals, 2. For the Magpies, 4 goals to Jamie Elliott. Individuals to Membry, Sullivan and Myercheck. While for North Melbourne, 2 goals to Cam Zurhaar. Individuals to Simpkin, Larkey, Powell, Curtis, Sherry and Costanti. Three-quarter time here at Docklands. Collingwood hold a 3-point advantage. Meanwhile, over in Perth, it's Wally up the Dockers who lead Port Adelaide by 8 points. Yatapolti. So heading into the third quarter there in a few moments' time. But Mitch Georgiades has a couple of goals for Port Adelaide. In fact, he has 3, and Reid with 2 goals for the Dockers. Three-quarter time with it all still to be played. Collingwood leading by 3 points. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Why scroll when you can listen on the ABC Listen app? Listen to shows like ABC News Daily,
ABC Sport Daily,
and Conversations. Get on the ABC Listen app today and every day.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
The free paid against Pink, and Myercheck puts this one towards goals and delivers one for Collingwood to start the second term. They bring that lead of North Melbourne's back down to 3 points, and we've only played a minute in this third term.
Myercheck gets it down to Jamie Elliott in the right forward pocket. He curls it this time through for a goal, and he puts the Pies back in front.
So Luke Parker has had a solid game tonight as well in his first season in the Kangaroos colours. Puts plenty on the kick to get it inside 50 for North Melbourne. A whole pack forming. Howe at the front just pushes it down, but he pushes it straight into the path of Powell of North Melbourne, who goals.
Hand pass in the middle of the ground for Luke McDonald. Long kick for the Kangas, going to get out the back. Zurhaar flies and takes us a third mark.
Good mark. Good man.
Had eyes on the footy, had to reach over the top of Billy Frampton, and was able to hang on to the footy. These are the times where he looks unstoppable. Cam Zurhaar for his second. He continues. The Kangas fight back as they take the lead. Collingwood put to the first 3 goals of this third quarter. All of a sudden, the Kangas are back in front by a point after the last 2.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and on the ABC Listen app.
The Kangas have won 2 games so far in season 2025. Collingwood looking for a third consecutive win and a return to the top of the AFL ladder. It's the Magpies who lead by 3 points at three-quarter time, 7-17-59 to North Melbourne, 8-8-56. Matt Clench and Lauren Borden calling the action. Lex Pesce down on the boundary. The thoughts of our experts, Brent Harvey and Daniel Harper.
Well, a much better quarter from the Magpies. They came out with some real energy and zest at the start of that third term. Clearances were going their way for a little while, though the Kangas ended up on top in that category again for the quarter. But it was Nick Dacos who turned the game around. Went into the middle of the ground, had 11 disposals for the quarter, boom, 7 kicks. He only had 3 to half time and was unbelievably efficient with those. Created a lot of scoring opportunities for the Magpies inside their forward 50 on the back of his sublime skills. So that was a really big win for them. Dropping a 7th defender, it was Josh Dacos for most of the quarter. He was the architect of what was happening up behind the ball, and they were able to get some real flow into their game, particularly in transition. just go through some of the numbers, it makes a fair bit of sense. Like Collingwood had in the first quarter 10 inside 50s, 11 in the second, 20 in the third.
For 3 goals, 8 though.
Yeah, for 3 goals, 8. So that's the kicker for them. But they were able to get the ball in their forward half and take it off the Kangaroos, who only had 25 marks for the quarter when they've had 35 and 36 in the first and second respectively. So much more pressure on the Kangaroos to try and find another way, but also keeping the ball inside their forward half and giving themselves some scoring opportunities. 3 goals, 8's not the answer, but it's a pretty good start.
And I think we've seen a number of times Collingwood where they love launching the ball, and you mentioned Josh Dacos getting back and being that spare. They love launching the ball. That's their whole score launches. That's their game.
Yep.
They turn the ball over 40-50 out from the opposition's goal, and they're so quick in their transition that they can go the full length of the ground. We've seen that a number of times today. It was only by a couple of special efforts. Toby Pink, one of them. Charlie Comben, another one, who nullified them scoring. As you mentioned, 20 inside 50. They only had 21 in 2 quarters. They had 20 inside 50s that quarter. So peppered the Kangaroos. They actually did quite well to hold up. Really good start by the Pies with the first 3 goals, and then the Kangas kicked the last 2 just to even it up a little bit more.
Handball received, yeah, was strong. That rebound handball game was really strong, and the Kangas couldn't find a way to put the clamp on that. So that's something that Alistair Clarkson and his team will have to try and identify to stop in this last term if they're to have a chance of winning this game. 7-17 to 8-8. So you don't win too many games kicking 7-17, but they might get away with it the way things are going.
Just in that game in Perth, there was a collision in which Darcy Byrne-Jones for Port Adelaide went back courageously with the flight with Alex Pearce coming the other direction. It was a big collision in which Pearce's eyes were on the ball but launches into a brace at the last moment, and Darcy Byrne-Jones comes off second best. So that will be one, no doubt, Michael Christian, the match review officer, will have a good look at. But it's been the Dockers who have led for the majority of that match, and they hold an 8-point lead with the third quarter about to get underway. Here at Docklands, there's less than a kick in it. Collingwood leading by 3 points. As the players are heading out into position, there's no Scott Pendlebury tonight for Collingwood. There's no Bobby Hill, and Braden Maynard suffered a foot injury in the first quarter. So it's the young Pies who are getting their opportunity, their depth being tested, and the Kangas with a golden opportunity to try and claim their first win over Collingwood in 6 outings. Last tasted success back in 2019, back in round 5. They played a match last year in which the Kangas got out by 54 points in the third quarter, and Collingwood came rattling home and kicked 8 of the last 9 goals of the match. The game on the line here as we head into the final term, with Collingwood leading by 3 points.
Plus 12 clearances, the Kangas, plus 24 contested. They're good numbers. Inside 50s, they're up as well.
Final term underway as Darcy Cameron wins down the tap against Sherry, spills out the way of Nick Dacos, can't get an effective disposal away. Little towboat from Perryman out towards Crisp. His hand pass chopped off in the end by Jai Simpkin, but he can't take possession of it. It spills out to Darcy Cameron. The umpire will ball it up. Lex Pesher on the boundary.
It's North Melbourne have made their sub, so it's Finbar Maley who comes off and Zach Fisher is on.
Thanks, Lex. So both subs now activated for the match. There's play restarts in the middle. Stevens grabs it on the wing. Hand pass across to Powell, who hand passes it back to Hardiman. He'll put it on the boot here and just puts it wide of Stevens. And it'll be a boundary throw in just forward of halfway. Half forward for North Melbourne, who are kicking towards the Coventry end of Docklands in this final quarter. They're trailing by 3 points, the Pies. So tossed in Sherry and Cameron. Cameron reaches over Sherry. No whistle called in the end, so Powell goes in and digs it out. He's tackled by Chris. Can get the hand pass away to Wardlaw, who kicks as he's falling inside 50. Quaynor's there. Houston's there as well, but Larkey gets there first for North Melbourne. Hand passes it away towards the sub in Fisher. He doesn't get a hand on it because it's Quaynor that picks it up and can clear the kick out to the wing for the Pies. Claw running after it. It'll be a free kick here. No. So no free kick will be played towards Cox, and it's Core who can grab it for North Melbourne. Hand pass to Daniel, who hand passes it across to Hardiman.
Hardiman drives it inside 50. Zurhar in from the side. Can't take the mark. Dowling's the crummer. Trying to get a hand pass away to Zurhar, but Darcy Cameron stands in the way. Feeds the hand pass back to Quaynor. Hand pass away to Houston. Around his body up towards Hoskin Elliott. Simpkin got rid of his opponent but dropped the mark. Hoskin Elliott, his opponent, pinches it back. Kicks up the wing. Bouncing ball for Comben. Trying to get away from Mason Cox. Feeds a hand pass back to Core on the wing to Hardiman. Back to Comden. Around the body, he blazes up towards half forward. Sheasel read it best. He marks just inside the boundary line at left half forward.
Pretty well worked there by the Kangas under a fair bit of pressure from the Pies.
Had to be patient. As Sheasel looks into the pocket, Tristan Sherry's there, Zerha as well. Sherry reaches up, can't hang on to it. And off hands it goes out of play in the left forward pocket for North.
Not a bad result. If you can't mark it, it's got to go out of bounds, give yourself another opportunity. Set up behind the ball.
So deep inside 50 for North Melbourne. They lost by 1 point against Collingwood last year. And they're down by 3 points in this last quarter. Ball tossed in. Sherry just picks it out of the ruck himself. Hand passes it towards Simpkin. He's dispossessed by Cameron, who tries to push the ball out of a pack. But again, it's locked in. We'll have another stoppage inside forward 50 for the Kangas. They're in a good little patch of form at the moment. The Kangaroos, they won last week. They drew with Brisbane the week before. And they're looking to claim a scalp and a win against Collingwood tonight as Dacos, though, gathers it. And it's Nick that just kicks it outside of defensive 50. Fisher's there, the sub. Has some fresh legs on him. Hand passes it across to Davies-Uniacke. The inside 50 will come back in for North Melbourne. It's Hoskin Elliott who tries to hack a kick away. Fisher's there to pick it up for North. Hand pass across to Simpkin. He hand passes back to Wardlaw, who just brushes off Will Hayes with his left hand. And then will dink the kick inside 50, looking for Larkey. Two hands. Couldn't hold on to the mark. Fisher's there again. Hand pass back to Zerha, will try and curl the ball towards goals. It's Quaynor that intercepts the footy and marks. Hand pass to Frampton. Hand pass across to Howe, and he'll be able to clear out of the danger zone for the Pies.
Kicks up towards Membry, who takes the mark from the kick of Isaac Quaynor. Membry looks to come inboard where Dan Houston can take the mark. Left half back for Collingwood, just threads the needle, found Jack Crisp. He wants to try and get it over the back to Mason Cox or Jamie Elliott, and Elliott takes the mark. Did it bounce off Cox? Umpire says
Cox wants the free
Collingwood.
kick. Just let Elliott have it. He's
Shot
kick,
on goal and
he's
Jamie
kicked
Elliott.
4. Going to be his 5th.
Cox had glasses. You know, he wears those glasses on his head.
Goggles.
Like you're driving in the car. What's going on there? It's 25 degrees, arm out the window. Sunny's on the head.
I'll tell you one person who wouldn't like that. That's Dennis Pagan. I'll tell you a quick story when I get an opportunity.
Here's Jamie Elliott, an important opportunity to strike first in the final term. Elliott for number 5. He comes in, and with the number 5 on his back, sends it through the middle for an important goal for Collingwood. Out to a 9-point advantage early in this final term. 8-17, 65 to North Melbourne, 8-8, 56. The Magpies strike in the opening 5 minutes of this final term. Brent Harvey and Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport.
They were pretty composed there, weren't they? Remember, he got the ball in centre wing and he could have turned. He had Elliott streaming towards goal, but he elected to go back through the middle. Houston hit a Collingwood player who then turned and went with speed, but it was really composed football. They didn't rush it. They were quick, but they didn't rush it, which is fantastic football.
Transition from that the kick from Zerha, which didn't have enough on it. Quaynor all the way from basically the defensive goal square for the Pies all the way up the ground.
Kangas didn't touch the football.
Did not get near it. The winner won a 1-1 win from Membry here in front of us at left half back for the Pies was significant.
So it's Collingwood out by 9 points. Ball back in the middle, and it's Perryman who goes in after it. Might have been taken high again. No whistle. Hand pass across to Nick Dacos. Back inside 50 for Collingwood. It's a long kick towards Elliott, of course. He can punch it away from Pink, and he'll cause a throw-in inside forward 50 for Collingwood.
He's really got the wheels on tonight, or the second half, Nick Dacos. He's taking this game by the scruff.
Well, I'm not going to say I told you so, and I said the Dacos boys will have a lot of possession tonight. 25 to Nick and 23 to Josh. I'm not going to say that, but I told you so.
I'm glad you didn't say it.
But I told you so.
Come back in the second half as Davies-Uniacke takes it, hand passes it across to Sheasel, hand pass to Hardman. He's taken down in a strong tackle by Membry. Didn't have prior opportunity, so it will be a ball up 40 metres out from goal for the Pies. They're leading by 9 points, and there's 6 minutes that's been played in the fourth.
Sherry tries to take another ruck. Hand pass to Simpkin under pressure. Hand pass is turned over. Hayes knocks it forward looking for Crisp off the deck. Myercheck. It ricochets off Pink. Just millimetres out from Collingwood's goal. Comes out to Hardiman. Hand pass to Wardlaw. Had to fire the hand pass away from Hoskin Elliott. Back to Hardiman. To Powell. The overlap to Fisher. It never got to him. Cameron turns it straight over though for Collingwood. Hand pass away. Holding the ball.
Didn't need to do it. Didn't need to have that handball from Powell, I reckon, early in that chain. Didn't need to pull the trigger. Had to run and draw the defender.
But they've lifted the pressure of the Pies.
Yeah, they're coming forward.
They've really lifted their pressure in the last, or probably the last quarter.
Will Hayes with the tackle on Tom Powell. Chips it over the top to captain Nick Dacos. Around the boundary line. Kicks inside 50. Crisp takes the mark. In front of Lipinski and Luke McDonald. Collingwood set that up well, and In the end, they had 3 players in the front of the pack, and North just couldn't have a defender that could really impose themselves.
Can I just... I don't want to harp on it, but Nick Dacos has had 9 inside 50s, and I think 7 of them are coming this second half.
Well, we'll be able to check that for you, but I reckon you'll probably be...
Well, he had 5 in the third quarter. He just had another one then.
Plus the clearance.
Clearance.
Yep.
Collingwood's most durable player, Jack Crisp, comes in for 2 goals to start the final term. In the right forward pocket, he has his arms in the air in celebration as the Magpies have made a statement here to start the final term. A 15-point lead now, 9-17-71 to North Melbourne 8-8-56, and the Pies are rising to the occasion. Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey with you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, well, you talk about the impact he's had. We're just seeing the kick on the replay screen here around the stadium. Tom Powell got on the mark, looked at the umpire. Dacos has called the play on, so if he had just been aware, he would have been able to stop him getting around and kicking that ball inside forward 50. But he's just so lethal with that right foot. You can't allow him the time and space to kick the ball. They did a good job managing it the first half, but as I said before, he has single-handedly turned this game in the second half. It's been quite something to watch.
So the Pies have kicked 5 goals to 2 in this second half. They're now out by 15 points. 8 minutes into the final term at Dockland Stadium. So Doug Nichols round, and it's Long that takes it from the middle, spun around in a tackle, but hand passes it back to Crisp, who's in the middle now. Kicks inside 50. It'll be a mark to Membry.
Centre bounce clearance.
He took it on the chest against Core, who was right beside him. And Membry clung to the mark, and he'll go back now to have a shot from 45 metres out, a tougher than 45-degree angle.
It's so crucial in today's football half, the centre bounce clearance, isn't it? You get it going forward. We've harped on it all night. Your defence gets to set up, you push forward, you can press and put the opposition under pressure.
And you've got no extra numbers to deal with.
Tim Membry's already got 1 tonight, and he puts a lot on this kick as he kicks towards the goal. And it will be through. He's got that one through the middle, Tim Membry. And that goes a long way to securing the win for Collingwood tonight. It's his second, and importantly, Collingwood push out to a 21-point lead, the biggest it's been at any time tonight. 10-17-77 are the Pies, and North Melbourne 8-8-56. Nearly 10 minutes play in this final quarter. It's Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that's 3 in 5 minutes.
Yep. That's
3 in 5 minutes now for the Pies. As we mentioned, come off the back of a centre bounce clearance, and you're spot on half at 6v6. It gives you your best opportunity, and North Melbourne haven't had a lot of ball inside 50 where it's been one-on-one tonight, and the Pies got that opportunity just then. And 3 in 5 minutes now, it's going to be really hard for the Kangas to peg back. They've got to kick the next goal very, very quickly.
Good strong work from Ned Long at the clearance too. He's a bullocking player. I like watching him about it. And Membry's one-on-one capacity has shown up tonight too to be quite significant in this game. Another clearance coming from the Pies.
Here's McCreary on cue, gets the clearance, hand pass to Crisp, who's within range from 55, goes for home, it's offline to the left, and a minor score. Collingwood are threatening to blow this game wide open. It's a 22-point lead. 3 unanswered goals in the final term.
Now, it was a bit easy there. Come out the front of the stoppage. That's something you don't want. Sweeper's got to hold.
I like McCreary in there every now and then for the Pies. He creates different dynamic.
Quick, isn't it? He's got the leg speed. He's got the power.
They've got to do something with these possessions now, North Melbourne, as Stevens kicks down the wing towards Darling, very close to the boundary line. And it'll be a throw-in. Centre wing, city side of Dockland Stadium. They're now trailing by 22 points, North Melbourne, in this final term. It's Cox in the ruck against Sherry, and Sherry just 2 hands takes it away from Cox, falls to the ground, just finally gets rid of it. Umpire will call it against Sherry. So holding the ball against the North Melbourne ruck. Free kick to the Pies. Long will take it, chips it across to Lipinski. Centre circles will flare it out across ground and switch it towards Allen, but he'll be able to put a kick right directly to the top of the 50 to Crisp, who'll mark.
He's having some sort of quarter.
Just outside the 50, about 55 metres out from goal.
Dacos has just come on.
He's running to the left of Jack Crisp, and he's pointing towards the pocket, and that's exactly where Crisp will go because Markov was standing there unchecked, and he'll mark 35 metres out from goal, but it is a tight angle.
Well, because he came on, Constantine was paying attention to Dacos running forward. As a result, Markov drops back into the pocket a bit. Constantine still looking at Dacos. Good kick from Crisp. to find the free player effect.
And Crisp didn't have the distance, and he was going to kick it from probably just before 60. So it's a great choice.
Fantastic moustache on Ollie, just by the way. Fantastic.
Starts his run up from the advertising hoardings and then runs over the pane of 50 to kick towards the goals. It is a beautiful looking kick. And that should do it for the Magpies tonight. He wasn't even on the team sheet coming into this match, and he has kicked a goal as well. The laid in, and every single player on the Collingwood with a Collingwood jumper on. It's not only run onto him, but he's dancing around him as well.
Righto, half. What was this goal celebration as we see Olaf Markov now going back into position, and he is high-fiving anyone and everyone.
Yeah, he's taking all the love he can get at the moment. He's searching, he's looking for people to high-five. I don't know what the celebration was. It looks a little bit NBA-ish, I think, Boomer, for those sports fans around the world.
Like a marching soldier or something, wasn't it?
Stomping, marching type situation.
Is it sort of a LeBron James sort of... He does the stomping, doesn't he?
Yeah, it wasn't quite as LeBron as it would have been. I hope it wasn't, because he's done a really bad version of it. But he's enjoyed every minute of it, which is the highlight of it for
There we go.
Oleg.
Arms in the air, high knees, Lex Pesce on the boundary.
That's exactly how I want Half to do all of his walking that he's planning on doing. Marching.
It's Camino. Darcy Cameron volleys it to half forward. Sullivan worked underneath it, and the mark is taken by Charlie Comben. How this has swung for North Melbourne. All of a sudden, it's a 28-point lead. Collingwood's way. 4 goals in 11 minutes to just break open this match. And the Roos have been left helpless. As Aidan Core has it at left half back, called to play on. He looks out the outer wing and sends it up in the direction of who? No one's there, and Darcy Cameron takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. Have you seen the battle tonight, Half and Boomer, between Sherry and Cameron?
Can we get the stats up for the whole game? Because it's actually been pretty even, I would have thought. I think Cherry got a goal very early in the piece. What's he had there, Big X? He's had the 17 touches and a goal.
You go through the stats for a minute as Nick Dacos gets possession number 27. Chips it over the top to brother Josh, and they're waxing like they would in the backyard. Josh Dacos kicks up towards Mason Cox. He flies over Cameron, clears to the back of the pack, Ned Long. Hand pass inboard on the run. Perryman from 45 for another one for Collingwood.
Festival.
Hot pies at the moment. And they are streaming clear of North Melbourne here. Injury riddled, but charging in this final term. And it's a 34-point lead, having led by just 3 points at three-quarter time. 12-18-90 to North Melbourne 8-8-56. 15 minutes gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Oh, great finish.
5 goals.
It really has opened up very, very quickly. They've been able to run out this game much stronger than the Kangaroos, the Magpies. And coming into it, we mentioned this at three-quarter time, 7-17. They had dominated the game up until that point. It was 7-17 to 6-6 or whatever it was at 8-8. At three-quarter time. So they really had dominated shots at goal. It was just a matter of trying to find a way to make it a bit more efficient. It seems their ability to find space now as the Kangas start to tire a bit, Boomer, is going to cause all sorts of trouble in this last 15 minutes or so.
It's quickly become a big margin the way of the Pies. 34 points in this last term as Luke Davies-Uniacke runs onto the footy. He's grabbed by Allen and he's taken in the tackle along with Perryman, and the umpire quickly gets the ball underway and tosses it up. Sherry has a go at it. Allen does as well. Josh Dacos can just get a hand pass away to Nick, who hand passes it to Markov, gets a cheer from the crowd and then kicks it towards McCreary, who shrugs off his opponent, can't take the ball though. In the end, tackles Luke Davies-Uniacke short, holds on to him, and hand pass goes back to Finn O'Sullivan, who will put the kick to the top of the 50 for North Melbourne. And it'll be Maley who had the kick, kicked into the man on the mark though. It won't go any further for North Melbourne. Parker comes in to try and help his teammate in Constantine rather, and it'll be a ball up at half forward for North Melbourne. So they're desperately trying to do something with the footy here. 16 minutes have been played in this last term and they're down by 34 points. Josh Dacos will be the one that takes it out though and hand passes it across to O'Sullivan. Hand pass to Parker. And it's North Melbourne emerging with the footy here. Here goes O'Sullivan doing his best to get a rising star nod today. He kicks inside 50 though, and it's intercepted by Quainer.
Oh, his kick is almost chopped off as Powell came in from the side. Spotted away from Will Hoskin-Elliott and goes out of play for a boundary throw in. Collingwood by 34 points, 12-18-90 to the Kangas 8-8-56.
What's your thoughts on the double fist?
Mark the ball. Mark the ball.
Two fists to it, get two open hands to it, can't you?
Yeah, that was an opportunity for a turnover goal. You've got to take that and try and mark that ball. If you drop that, that's okay.
Toss back into play. Tristan Cherry up against Darcy Cameron. Comes down to the front where Powell's onto it for North. Spears back on the right-hand side. Kicks a high ball to half-forward. It's over Zerha. And Costanti is running back onto it. Markov, the last goal scorer, as he gets the hand pass to Quainer. Kicks out towards Ed Allen at half-back. It trickles on the ground. He runs onto it at left half-back. Pokes a kick up to Mason Cox and the big American Risers. Takes the mark, feeds it off to Allen. They're playing with freedom now, Collingwood. Hand pass to Nick Dacos over the top to Long. Look away, hand pass over his shoulder to Ed Allen. To Lipinski, into the pocket to Myercheck. And the Kangas are witches' hats at the moment. Their players are plenty inside the forward 50. He centres it to Hoskin Elliott. It's 1-on-3. Curls around on the left, and he joins the growing list of goal kickers. Will Hoskin Elliott with his first of the night. And that is Collingwood's 6th of the final term. 6 goals to none. As the inside 50s are only 9-7, but Collingwood ruthless with their efficiency. Collingwood by 40 points. 13-18-96 to North Melbourne 8-56.
So we've seen that a number of times tonight, Half. The ball from the full back line, transition the full length of the ground. In the end, that was a little embarrassing. There was 3 Collingwood players that could have raffled it off. The ball missed Hoskin Elliott by 6 or 7 metres. He had enough time to go pick it up, could have ditched it off to 2 players and kicked it over the man's head from 4 metres out.
We've said this before, Boom. There is no better team in football than working the ball quickly from half-back, deep inside D50 than Collingwood. They make you look silly, and they did to the Kangas on that occasion.
So Collingwood have scored 6-1 in this final term. North are yet to score as Sheasel goes after the footy, then falls over, and then looks like he got kneed in the head as well by Perryman. So he tripped over, then Perryman came in after and caught him very high.
It wasn't deliberate. Just have a look at the replay, so that's okay.
Sheasel gets his kick and puts it inside forward 50. It'll dribble its way to the right forward pocket, just punched away Allen, tracking it back, and it'll be a throw in inside forward 50 for North Melbourne. So their last goal came at the 20-minute mark of the third term, off the boot of Cam Zerha. It was only 1 point in the margin at that moment. North Melbourne took the lead, and since then it's been all Collingwood as they've pushed their way out to a 40-point advantage. Inside 50 for the Kangas. The umpire will toss the ball. It's pushed away by Cameron. Hand pass from Quaynor across to Ed Allen. Nick Dacos works his way through some traffic. Hand passes it to Long. Clever just tap. He was looking for his teammate in Perryman. In the end, it's Wardlaw who tried to gather it. Perryman takes it back. Hand pass to Long. Chips it. Hand pass to Nick Dacos, who chips it down to Membry. And he'll mark left half back for the Pies. Moves it inside to Lipinski. Who moves it across to Markov. Puts it on his boot. He's got Myercheck there at the back against Toby Pink. Couldn't take the mark. Doesn't need to. Has a shot at goal, but he's worked off the footy by Core. He's a little sore too, Myercheck. But we'll have a ball in inside forward 50 for Collingwood. They're up by 40 points late in this fourth term.
Probably should have scored out of that one too. Myercheck just a drop mark.
Lex Pesher on the boundary.
It looks like Jamie Elliott was done for the day. He came off and said, I think I'm done. I've done 5 straight. I'm good. But in a good way. No injuries.
Yeah, well, the Pies have had their challenges with personnel in recent weeks. As Myercheck, hand pass away. Hayes on to Boo over his shoulder. Won't have the journey. And it's marked on the behind line by Aidan Core, who switches towards Powell. Had to wear the contact of Hoskin Elliott. Knocks it down to Sullivan. He's tackled by Powell. He's trying to redeem himself, and he locks the ball just up inside the attacking 50 for the Magpies. They lead by 40 points. 6 goals to none so far in this final term.
So surely another big crowd tonight. The second of a doubleheader at Docklands. It's the first time I can remember that it's been done. As the ball will be hand passed over the boundary line. We'll have another ball to be tossed in. So there's been 94,387 fans at the MCG and at Docklands today. And another big crowd tonight. So probably a fair bit of traffic around as well on the way home.
It's almost our very own gather round. 7 games of Victoria this week.
I'm not sure interstate. It's always gather round every week in Melbourne. You know what I'm... As the ball's tossed in, it's taken by Daniel, hand passes to Hardiman, kicks outside a defensive 50, pushed back by Hoskin Elliott, and he does well to get it to Nick Dacos, who just definitely puts a kick in towards Lipinski. At the front was Sheasley. Wilby paid the mark. He plays on quickly anyway in the end, and just chips to Luke Parker. No, it will be coming back.
Don't tell Lex, by the way. She'll get upset. WA perspective.
But I know where you were going with that half. It's interesting. Games in Geelong. It's couple of games tomorrow as the kick comes across to Comben and he chips it to Zach Fisher, to Lex Pesce on the boundary.
I live here now.
Before you were very much in the other state.
But I backed them.
I was going to say, you want to talk about gatherings on the other side of the Westgate on a Thursday night when you're trying to make your way down from Geelong. There's a long wait there. They spent a lot of money on those roads. Here's Caleb Daniel on the wing for North Melbourne. Hand pass to Luke Parker. Hand pass away to Powell. Can he finish here from 50? He misses to the left-hand side. Still certainly out of this game, and Collingwood leading by 39 points. Kangas searching for their first goal of the final term at the 22-minute mark. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
I wonder who's going to feature in Boomer's votes.
There's some quick hands for you, isn't there?
So the ball moved out by Josh Dacos, who takes a bounce, runs right up the middle of the 50 and kicks out. And he kicks it straight to Combat in the end, who's in the centre of the field for North. Can just chip it to Davies Uniacke. So the average losing margin for North was 18 points in their last 5 encounters. It's blown out to 39 points in this last quarter. Kick comes to Stevens. Couple of kicks from home. He just chips it towards Daniel. And it was Houston Easley coming over the top to punch it out of bounds, and we'll have a throw-in just outside of forward 50 for North Melbourne, trailing by 39.
Just not sure kicking to Caleb Daniel, running in between two players a foot and a half taller than him, trying to drop it in a bucket's the right option.
He's better than his other kick on the
Over in Perth, it's the Dockers who lead by 27 points over Port Adelaide. Darcy Cameron does the ruck work and the roving, kicks up towards the wing. It was touched off the boot. Pink is tackled, and the umpire will ball it up in front of the two benches. Craig McRae's down on the bench having a chat with his charges. Jamie Elliott done for the night, as Lex Pesce told you, and he told her. As here's Zach Fisher, the sub into the game in the final term. Kicks up inside 50. Larkey presents. Spoiled away by Frampton. Running onto it, Stevens. Hand pass to Powell. Hand pass to Caleb Daniel. Kicks inside 50. Backing back, Zurhaar. Excellent mark. Had to deal with Ed Allen, and then coming from the side was Perryman, who slaps the turf in frustration. Cam Zurhaar has a few moments where he's looking a class above when he can present like that.
Yeah, if he kicks this, he kicks his 3. He hasn't had a lot of the ball. This will be his 7th disposal, but if you kick 3 as your sort of mid-sized forward, you've done your job every week.
Signed the long-term contract till 2029. Cam Zurhaar out to the right, comes in and gives North Melbourne their first goal of the final term. His 3rd of the night. He's the only multiple goal kicker for the Kangaroos in this match so far. Collingwood's lead cut back to 33 points with the Kangas' first goal of the final term coming at the 24-minute mark. Collingwood 13-18-96 to North Melbourne 9-9-63. Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport.
What are you thinking, Harf? That's their first goal for the quarter.
No, they've been mauled in this last term. The way the Magpies have rebounded,
6-1
on them. Yeah, it's been a mauling. So a lot of things to learn. I saw an SMS come through before. No Pendlebury, no Hill. Maynard out earlier from a Kangaroo supporter who was very, very disappointed.
Yep, that's from Neil.
Neil saw that come through. Look, I think they put up a really good fight. A good plan, I reckon. We talked about that through the first half, boom. Nick Dacos was quelled, and they had a really good opportunity to get the game on terms. Then they did in the first half. And then from then, this young man, Nick Dacos, who's got another clearance, has set the game alight, and the Pies will come with him. And the class has shown.
Nick Dacos put it out wide. McCreery ran onto it, and Dacos has run all the way close to McCreery to get the hand pass from him, then just darts the kick to the top of the 50. It's rolling in. Cobman first to meet it, takes it, hand passes it away to O'Sullivan. Allen gets his body in the way and does well for Collingwood. Simpkin picks it up for North and just hand passes close to the boundary line. Comgan can get a slight boot to it towards Darling, but it's taken over the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in at half forward for Collingwood.
It's just a matter of whether or not the Pies were going to be able to just stay the course, I reckon, today, and just withstand the storm for a bit and then let the game open up and find their groove when they got a chance, and they've done that in the second half.
Josh Dacos, hand pass to Allen inside 50, Membry on the end of it, and will mark.
So 3 goals, 8 in the third quarter. What was it, 6 goals? How many this last quarter?
6 goals to 1. 6 goals, 1.
Right, so 7 shots. This will be 8. So it'll be 19 shots in the last half without even trying, really.
Yep. It's a lot of footy, isn't it?
So now Tim Membry with Luke McDonald, his hands on his hips, standing on the mark. Will run over to kick from 40 metres out. He's looking for his 3rd for tonight. He starts it right. He brings it back in. Membry has 3, and the Pies just add on another one in this last quarter. They've got 14 for tonight. 14-18, 102. They lead North Melbourne 9-9-63. 39 points they go back out by. 27 minutes played in this final term.
So 48 inside 50s to North Melbourne to 53.
So they average 46.2, the Kangas. So they're up on that, and the Magpies average 52.6. So they're on par.
So you're looking just at, 5 extra inside 50s, but the scoring shots, 32 to 18.
So this is what I was talking about before, trying to paint the picture before, that they empty out so quickly and make the opposition try and find a way through all the numbers in their forward half. And then when they get the ball in that scenario, they are so fast and so quick to transition the ball back to goal that the opposition don't have numbers in there. So there's more space for forwards to work into, and therefore they get better looks. That's why they're such a dynamic team on the transition counter-attack.
A 7-goal final term, 7-1 the way of the Pies as Josh Dacos gets the clearance of Collingwood, kicks out towards Crisp, caught behind against O'Sullivan, it trickles past he and Luke McDonald, who slaps it away from McCreary and over the boundary line for a throw-in.
So the coaching challenge on the back of that playing Collingwood, what do? Do you hold your shape behind the ball and make them just come past you somehow and work through with their ball use rather than their running hands? Or do you back yourself in to keep coming up with them into your forward half space and cutting and slicing your way through them, like the Kangaroos did a bit in the first half?
From the throw-in, Darling gets it down to Fisher. Switches for North Melbourne out to half-back. And sub as he finds Stevens. He looks up and Larkey's on a long lead. Frampton's in tow. Frampton makes the spoil. Markov is able to gather and gets the hand pass away. Works it to Parker, who kicks up towards Membry. Tim Membry chips it over the top to Nick Dacos. Possession number 35 coming up for him in the match, including 14 in this final term.
14.
Next best is Hardiman with 8 for North Melbourne. As Dacos is acting captain tonight, kicks inside 50, looking for Myercheck, and Comben is able to juggle the mark for North Melbourne in the left back pocket.
The other thing, Boomer, with Collingwood is they are super fit. Like, they might be old, but because they've had so many pre-seasons and so well conditioned over many years, they are super fit in run out games.
Yeah.
Comben kicks to Darling, who sprays it out of bounds on the full.
What did Dacos have in the first half there, Clinchy, if you can
10.
Bring that up in the first half? 10 touches. What's he on? 35. I'm not a great mathematician, but it tells me he's had 25 in the second half.
Yep. And I would suggest most of those be kicks, as opposed to 3 and 7. 3 kicks, 7 handballs to half-time.
Yeah, his influence has been clear to see in the second half.
It was always going to be, because he wasn't getting tagged, and he was frustrated in that second quarter where he should have been getting football, but they didn't give it to him. So now he comes in at half-time, reassesses, come out, his work rate lifts a lot, and he gets a lot of the football.
Throwing inside 50 for the Pies. Can they get another one? Josh Dacos just skies a kick up. It's taken by Hardiman. Hand pass to Simpkin. Hand pass into the defensive goal square towards Comben, who shoves it on his boot to get it out towards Paul Curtis. Works his man off it in Perryman rather, and takes the mark. So Curtis in his return game has got a goal for North Melbourne. Looked lively as well in that first half. He puts the kick right down the wing, looking for Larkey. Cox was at the front, not pay the mark. Quaynor's there at the drop to grab it. Hand pass to Allen. Cox is still looking at the umpire. Allen's hand pass goes across to Quaynor, and he puts it on his boot. Inside 50, looking for Myercheck. 2-on-1. Pink wins out, and it's North that win out in this contest. And he'll flare it across to Stevens as Collingwood leads by 39 points.
No one's on the mark, so Stevens can play on. Looks up to the wing. Turns it straight over. Dan Houston takes the intercepting mark for Collingwood. A few frustrated North Melbourne players now.
What you looking at, Daniel? What'd you see?
I think we need a one-on-one session with Dylan Stevens. Can you do it, please? You're a Kangaroos champion. Just with decision-making and skill execution. Just turn the ball over way too often tonight.
I'm just a past player engagement officer at the football club at the minute.
Nick Dacos, 1-2. That gets him up to 37 disposals. Kicks inside 50. Off the hands of Pink. Myercheck isn't done with yet. Curls it around his body for his second. He's had his troubles in front of goal tonight. 2 goals, 3. But everything's starting to click for Collingwood in this final term. That's 8 goals in the final term to 1 for North Melbourne. As Brodie Myercheck puts through his second, and Collingwood are 45 points clear. 15-18, 108 to North Melbourne, 9-9-63. Kangas haven't had 100 points conceded all that many times this season, but Collingwood have run rampant in this final term.
Well, that was just... They played. Who wants the football? Nick Dacos kicked it backwards 4 metres, got the handball receive again. It's just... What's he had now? He's gone up to 38 disposals.
He's going to have 30 and a half. That's what's going to happen here, Boom. That's sort of your days.
30
Yep.
in a half.
30 and a half.
So 10 in the first
Wowzers.
half, at 11 in the third quarter, and now he's up to, 16 in the final term. 17.
17, yeah.
It's Powell now from the middle. Will kick away for North Melbourne. Just gets it away, but it's Lipinski who easily takes an intercepting mark. And on the outer side wing of the ground, just a minute remaining in this match as he chips it down. It'll be intercepted though by Hardiman of the Kangaroos.
He's been good.
Yep, he's been very, very good.
28 disposals coming up for. It's interceptor, kicks the ball really well.
He's only played 10 games, but has been important tonight, Hardiman. Long down the wing he goes. At the back is Markov. The laid in, kicked a goal, and the celebration to match as well. Hand passes it across to Perryman. Hand pass to Chris through hand passes to Frampton. He'll hand pass over the top of 3 North Melbourne players to Markov, who flicks it across to Houston. He'll just put his kick right to centre wing where Long will mark, and he'll be able to run ahead for Collingwood.
And he plays on. He's trying to get it out the back to Myercheck. Pink in front. Can't juggle the mark as he knocks it in front. Myercheck lays the tackle, and the siren sounds. The injury-depleted Pies surge clear in the final term. It was a 3-point ball game before the Magpies booted 8 of the last 9 goals of the match to win by 45 points, and they're still on top of the AFL ladder.
Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
The late outs of Bobby Hill and Scott Pendlebury didn't impact the Magpies. They lost Braden Maynard with a foot injury in the first quarter, and still Sidebottom was managed throughout the week. Collingwood led by 8 points at quarter time, North Melbourne by 9 at half time, and the Pies by 3 points at three-quarter time. Collingwood kicked 8 goals to 1 in the final term to run out 15-18, 108 to North Melbourne 9-9-63 in front of 40,479 fans. The Pies on top of the ladder still.
Collingwood forever, they know how to play the game. Side by side they stick together to uphold the Magpies' name. See the barricades are shouting as all barricades should. Oh, the premiership's a cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
Jamie Elliott booted 5 for the Magpies. He was rested in the final stages of the last term. 3 goals to Tim Membry, 2 to Brodie Myercheck, individuals to Harry Perryman, Jack Crisp, Will Hoskin-Elliott, Lockie Sullivan, and Olive Markov, the name who wasn't even on the team sheet at the start of the night but came in outside the squad as a replacement for Bobby Hill. While for North Melbourne, 3 goals to Cam Zurhaar, individuals to Simpkin, Larkey, Powell, Curtis, Cherry and Costanti. The Magpies, despite missing the players tonight, prevailed by 45 points over the Kangaroos, and it's a sobering night for North Melbourne, who felt like in recent weeks they were starting to make some ground. The Magpies showed them exactly what work is still yet to be done.
Yeah.
Harford and Brent Harvey, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, I still think there's elements of tonight that Alistair Clarkson will sit back and maybe not go too public with, but he'll be pleased to a point what they were able to execute, particularly in the first half of the game where they had a plan clearly and they were able to go out there and do it. So that's growth for the Kangas, and they're able to hold on with one of the best sides in footy, and there's no doubt that, I mean, they're sitting on top of the ladder, for goodness sake. They're a seriously good footy team, a seriously experienced footy team. And this is the thing that the Kangaroos face every single week with their lack of experience all across the field, apart from the blokes who played 800 games between them, the ones, the imports from this year. So that's their learning. They'll watch this second half. If I'm Alistair Clarkson, whilst I'm happy with the first half, I'm watching the second half, and I'm probably displaying that in the review to the players on whenever it is, Boom, on Monday morning, and saying, well, this is how it got to what it got to. And this is why Collingwood are a seriously good team, and this is these are the reasons. And these are the areas we need to get better at to hopefully one day participate at this level week in, week out. They've been great the last month, but they've been given an absolute hiding in this second half tonight, and will have an enormous part to learn. But I don't think you throw the baby out with the bathwater for the Kangas tonight. You got beaten by a class team who are clearly one of the most dominant teams in the competition, and you roll the dice in the scenarios about how you manage those moments and what you get out of it. But if I'm a Collingwood supporter, I say, how good's following my footy team? Up against it to half time, and then they had one player put their foot on the gas in the second half and set the game alight. Nick Dacos, who's captain, as you said, for the night. And they all came with him, and then all of a sudden, once he got going, the rest of it got going. And it was too hard to stop. It was a tsunami of Collingwood ball movement in the back half, from the back half to the front half in this second half, and they had no way to stop it, the poor old Kingers.
It's probably the lapse in the last quarter, 8 goals to 1. That's probably the big thing. You look at the scores at quarter time. Pies are winning by 8, Roos by 9 at half time, 3 points up. The Pies at 3/4 time. You think, we're right in this. This is going to be a ripper game. Then they go out and kick 8 goals to 1. Yes, they are a good outfit, but it's always 1/4 of the Kangas. It's 15 minutes. It's a lapse of 15 minutes where they kick themselves out of it.
Yep.
And it's just not good enough, because how long can that go on for before you say, yes, we are making progress, and fully agree. Love this football club, but just 15 minutes of football is going to kill you every time. In this case, it was 30 minutes of football tonight that really hurt them.
I was watching in the last quarter in particular, just watching the players off ball for the Kangaroos and how they were covering the ground. And I saw Finn O'Sullivan couldn't go.
Yep.
Like, just a boy trying to work his way through this. I saw even Tom Powell, who's been around for a little while, he couldn't go the distance. McKercher couldn't go the distance. So all the young fellas, and even some of the older blokes, we're just tonguing it a bit, because the Magpies made them run up and down the ground all night with the way they played, and they just ran out of gas. So, yeah, I absolutely get your point about 15 minutes, a quarter of footy being really frustrating for Kangaroos fans, and I just sit and sympathise with you a little bit with that, but I just reckon there's enough tonight. If I'm coaching tonight, I'm really wrapped with the first half.
Yep, absolutely.
Really annoyed with the second half. We weren't able to shut down the Dacos situation. We didn't identify the 7th defender, Dacos. It was Josh in the third quarter, which set the game alight for the Pies as well. He was the one that caused all sorts of troubles. So that's what I'd be annoyed about. We weren't able to stop that, and the momentum shifting so quickly. But I still think there's a bit to like about tonight for the Kangaroos, I must admit. I know Kangaroo supporters are probably sick of hearing that, but I quite liked the way they put a plan in place and they executed. They ran out of gas against a team that's way too good for them at this stage of their development.
Are North Melbourne fans, Boomer, sick of hearing the excuses? Are they
probably
expecting better than what they got on that final term?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they... Yeah, I think when you serve up what they did in the first 3 quarters, and then you serve up that in the last quarter, I mean, they've had 20 inside 50s against them in the third quarter and 17 in the last quarter.
They're lucky to be in the game in the third quarter. At 3/4 time, they're lucky to be.
And
3 goals, 8 from them.
I mean, you look at what they end up... What's that, 33 scoring shots?
Yep, 33 to 18.
It could have been a lot worse, actually, than what it has been, or what it is, I should say. But
it was 12 to 13 at half time.
To answer your question, Clinchy, yes, I think the supporters would be really, really disappointed in the last quarter.
So it's 20 shots to 6 in the last half.
Yep.
That's a problem.
Your old teammate, Winston Abram, went down to the club and he basically was quite direct with them. I saw the video on the website saying, you're waiting for something to happen, you have to make it happen. Do you kind of subscribe to what he's saying? And I think it's what you're saying as well. You can't just, like Half was also mentioning, go, it was another, we've seen some positive signs for North Melbourne.
Well, we've just seen it as people that love the football club and supporters. We've just seen it a lot. There's glimpses and you go, yes. You go back 2 weeks ago, you draw with Brisbane. Fantastic. You beat Richmond. Great. And then you serve up 3 quarters against the Pies, and you go, we're on. And then it's just that lapse there. But
this is why, Clarko, this is, and far be it for me to tell Alistair Clarkson how to suck eggs and coach. But if I'm reviewing this, I'm reviewing the second half.
Yep.
So we'll talk about the first half and what we're able to do.
Agree.
But this is where it broke down. And this is where we need to get better. So that's if I'm him, I'm focusing right on that. How did this go from really good to, boy, look at this. That's gone pear-shaped real quick.
Yep.
That's what I'd be focusing on. That's where they've got to find solutions to their problems.
And they are a young team. So you're going to have fluctuations in performance. And we're not talking week to week. We're talking within games. In this case, it was 3 good quarters, 1 really poor quarter. And then you look at the scoreboard, like 45 points. It's a bit of a belt in the end, isn't it?
Yep.
And it could have been worse when you look at the inside 50s, you look at the shots on goal. It could have been a little bit worse. It could have been a 10-goal win. And then you walk away super disappointed. He would no doubt take some positives out of it. You have to. But there's also some stuff that you need to look at and review pretty closely. And I'll talk about that Will Hoskin-Elliott goal down the end. They could have raffled it off. It was there for 20 seconds if they wanted to. 3v1 in their forward line. That's the stuff that was disappointing.
Collingwood 15 goals, 18. So, yep, it could have been a bit worse in front of goal as Nick Dacos leads the Magpies off for the second time in season 2025 in the absence of Darcy Moore. Tonight, Collingwood winners by 45 points, 15-18, 108 to North Melbourne, 9-9-63. Nick Dacos finished with 38 disposals, 5 clearances and 721 metres gained. He had 12 score involvements as well. Ned Long had 15 score involvements.
He's good.
He's been a good pickup for the Magpies alongside
Very
his
good.
29 disposals.
Good Northern Knights boy.
Yes.
Daniel, that's all I'm getting at. That's all I'm saying.
As the Magpies make their way down to their change rooms, winners by 45 points. Lex Pesher is there to greet them.
Not a bad place to be, this change room, that's for sure. Lots of injured players, but lots of smiles, which is a bit of a juxtaposition, I suppose, down here. We'll hear the song in a second, guys. Very, very happy Nick Dacos. He's calmed down. Will Hayes in the middle for his very first game debutant. Lots of Gatorade about to be thrown around. They do that awkward thing where they go really slow.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and I
They
feel
do.
awkward now that I'm down here. I feel just as awkward.
No, still side bottom those, so see who takes control.
We know how to play the game. Side by side we sing together. So up all the Magpies make all mighty. See the barricades are shouting, as all barricades should. All the premierships are cakewalk for the good old Collingwood.
It's awkward, isn't it? Give you that 5 seconds, but you don't know if you're going to hear it or not.
Just start singing yourself, Lex.
I almost did, but I was like, I don't know the words all of a sudden. It gets weird. We're going to chat to Darcy Cameron very soon, guys, so I'll come back to you.
All right, thank you, Lex. Collingwood by 45 points, 15-18, 108 to North Melbourne, 9-9-63. The good side's half. They have great depth and they find ways to thrive under adversity. Collingwood did that tonight. A couple of late outs with Bobby Hill and Scott Pendlebury, and at one stage in the first half we wondered where that spark was going to come. It's the type of spark that Bobby Hill traditionally provides, and in the end it was quite a few who pitched in, but the Olof Markov celebration, who wasn't on your team sheet at the start of the night, with the high knees looking like a guard at Buckingham Palace in the March of Celebration, will no doubt be a personal favourite of Craig McRae, I'm sure.
No doubt. They celebrate those things at the Magpies. They celebrate good things from their teammates better than just about anyone, I reckon. Craig McRae's really been strong in that since he stepped into the doors at the Magpies, and everyone's embraced that philosophy about everyone getting a lick of the ice cream and celebrating your teammates' success. And I think it's such a strong message that they send to the footy world when that happens and you get those Markov moments. And that was brilliant. Like, you're expressing yourself, show a bit of personality. You're allowed to do that. Back in the old days, Dennis wouldn't have been too happy about that. Boomer.
Oh, that's a story too. I haven't forgotten.
Oh, yeah,
Boomer.
we've got that story too. Ken Judge wouldn't have been happy about it. I'll give you the tip. So the world's changed a bit and you're allowed to express it, and they embrace it. They embrace their individuality at the Magpies, but they come together collectively better than anyone. I still think, regardless of, I know they're on top of the ladder, but I still think they're the best team. We talk about teams in footy, the way they play together and know every part of the machine and what their role is in that machine. I still think they're the best at that, Collingwood. So that's why I'm not too surprised in the end with the outcome we got here tonight. I was surprised it took so long for it to happen. But, yeah, they're brilliant. And the Markov celebration is great. You know, get out there and do your thing and enjoy yourself and let your teammates be a part of your world. I think it's fantastic.
Do you think there was anything, I guess their slowness to adapt to North Melbourne in Pendlebury and Sidebottom not being out there, and they didn't have those cool kind of heads to slow things down and get the game moving on their own terms?
I'm not sure they would have expected the Kangas to play the way that they did. I'm keen to talk to Darcy Cameron about that when Lex gets a hold of him shortly. Gee, she'll need a stepladder.
Yeah.
I want to find out what they expected from the Kangas and what they actually felt when they were out there in that first half in particular, because it looked like there was a different sort of energy about them in the second half. In that third quarter, we saw obviously Dacos come in and have a huge impact, but I just reckon they moved the ball a bit differently. They really ran at the Kangaroos when they had the ball, really pressed up really fast and hard on them.
I thought that pressure lifted.
Yeah, I reckon that's right, Boom. And they sort of sat in their heels a bit in the first half, but after half time of the third quarter, they really pressed really aggressively and made them get past them, and they couldn't do it. They weren't good enough to do it.
Yep.
And as a result, they got really good looks on the counter-attack. And I just wonder what the conversation was at half-time and what they had expected from the Kangas coming into the game, what they got in that first half.
What about the form of Jamie Elliott in season 2025? There were some questions. Are we ready to go? Yeah, let's head down to Lex Pesher in the Collingwood rooms.
Hello, no secret, I've found another West Aussie to band with myself. I've got Darcy Cameron with me. Darcy, firstly, congratulations on the win. It's a cliche question, but I want to know, what the hell was the message at three-quarter time?
Look, our pressure was really good all game, we thought, but there's a bit of structural stuff that wasn't really right, that we couldn't really get right for the first 3 quarters. And a bit of like role stuff from personnel, but we figured that out in the third quarter and the last quarter, and obviously it showed with putting the scores on.
So what do you change in that moment? Because we saw Nick Dacos just absolutely pump the gas, 14 touches in the last quarter. But what do you actually change? What is McRae saying?
After half time we held 6 ahead of the ball, and that sort of helped our structure. We were really predictable, and then Dakes just did what he does best. He got his hands dirty. We weren't really stepping in for the first half and letting them, get their, win contested possession and clearances. So Dakes really led that in the second half.
Barring that last quarter, this is the second week in a row that maybe scoring shots haven't really been in your favour. Is it a trend yet? Is it something to worry about?
No, I don't think so. At least we're getting shots on the ball. That's really good.
And for your battle with Tristan Sherry tonight, one of the two of the informed rucks in the comp, what'd you make of that?
Yeah, it was a really tough battle. He's a great competitor, really strong. His fight all day was unreal. Psyched myself up for this one, and really wanted to, obviously get the win, but nullify his impact. I think he still had a really great impact on the game, obviously. But I'm just happy we got away with the 4 points.
And before I head you upstairs, I just want to talk about Will Hayes, the West Australian. He ran his guts out and he just didn't stop. What do you make of him?
He's a superstar. He's going to be a really great player for the club. I was lucky enough to have him for 4 weeks pre-Christmas living with me, and he's a little weirdo. He loves the brain rot stuff on Instagram, and he's got a weird snack that he likes, the rice cup drowned in soy sauce. So I'd like to get that one out there.
Daniel Harford and Brent Harvey, I'm sure you've got a couple of follow-up questions after that.
I'm going straight to the rice cup, Das. Daniel Harford, mate. What do you mean the rice cup, sort of the microwave plastic cup?
Yeah, the 90-second one.
Yeah.
Throw it in there. So he'd come down about 4 o'clock, pre-dinner snack that Adriana's whipping up for him, and he'd microwave up for 90 seconds and then just drown it in soy sauce. It's disgusting.
West Australians are weird. I'm keen to find out. We were talking before about the changes in the game energy from the first half to the second half. What did you expect from the Kangaroos in terms of system and how they would try and get around you today? Was it different to what they actually came up with? Because it looked like they had a really good plan. They executed pretty well in that first half.
Yeah, they did. Their kick mark game was really good. They're going around us. They weren't really forcing that ball long, and their defensive system was really good too. They held us to, I'm not sure how many points we were at half time, but they went in there with a lead, so credit to them. They played really good footy today.
They're 33 points at half time, so they held you to a pretty low margin. Then you keep 20 scoring shots to 6 in the second half, so you really opened things up. Obviously, get a full toll in that last term. Is that the sort of maturity you've got within this group to be able to just manage those moments through the first half like it was tonight when it's not going your way, that you know that if you just stay the course, you'll be able to get on top eventually because of your experience and quality? Yeah,
I think that's a perfect word for it, is maturity amongst the group. We obviously we're out there without Sidebottom, Pendlebury today, who are the leaders of that and managing those moments, but other people are able to step up, and that's what we've been able to do really well over the last few weeks. We don't rely on one person every week. There's always someone playing their role and doing their thing each week.
Darcy, Brent Harvey up here. Congratulations on the win. You just mentioned the two guys, Sidebottom and Pendlebury. Some people look within the football club and go, rightio, who's next? Who's going to stand up after these guys leave? You had two in particular tonight, in Ed Allen, who had 24 possessions, and Ned Long, who's had a bit of a journey in football, comes in and has 29 disposals tonight as well. You must be wrapped with those young boys coming through, and without those leaders, they're really stepping up.
Yeah, they're really exciting for the club. Longy, I'm just looking at him doing an interview right now. His ability to fight the tackle, drive corridor, he's really strong, and his tackle pressure that he puts on each week is unbelievable. And then Ed just runs his guts out each week, and he's just getting better and better with each game.
Darcy Cameron, Collingwood Ruck with us on ABC Sport. It's Lauren Borden here. Darcy, I listened to Craig McRae during the week where he said, I can feel the energy's changed since last year. And I mean, if you could put into words for me, if there's something that you've sensed as well this year that's the reason why you're now sitting on the top of the table after 11 rounds?
Yeah, I think the energy's changed as well. I'm not sure, I can't put it down to what, but the boys are definitely hungry. We got that taste of success in 2023. And last year was very disappointing, and it just adds fuel to that fire, and very excited about what we're doing at the moment and what the future holds.
There is definitely a lot of cohesion. We see it out there, and we saw it with Oleg Markov when he kicked that goal. Could you explain to us what the celebration was when he was kind of marching on the spot?
I think if you asked him, he would have no idea either.
So he just came up with it.
Yeah. He did one in the VFL about 4 or 5 weeks ago. If you dig that up out of the files, that was even funnier.
There you go.
He'd be a rice cup sort of soy sauce man, wouldn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Darcy, as we let you go, what sort of captain has Nick Dacos been in his 2 games as he's captained the side?
What you'd expect, really. He's really cool, calm and collected. His pre-game speech is really... he's spot on, and so is his half-time address. He just nails it, and then he obviously backs it up with his performance each week. Yeah,
we mentioned he had 10 disposals to half-time. He finished with 38 for the match. Were you aware that he hadn't been as involved in that first half?
No. Far out, 28 touches in the half, not bad.
It's some numbers, isn't it? Darcy, congratulations on the win. We'll see you next week against the Hawks.
Cheers, guys. Good one.
Darcy Cameron, the Collingwood ruckman, joining us after Collingwood's 45-point win over North Melbourne. 15-18, 108 to the Kangas, 9-9-63.
So I've just been going through some of the numbers in terms of experience from both teams today, Boomer. So the Kangaroos had 10 players who have played less than 50 games. Collingwood had 5. They had 6 players that had played 100 games. Collingwood had 9. And they had 4 players that had played more than 200 games. Collingwood had 5 of those. So you break it down just purely from games experience. And I hate to add them up and work out what the number was, but it'd be a huge discrepancy. So that maturity that I was sort of asking Darcy about, I think it plays a really important role. And there was a lot of talk about the Magpies at the start of the season about how old they were and how that could be a detriment to them in their quest for another flag after the relatively disappointing season last season post 2023. It's proven to be the absolute opposite. A lot of people jumped the gun after that first loss to the Giants and said, it's all over for these blokes. They can't go a yard.
Too slow.
But their experience, their maturity, and I can't get enough of their cohesion as a team. And I'll focus on it a bit when I talk about them because I just think it's the benchmark. It's the gold standard in knowing your role within a team and being just that soldier that the general, Craig McRae, requires you to be every single week you're out there. I just think they're magnificent the way they do it. And if I'm an opposition coach and I'm not playing Collingwood for 10 weeks, I'm still watching the Magpies because I want to see how they do it and why their players or how their players understand exactly what to do at exactly the right time. It's quite something to watch up live.
I totally agree. And I see Ed Allen go from inside and play on a wing, inside mid to play on a wing. I mean, him and Ned Long, they're both 194 centimetres.
Yeah.
They're bloody huge boys. It's unbelievable that they can run around and do what they do. But you're right about the structure. Frampton comes in. Now, I thought he played unbelievably tonight.
Fantastic.
I'd looked down at the stats and he's had 16 or 17 and taken 9 marks. He's had 8 disposals and taken 4 marks.
Yep.
That's nearly half of what I thought he would have had. But he played, and Nick Larkey kicked 1 goal and didn't really look like any. I'm hoping he gets in our votes, Daniel, when you finally help me. But you're right about the role, and that's what the good teams have. You look at Collingwood, I always think if you can have 18 contributors out of your 22 or 23, you're probably going to win the game. Collingwood get that 9 out of 10 times.
Yep.
Other teams, they have 14, they have 15. And you're carrying 7 blokes. And it's always a different 7, but that's what most teams do. I don't see that with Collingwood. I look tonight and the stats, Maynard goes down. Cox just played his role. Just compete up forward, mate. You don't have to kick 4 goals. Just compete up forward.
Yep.
Bring the ball to the ground. Elliott will kick our goals. They just do it every single week.
But that's the thing, isn't it? A side's ability to adapt on the run. You mentioned there, Billy Frampton has 8 disposals, but he has 5 intercept possessions. And then Isaac Quaynor has 10, so Collingwood made that adjustment without Braden Maynard, that all of a sudden he has to be a little bit more attacking, have the ball a little bit more in his hands and try and provide that outlet from halfback. And Collingwood, Craig McRae, if you listen to his press comments throughout the week, a lot of the questions are around guys in the VFL. When does Charlie West get a look in? When do such and such get their opportunity to try and force their way into the side? And he keeps saying, playing good VFL form is what we expect, but it's not always going to be necessarily enough to get you a game, because just having a look, and so Swamp Thing on Twitter always provides the stats that round 13, 2009 was the last time Collingwood had a win without Steele Sidebottom or Scott Pendlebury.
Is that right?
So when you think about looking around the
What year was it?
2009, round 13.
Whoa.
Only 16 years ago.
Yeah, that's it.
The fact
Which, again, both have played consistently over that period, so you wouldn't have an occasion where both are missing very often.
No, and them losing clearly is a challenge in that regard as well. But having said what you said there, Clinchy, about not necessarily is good VFL form enough to get you a game because of their list and because of their experience. He's not afraid, Craig McRae, to throw him in. He's not afraid to get Will Parker a crack. He's got Ed Allen in some key roles. Lockie Sullivan, obviously a mature age player from the rookie draft. Hayes gets a look tonight. Ned Long, as you mentioned. So he's not afraid to throw them in and just trust that they know their job. And they don't need to be superstars. They don't need to get 25 and kick 6. Just go out there and do what we trust you to do, and the rest will unfold beautifully.
So can we just really quickly, who do we have? Pendlebury?
Yes.
Side bottom.
Yep.
Wasn't
Darcy
there.
Moore.
Darcy Moore. Forgot about Darcy
Bobby
Moore.
Hill.
The Goey.
Just the captain.
Jordan
The Goey. Bobby.
Schultz.
Did we say Bobby Hill?
Yeah, well, no, but you should.
Bobby Hill. Schultz.
Schultz is still out.
Who's a...
McStay.
Yep, McStay.
Wow. And then you lose Maynard in the first 3 minutes of the game.
How many are we up to? That's 7 or 8?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then Maynard goes down 8. Of all senior core players, like proper starting 18 players.
Yep.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Now, without being disrespectful, if that's against Adelaide, like from last week, that squad's out there from, or against Brisbane or Geelong, or I think we get a slightly different outcome. But it's still the capacity to go out there and do your job. And it might look different because of the opposition every now and then, but if you can, more often than not, as you said, get 18 of the 22 doing their job and winning their position, then you're going to have a good day at the office, and gee, you'll enjoy your footy. And it looks like the Collingwood boys
and they just do it all the time. Yep. They just step up, and Ned Long comes in tonight, 29 touches, 15 score involvements. 15 score involvements for Ned Long.
15's a lot.
Yeah, you're not going to get him in the votes. It's unbelievable.
How have you haven't put them in yet, have you?
No, they're not in
done
yet.
the votes yet, have you?
No, not yet.
What did you think of the doubleheader? Did it fuss you having 2 games at Docklands? I don't think I've really thought about it much coming here tonight. A lot of the staff are exhausted.
When I pulled into the car park, the lady walked over to me, giving me the puppy dog eyes. I said, "Yeah, you all right?" She has been here since 10 a.m. Won't leave until 11.
Yeah.
So she wasn't happy with it. And I feel for her. For me, it made no difference. My young fellas today said that Carlton and GWS were playing at Marvel, and I said, no, they're not, because I'm working at Marvel tonight. And he said, no, they are, Dad, I promise you. And I said, no, they're not, mate. And I was arguing with him for 3 or 4 minutes. I thought, I better check that. And little Hudson, you're right, mate. Well done.
To be fair, it's an abnormality that we don't really see, and I'm not sure we've really got an answer as to why it has taken place. But
the ground looks like it hasn't.
Yep.
It doesn't get no rain, obviously, so it's not going to get chopped up as much as other grounds. So if you're ever going to do it, it probably needs to be here.
But it is actually the point as to why they can't play AFLW games as curtain raisers when you have a men's game on in the afternoon, and then you're able to turn it around for the night. Then all of a sudden the logic starts to go out the window.
Or a VFL game.
Or a VFL game.
Yeah. Are there enough change rooms? If you did the back-to-back, because this is not necessarily, this isn't a back-to-back.
That is true.
They've got
back-to-back.
extra change rooms here. They've got spare
Are they?
ones.
Where are they?
Down there.
There's still
Down there. What's down there? What is down there? Now, I know there's some rooms underneath we can come up through the middle where the umpires come out of. Maybe you could do it that way.
When Hawthorn and Essendon played in the AFLW, they were definitely in they're kind of back rooms. It's not really explained.
Yeah, I think I know where you
still underground car
the
park.
bowels.
Yeah.
But I think that's been an issue.
Yeah.
From the conversation we had through my time in the AFLW, I think that was an issue, the change rooms for double headers.
You wonder if they're testing something out with it today, though, maybe.
Well, someone who's well across that is Lex Pesce, because she's down at the moment. Collingwood winners by 45 points, Lex.
Hello, guys. I am with Riley Hardiman. I've made my way over to the North Melbourne rooms. Unfortunately for you guys, not the result you wanted, but the first 3 quarters, there's plenty to be proud of.
No, obviously a very disappointing result, but we do take a lot of confidence out of the first 3 quarters, and our best footy is good enough.
What was the message at 3/4 time, I suppose? It's within the Collingwood side to just pump the gas at some point. You knew it was coming. Was there a plan if that did happen?
Absolutely. We knew that they were going to come at us based off of our first 3 quarters. All we were told is to just prepare for that. And, obviously we didn't quite execute, but we were pretty happy that we were able to put ourselves in a position to win the game. So obviously disappointed with the result, but we take away a lot of positives from that.
I just want to ask you about one of your teammates, Paul Curtis. After coming back from that suspension, he's just gone from strength to strength. He's such a reliable player. Can you feel that when you're out there with him?
Absolutely. He's an integral part of the side. I think when the ball goes inside 50 and you know that he's part of the contest, you know he's going to do his best, and reliability is a word I'd use to describe Paul, and we love having him in the team. We've missed him over the past 3 weeks, for sure.
Boomer and Half, it's over to you.
Riley, Boomer up here, mate. Commiserations on the loss, but on a personal note, we thought you played fantastic. 28 disposals, really used your run and drive and your leg off half back. So well done on a personal note, but I know you'd be pretty upset, mate, with the result in the end.
Yep.
Mate, Nick Dacos, was there any plan to go into him? Because he had 10 disposals in the first half, and we thought up here that he was getting the ball under pressure. He had 7 handballs and 3 kicks, so the plan was working, if there was one. But in the second half, unfortunately for you boys, he had 28 disposals. He ended up with 12 inside 50s. What was the plan leading into the game, and did anything change at half-time?
I don't think there was much plan surrounding Nick. Obviously, he's a good player and he's well respected within the competition, but we wanted to just really stick to playing our system. On a personal note from the backs, I didn't hear anything. I think there might have been a little bit of talks going around that second half as they started to use the corridor a bit more and let loose, but I didn't really hear anything personally. We were just trying to, execute our system and our roles.
And you talk about the system. Tonight, at the start of the game, it looked like that a little bit reluctant to go forward, and you wanted to play that chip around, maybe go backwards slightly, come back around Collingwood and try to make them defend in the back 50. Was that something that you guys focused on?
Not necessarily. I think ball movement is obviously been a key point that we've been really trying to focus on, and we didn't quite execute. We were reluctant to go LDL and we were trying to explore the 45s, but we didn't quite pull it off. But it's just something for us to continue to work on, especially going into the second half of the season.
Riley, it's Daniel Harford, mate. Nice to have you with us after a loss. Good on you for having a chat to us. I'm interested in what the summary was from Clarko post-game and what he felt went wrong.
He obviously touched on that for 3/4 of that game we were good enough and our footy was holding up, but obviously just the disappointment surrounding the fourth quarter and how we weren't really able to nullify their ball movement. But in saying that, there was positives in the first 3 quarters, but obviously it left a little bit of a bad taste in our mouth. So he kind of just touched on that. It was pretty brief.
So was it fatigue? Do you reckon that played a big part in that last quarter? Because you would have seen them coming straight at you at speed way too often, but just standing behind the ball a bit. Was it fatigue? Do you reckon that played a big part?
Not necessarily. Both teams are playing the same game of football, so I think maybe, both teams would be fatigued. I think it's just surrounding us going a little bit into our shells, and they obviously kept on coming at us and they kept on being daring through the corridor, and we just weren't able to sort of crack that.
It was certainly one of those nights where it felt like the game was there for the taking, Riley. What's it like when you have some of those turnovers at half-back, and really in those positions, there's not a lot you can do against the best sides who just make you pay?
Yeah, absolutely, and credit to Collingwood. They're a really good side, and there's no questioning why they're on the top of the ladder. But just in terms of playing my role reliably, trying to get the ball and trying to provide offensive patterns, it's hard when they're such a good defence and you kind of just can't concede long down the line. But kudos to them, really, to be honest.
So do you notice that against Collingwood, just how well set they are defensively when you're looking for that quick outlet option?
Absolutely, and from an outsider's perspective, observing their back six, just how connected they are, it's something that we're sort of striving to achieve, and we found good synergy over the past 4 weeks as a defensive six, but it's something we'll continue to strive for.
Incredible to think it was just your 10th game tonight. Thanks for spending some time with us. You look comfortable out there tonight. Congratulations on your performance. Commiserations on the loss.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Riley Hardiman joining us for North Melbourne, and thank you to him and to North. It's never great to come and front up after a loss, but had to double check it. It was only his 10th game. He certainly played like a mature player with 28 disposals, 774 metres gained. Yeah. So the potential to be that player that North are trying to get, to have the ball in their hands, to clear the defensive 50 and to find the right avenue.
And good decision maker.
He is. He reads the play well. He can intercept mark, but I think his most damaging his weapon is his kicking. Great, like you said, decision making, but his kicking and execution of that kick is quite good.
best game I've seen him play. I've seen him play a couple of games live. By far, that was his most impactful game. So that's a good step.
28.
Good progress.
20 kicks as well. So if you have 28 and you're a kicker, you've had 20 kicks. That's a great ratio.
Yep.
It's never fun to single out individuals, but Dylan Stevens had one of those nights that he was the other side of it, that he had a few moments where he was turning over the ball and, I mean, he would know it and he would feel terrible.
Yeah.
Players would review their performance as much as anyone would. So is there anything a coach can say after the game, or is that a development, sit down with your line coach and trying to work on the execution under pressure?
Yeah, well, he'll go through that with his line coach individually and reflect on his performance. You don't coach mistakes. I think you coach decisions and habits, and I think Dylan found himself in the position where he got a bit of the ball tonight, but I think the decision making and the execution in the end was off target. And that was disappointing for him because I think he worked really hard.
And he's had 23 touches. So if you have 23 touches, you're going to stuff up a couple, unfortunately. He just had a really big one where the ball went off the side of his boot. He didn't get off. His decision straight away not to get off the mark, for me, put himself under pressure. You always say you want to be quick, but you don't want to be rushed. He really rushed himself there, and unfortunately, the execution part as well, where it came off the instep of his boot and went bloody sideways, didn't help.
Yeah, so they're the things from a coaching perspective. You're not focusing on the outcome, you're focusing on how it got to that point.
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Let's have a chat about why you did that. Why didn't you roll them when you got that ball at half back? Why did you choose that option instead of that one? Let's have a look at what you had in front of you. What do you think we can do next time? So that's the learnings and the coaching, the one-on-one coaching that he'll get on the back of that. As you said, Boom, 23 disposals. He got a fair bit of the footy. And as I touched on before, he worked really hard. He was quite a good link player for the Kangas. He just had an off night with some of the decisions. And if that continues, that's going to be a problem. If that's just a one-off, well, you can work with that.
On the SMS, 0437 774 774. Horry wanted to know how many people stayed to watch both games at Docklands. Could have they hid in the toilets to get away with it? I think most who were in the car park got told they had to be out by, I think it was
4:30?
Or
Yeah,
4:30. Otherwise, they might be slugged with some sort of fine. I don't really know if anyone was brave enough.
Another $38.
Yeah. Tom Mitchell's coming through on the SMS as well. He's played in the VFL the last couple of weeks. Got through 4 quarters last week. So Craig McRae said he'll be looking for a couple of consistent weeks from Tom to try and force his way back into the senior side. And also, I found it odd that the Pies in the pre-season put Reef McGuinness ahead of Billy Frampton. He was another one tonight who really rose to the occasion, playing that role and... certainly was able to play a pivotal part in Collingwood's defence. Also coming through on the SMS, 0437 774 774. Matt wonders, what about Sheasel and Wardlaw in the final term? Were they able to have much of an impact? Well, I think Harry Sheasel had the 5 disposals and George was a bit banged up. He had the 3.
Yeah, they worked pretty hard. George particularly, he's a contest-to-contest animal, is George the animal. Harry didn't have the impact that I would have liked him to have had. I'm sure Alistair Clarkson Kangaroos fans would have liked him to have had tonight. Didn't get anywhere near the amount of ball, which is a different position, so it's going to be a different role for him.
It's exactly what I was going to touch on. Playing half forward in a team that doesn't move the ball crazy quick, and you're kicking and you're stagnant, you're going down the line, you're not going to have a lot of the ball. He's had 12 kicks, 8 handballs. He finds the football because that's what he can do. He just needs I think he needs to start hitting the scoreboard a little bit. No goals or no shots on goal tonight. Yes, Harry, we want you to kick the ball inside 50 because you're a beautiful decision maker and a beautiful kick. Let's try to hit the scoreboard as well now. And that's his neck. That's his evolution of a footballer, to go from half back, a little bit of midfield, go to the hardest position on the ground now, which is half forward, and see if we can generate some scores from you.
If I'm nitpicking on Harry Sheasel, and I don't want to, but if I was coaching him and just watching him play the last couple of year and a half, 2 years.
This is his third year.
Third year now. I reckon with his kicking, he doesn't have fast ball flight. He lofts the ball a bit, just kicks it up in the air just a little bit too much, I reckon. I'd like to see a bit more penetration a few more times with his kicking, just even if it's a 20-metre, 30-metre dart. He doesn't kick darts. He's a lobber. He's a finesser of the ball, which is nice.
He can kick darts too.
Yeah, I'd like to see more darts from him, and back himself to pull the trigger a few times and be a little bit more effective, get more ball speed on his ball. If that makes any sense.
The votes in the ABC Football of the Year about to come. Earlier today it was the Brisbane Lions by 33 points over Hawthorn. The 3 votes in the ABC Football of the Year went to Cal Archie, who booted 4 goals, 7 goals to 2 for the Lions in the second quarter in Chris Fagan's 200th game as the Brisbane Lions coach, and the Giants defeated the Blues by 28 points. Full time in Perth. And while you're up, the Dockers have had a big win over Port Adelaide, 15-10-100 to Yatapolti 7-9-51. So the Dockers closing in on the top 8 now as they get a bit more of a favourable run in the second half of the season. Reid with 4 goals for the Dockers, Dudley with 2 and Swakowski with 2 as well, while Mitch Georgiades booted 3 for the Power.
That's no good for the Power, is it? They are looking really poor.
Yeah, another big loss.
Falling apart really quickly at Port Adelaide.
Josh Carr was on SA Grandstand with Aaron Bryans earlier this morning and spoke about the succession plan and said there's no plan. End of the season, Coach Ken Hinkley will see it out, and then we'll have the transition. There's no plan if...
There's no plan B to get him out early and hand over.
That's
Here's
it.
the keys, young fella. I'll tell you what, if this
all of a sudden the
continues-
job he's inheriting might not look as appealing as what it did 12 months ago when they were top 4.
But if this continues, they get another month of getting pants, like they've been the last couple of weeks. The conversation's going to be fierce, isn't it? You imagine Adelaide. Goodness me.
Don't handle it well in South Australia in a 2-team town when things are not going well. Yeah, they become rather ruthless in South Australia. But, yep. Dockers, I mean,
so they're
on paper their team has always had the potential. Are they now starting to get a bit more belief? That will be the question. Caleb Sarong with 12 clearances in their comfortable win by 49 points over the Power. So
they've got a task next week. They're 6-5 at the moment. They've got a task next week heading up to Gold Coast to take on the Suns. That's possibly the toughest trip in footy.
And they're the tests, aren't they, to try and work out where teams are sitting at the moment. Collingwood take on Hawthorn, the Hawks, after their loss against the Brisbane Lions today. And the buys for the Blues and North Melbourne, Port Adelaide as well. So a couple of sides that would be keen to have a week off. And the Western Bulldogs after their loss to Geelong back on Thursday night. Are the votes for the ABC Football of the Year? Brent Harvey.
I tried to help him. He wouldn't let me.
Yeah, I've got a couple of apologies really early. So.
Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. We don't apologise, Brent.
Well, I've got one for Ned Long. I didn't realise that he's had...
Couldn't get him in.
Score involvements. 15 score involvements.
I told you to put
Ned, if you listen to this at all, probably haven't got the Walkman in at the minute in the ice bath.
Walkman.
Walkman.
After the start of your career in the 90s.
But I do apologise, Ned. You're a good Northern Nights boy, and we should have got you in. Half said no.
How did you forget him?
Half said no, because I gave one to your man, Billy Frampton. I thought he was fantastic.
Raoul.
Kept Nick Larkey to 1 goal. Larkey didn't have the biggest game. He had 4 marks, but I thought he would have had 16, 17 touches. I thought he was fantastic. 2 to Nick Dacos. 38 disposals, 28 of them coming
2
in the second half.
My votes were very different.
12 inside 50s. He had a decent game.
He was the
but
difference in the end.
our man, Jamie Elliott, I thought he was the difference. 5 goals, kept the Pies right in it, right before half-time. I thought he was sensational. 5 goals as a small forward. I think you get the votes.
3 to Elliott, 2 to Nick Dacos, 1 to Billy Frampton.
All right,
controversial in the ABC Football of the Year.
No, we're a team here, Loz. We're a team here. I would never go against what the game's record holder has gone. He's got the respect of the whole community. I would never dispute that.
You asked a story on Dennis Pagan. I've been hanging out for this since I think
the
Sunnies.
I forgot about the Sunnies.
Fox and the goggles. This is where it all started.
Yeah, so 1995, I think Carlton played Geelong, and all the... Who won that flag? Carlton. So all the Geelong boys came down because I think they were sponsored by Oakley because it's down in Torquay, and they were at the parade, all in the cars with their sunnies on. They walked out at half-time of the Twos game in 95, but they didn't have... Some of them had the sunnies on, some of them had it on top of their heads. And Dennis hated it. He used to say to us, are you a footballer or are you a rock star? If you're a footballer, don't be a rock star. Put the sunnies away, son. So sunglasses was a massive,
not welcome.
Massive no, especially on your head and not on your eyes.
So if you're going to have them, wear them.
Yes.
If you're not going to have them, don't you dare put them on your bonds.
100%. Do not be a rock star.
That's fantastic.
And Daniel pulled out a couple of paganisms tonight. I should have pulled you up and said, I like it. He said, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yes, that's true.
That's definitely a paganism.
That's a Dennis. He's big on that one.
So given
the other one about raining, I won't mention.
No, that one's become pretty famous.
He did look at me funny tonight when I said Nick Dacos thought he would have had an opponent with his finger in his back.
I was just pleased it was the back.
Yes.
Given you mentioned Dennis Pagan, as we sort of wrap up, the Blues are 4 wins and 7 losses. Things are about to get interesting at Carlton for Michael Voss. Expectations are always high when you're a big club.
Yeah,
the Giants this afternoon. What's wrong with Carlton?
Well, I watched Collingwood tonight, and I don't see Carlton in any of it. No. I don't see any connection with Carlton, which is what Vossi's been trying to preach for years. Even when I was there a couple of years ago, this was all about connection and off-field, but on-field is obviously most important because that's where you get your results. And I just don't see it. And this is why I love watching Collingwood, because I measure everyone against them, and Carlton don't have that. Across the ground, there's nothing like it.
Not a system, no.
No. So that's what they don't have. That's what they don't. They've got some star players that can impact in moments, but they don't have a system of play or connection across the ground that engenders any great confidence anytime you come into watching a Carlton game.
A lot of people from the outside, and even my friends who barrack for Carlton, they always talk about personnel. And he's not going so well, he's not going so well. And when you bring it back, because it's not about the personnel, when you bring it to system and the connection and all that sort of stuff, more so system for me, it explains more. It's easy to explain. That's what you need in football. You don't need 6 superstars and 4 all right players and the rest will carry. It doesn't work like that. The system needs to be happening and everybody needs to be in the system. Then you have 18 and 19 contributors and then you play well most weeks.
Is that Carlton's forward line at the moment? The system is get it to Harry or get it to Charlie, and if not, we're in trouble?
The Smalls having no impact on the game.
Getting rid of Matt Owies, and now Matt Kennedy is having career best season.
Matt Kennedy I could sort of understand. Like, he was going to be squeezed out.
And George Hewitt has had a great season.
Because they drafted Jagger Smith, and they expected him to be there at pick 3, and he was going to be that next midfielder that was going to enter the fray. So that obviously he does his ACL, and that puts a problem in their list management strategy, I reckon. And Kennedy would have been waiting in the wings, would have played VFL, might have been a sub a few times. Not quite in the final one, we got ripped out really early and got annoyed. And he's always been a really capable player, Matt Kennedy, and he's showing that with the Bulldogs with a role, with a really specific role and a really good midfield, but also forward. But their Smalls forward half are having no impact on the game. Motlop's not doing it. Francis Evans isn't doing it. Fogarty's not doing it. Who's the other one in there? Durden. He's probably been the best of them, I think. Yep. But they just haven't had any consistency from their forward, with their Smalls, and their key forwards are in and out all the way through this season. It's a big month coming up. They've got Essendon next week, the Eagles game after that, then the Kangas and Port Adelaide away. So their opportunities, if they're any good, we'll know on the next month.
They need 3 out of the 4. They don't do that, they're done.
They need 4.
That's the music playing, which means it's time for us to wrap up. Collingwood winners by 45 points here at Docklands. 15-18, 108 to North Melbourne, 9-9-63. Jamie Elliott put at 5 goals. He sat the last 15 minutes on the bench, but still got the 3 votes from Brent Harvey.
He would have kicked 7.
Yeah. Thanks so much for your company. The Collingwood acting captain, Nick Dacos, will be our guest tomorrow on AFL Sunday with Cameron Ling. We look forward to your company then. Good night from Docklands.